We are kicking. Jesus, this shit is large. We are bringing it back. We are bringing it back. We are bringing it back. So today, I want today to be a long stream day. It's probably going to be the longest day I've ever streamed, ever. Most likely. Okay. Okay. There we go. We're going to do that. I'll move this window over here. Okay, it won't get smaller than that. Okay. I want to do that. Ooh, holy crap. Okay. Okay. We'll move this here. I'm coming, yeah. Okay, there we go. Okay. Okay. Back to it.
That just because you do a shitty insurrection, just because your planning was bad, or just because it was really shitty, doesn't mean it wasn't an insurrection. And
I mean, if they had killed Mike Pence or something, then you would say it was.
Yeah, exactly. Because the very same people there theoretically could have gotten far enough in that would happen. And then let's say that they did that by blind luck. Would I still be here saying, well, you know, yeah, they killed the vice president, but like, was it really an insurrection? Like, you know, maybe that literally is just outcome oriented. There's really strong arguments on both sides of that. I would say that it wasn't, but like, there are good arguments on the other side for why it was. That's just kind of where I fall on it, you know.
Yeah, so I am naive. I just go to like, well, I just won't incite a mob, and then I won't get banned.
Yeah, that's...
Even though I've already been banned, and I didn't break TOS. But then I'm like, well, I got unbanned, so I get banned, I'll get unbanned.
Sure. That won't always happen. And then when you do get permabanned, you're Bonzo. Bonzo Garbanzo, forever. And then you won't be MrGirl Returns. You'll just be MrGirl and Girl or something, I don't know.
That's not a bad name.
Yeah.
I wish you could just get banned for shit that, like, I don't know. It just actually is against the rules, instead of getting banned for outside shit. It just seems stupid.
Well, you won't have
but you wouldn't be gone. You hit a critical mass where you would have your website. You would find a way to...
I don't think there is a critical mass. I think that I'm in a critical mass such that like I could get banned on Twitch and I'd still be okay. But like people like Milo Yiannopoulos, this is like an international figure, and he's like,
yeah,
he's like begging for money, fucked.
Really?
Mm-hmm. And I run well related to this because he went into the pedophile territory, and that's what like super got him. So.
Yeah. He said that sometimes it's a yeah, like a.
What he said,
it's a rite of passage relationship with a 13-year-old and a 35-year-old, and like these things just happen.
Yeah.
And, like, let's not pretend that's totally something like that.
Kind of, but what he said was he actually could have gotten away with it, ironically enough, if he would have been a little bit more optically minded when he phrased it. What he essentially said was that for young boys, that first gay relationship you have with an older man can be really important. And gay people already have a stigma of being like child predators, so it was really... and he wasn't on the proper platform to have that discussion, even if there were aspects of truth to it or some way that he could salvage it. So yeah, it was just, totally was just a nightmare of a statement, and he got fucking destroyed for it, yeah.
I think that's another thing that I'm interested in, is pushing the platform itself, where like, if you said that in a book, like, it would be fine. Potentially,
yeah. Although even at that, people will only clip. People will just take a sentence. Like, there's a lot of people that have a lot of strong opinions about 1984 that have never opened the book before, you know? Like, yeah. That's the same for any, like, biography or book that anybody's written or YouTube video or whatever. Like, just...
And you think that we're at the point where publishers even will kowtow to people who have never even read the book just because of what happens on social media?
Everybody kowtows now. Because it's not... The thing is that, like, the kind of, like, the very... I hate to say this, like, the very woke-minded stuff is, like, very, very, very corporately popular. It's, like, you make a lot of money doing it, so...
Well, I think we should just accept that my career is going to meet a ugly, untimely, and unceremonious end, and just go from there. I don't see a way around this.
Well, couldn't you just be a little bit more careful how you phrase something?
No, because then it wouldn't be me. I get what you're saying. You're saying there's a way to be you without being so provocative. But I feel like part of what people find refreshing about my content is that I'm saying, like Eminem said, I'm only giving you shit that you talk about with your friends inside your living rooms. Like, I'm going to talk to the audience as if we know each other and we trust each other.
Sure, but even Eminem, he was only able to do that because he lived in the year 2000 and whatever, right? Like, could you imagine...
And he didn't have money and he didn't have kids.
But
since
like
then, he's much more careful.
Yeah,
much more careful.
Like, you couldn't release the Marshall Mathers LP today. Like a song like Kim, right? Can you imagine?
Right.
It's just a song about him killing his wife, fantasizing about killing or his kid's mom, right? Like, it would never happen. And then the amount of the episode, like everything, it was just like, no way, that album would never be released today. Or somebody tried to...
And it won a Grammy just 20 years ago.
True. But yeah, that's all I'm saying is that like the times are changing. But
I want to change them again. I want to lead the charge here.
you're charging off a cliff, basically, is what I'm trying to say.
Well, I would like to take you with me.
Okay, that's advocate.
If we all go together, Thelma and Louise, if we all go together, then
It's true. There's
you know what I
only
mean? Like, if
power
you
in
can
the
get enough
collective.
people
I
to say,
understand what
like,
you're saying.
actually, this kind of sucks. I feel like you can. I feel like people are ready for a change. I think the safety versus boredom equation, like right now, people are like, well, I want to be safe in my circle, and I'll just destroy your circle. I get how that is working itself out, which is horrible. Like I said, I don't think Vosh should get banned. It's stupid. Like obviously, I have problems with him and what's happened, but it's dumb. I think that I think a lot of people are ready. Just as Trump suspected that a lot of people are ready for less political correctness, that people are feeling constricted by it, and that people don't like that he's saying he's going to grab a woman by the pussy. They like that he's willing to say it. And I think the one good thing about Trump, the one good thing he's done is I do think he's gotten people to kind of look around at each other and say, like, maybe we don't have to have such strict rules about what we say. I don't think that's good coming from the president, and the things he's said have had disastrous effects, and I really don't like Trump. But I do think that little nudge, or even just proving to everybody, like, 4 years before Trump, if somebody told you that somebody was going to be elected president who said the things that he said, I would never have believed it.
Yeah, people didn't believe it during the primaries. Every time you open his mouth, people were like, that's it, he's done. Like, there's no way he can come back from this. So, yeah.
Right. Yeah. And so
yeah, I mean, like it might be the case, and I've talked about this a lot, that it feels like a pendulum sometimes, and maybe we're about to swing back the other way, but you never really know when, and
yeah, but you have a lot of control over that.
not even close. Like, maybe when you hit like A-list celebrity status, you start to get control over this, but
People say one of the best things about Trump is that he's an honest liar.
even at
listen
that,
to
like
you.
people like Matt Damon get canceled because he says like fucking he worships Jesus or some weird shit, I think, on his Instagram.
But that's because he backs down also. He doesn't say, like, no, I should be allowed to say that.
like, I understand what you're saying, and I agree that there's a hypothetical world where it could work. You just have so much power on board with you that,
I mean, isn't this part of why you're successful?
yes, I was way more edgy 5 or 10 years ago than I am now because I have to adapt my platform with the times. Otherwise, I
Okay, but you're still your edginess level relative to where you're supposed to be. Like, you're still pretty far outside of
I
what is
definitely am.
expected of you, and you're rewarded for that.
a little bit, yeah, but I'm also like punished hardcore for it too. Like I'm known as a bridge burner. That's what people know me for. That's the joke. Like if you go into subreddits, people telling me they'll post pictures of like burning bridges and shit, and that's like my that's like a meme for me. I think I even have a shirt of it, like a giant bridge.
Tell me a bridge that you've burned.
All of them. I mean, like Hassan and Vosh are probably the two biggest ones.
Okay, what happened with Vaj?
What did happen? Oh, I spent a lot of time online criticizing people on the right, basically, and I didn't realize this, but a lot of my fans at the time were kind of like, oh yeah, like we're communists and socialists and blah, blah, blah. And I thought that was kind of a joke because I'm not a fucking communist or socialist. It's stupid as fuck. But I actually was unironically, I didn't realize it, but there was a huge growing movement online of people that were actually like communists and socialists. So I was like a very like revered figure on the left online, like the very, very early like RedTube, like everybody thought I was like the shit because Destiny's the guy that goes into debates against conservatives and he's so cool and blah, blah, blah. And at some point through my relationship with Vosh and Hassan, I staked out a stronger position. I was like, hey, like, I'm not a socialist. I don't do socialism. That's not a solution to anything. And people got really, really, really mad about that. And I split off like half my fan base, and half of them went to like Hassan and Vosh, and then I had half left, and then I kind of like rebuilt from there because there was like a huge growing trend of like back like 3 or 4 years ago even there wasn't socialism and communism online weren't really things. Like nobody was really bad, so I didn't see that wave of stuff coming. And then when I kind of split them off, then me and Hassan and Vosh all kind of sort of split ways. There were individual events that happened with each of them, but it was more or less over that. They were kind of like riding this growing trend of socialism and communism. It was like the new popular online aesthetic. But I'm kind of like in my position where I'm like these things are really dumb and I don't really solve anything. And that's kind of what happened more or less.
I mean, why couldn't you?
I wish Hassan would open a co-op or something. All I gotta do is buy like a McDonald's and then like make it like a socialist McDonald's. Just buy like the franchise. And if it fails, you're rich.
You just be different from each. Like, why couldn't you be like colleagues, friends or whatever, but just not agree on this?
There's two reasons. The less personal reason is because ideologically it's hard to accept somebody on the left that's 95% the same as you. Even historically, leftists kill themselves all the time, and other leftists, if you're not the right kind of leftist, it's just what they do. I don't know why. There's a lot of infighting in left-leaning groups. You see how progressives do.
You're ascribing that tendency to them and not you, obviously.
No, I can get along with anybody. I don't care. I'm like, I have lots of different friends. Like half my family, my whole family are conservatives, and we love screaming at each other. That's fun for me. I enjoy, like I said before, I enjoy conflict. I super love that. So that was a non-personal reason. The personal reason, though, is because like if we do disagree on something, like I'm gonna want to argue about it, and I'm gonna want to fight about it. And if you say really dumb shit, I'm gonna say it's really dumb shit. And I think for a lot of people, that feels like a betrayal. Especially if I'm like online as a reputation, as like a debater, or like a politics person, or I'm relatively smart. If I'm criticizing you, it feels really bad, and it feels like I'm backstabbing you. So like with Hassan, he got really mad because people would compare me to him, and they'd be like, oh, like where's like Destiny to come explain this or whatever. He would get like super irritated about that. So when we say like, can somebody be racist against somebody under like I guess like the common vernacular of like, could somebody hate somebody because of their skin color? Of course, anybody can do that. But when we start like analyzing society, we look at like meaningful demonstrations of racism. So for instance, like the criminal justice system or economic disadvantages, right? In these ways, minority people can't really exercise racism against majority people because they don't really have the status or the power in society in order to do so.
It's like I wish Destiny could just come in in at the beginning and give us the right answer right away instead of making us
So we
wait.
didn't have to list a fucking
Yeah.
Yeah, it makes me
Like we have the cheat sheet right here.
Honestly, like,
It's funny because like the only
it's
way
such a fucking retarded thing to say. Like, I'm sorry, but like, if you can't comprehend the fucking shit that I'm saying,
You
it's
said the
on
R
you,
word.
okay? I'm doing
You
the best.
did say
I'm
the
doing
R
the
word.
best.
Yeah, Wes.
You said the R
Wes, you
word.
literally said the exact same thing that I just said. Like, what the fuck are you guys talking
You can
about?
say retard on Twitch. Set up and says it all the time.
Fuck Twitch then.
No, wait, relax. Hey, come on now, Wes. Let's be nice.
Wait, what did I do?
Well, look.
I was just joking. I don't make jokes about people taking this
Right.
seriously.
Why I use prejudice or discrimination over racism is because, again, like Destiny mentioned, that I padded up with legislative background information.
So do you want my
is that
actual
you can't have
answer?
fucking power.
Even though I get you think I'm stupid, what I was trying to say is that because all arguments are based on your definition. So what he did is he laid out the two definitions and why they're different, and then he explained why one yes and one no. If you would have done that from the beginning, I would have understood 100%. But the first thing you did is start
No,
jumping
you wouldn't
in
have
with
because it's
examples.
me talking.
No, that's
why.
not true.
Try it next time.
I swear to God, I don't dislike you. I don't just
you're
I don't just ignore everything you say because I think you're communist or whatever. I agree with you on a lot of points, man.
I think the idea that the minority lacks power is
Can I ask
ridiculous.
Destiny something?
He's muted.
What's up? I'm here. What do you want?
Yeah. So like you gave us the two examples. If we just stuck to the individual, right, not the community, just the individual, can they be racist to the ruling class?
Yeah, of course.
Okay, thank you.
Or if he would say something I would disagree with, we would have kind of an argument about it. I think it'd be nice, but the fact that I would disagree with him, I think it feels like a big betrayal to people. So that's kind of why all that fell out. Yeah.
And Bosch too.
If you disagree with me and tell me my points are dumb, you've betrayed me. What? Like the bar is that low? Fuck. Fucking shit.
Vosh and me went back and forth, but Vosh has kind of moved into this area where he came out of my community wanting to do what I did, and he was good at it too, wanting to be like a debater. That was like his thing. But as time went on, I think he became more concerned with growing his fan base and wearing the aesthetic of socialism, and he was kind of like, have you ever seen Rurouni Kenshin, the anime?
No.
What the fuck do you watch? You don't watch anime? You don't watch Game of Thrones? You have any media consumption at all?
Star Trek.
Okay.
I know. I just saw Midnight Mass.
Like a real life one?
No, the show. It's a Netflix miniseries
Gotcha. Well,
by Mike Flanagan. I recommend it. It's extremely good.
I'll
I watch a lot of movies. I don't watch shows as much. I just watched the season 3 of True Detective. Is that what it is? Yeah.
Okay, that's
I
fair.
watch stuff.
That's fair.
Hey.
Okay.
Yeah. You were saying, have you seen
sorry, there's an anime analogy, but don't worry about it. But basically, I think Vosh used to be a big fan of mine, and he kind of copied a lot of my like, surface level positions, but he didn't really have a good understanding of like the very foundational way to get there. So once we started arguing more and more, I think he started to make some pretty like on its face ridiculous statements, and then people kind of like there a huge schism grew because he saw it as like he kind of like looked really bad, and then he doesn't like looking bad when he argues against me because I'm supposed to be the edgy one, not him. And then he spent like a lot of time like starting to basically mischaracterize or frame my positions like really stupidly, and then he was like, well, I'm not going to debate Destiny anymore. I'm not doing that because he's like a bad faith actor and he just doesn't want to play something like that. There's like a whole long, you can do like a ton of lore behind each other, and then obviously I'm a little bit biased. Like if you would ask either of these guys, they would say that like,
well, I assume that
I'm an edgy
they're different
provocateur and I'm just a contrarian loser who doesn't believe anything I say and I just do it for shock value or something like that. So,
Okay, and and you're not on speaking terms with Bosch?
I would be on speaking terms with either of them. Hassan obviously
They're not
won't.
on speaking terms with you.
No, yeah, they fucking hate me. But that's generally how it goes. I'm usually like willing to talk to anybody. I don't care if you fucking
9 more
to chat with you. I don't think.
needles.
Okay, so you
until
predict
we're
at some
done.
point 4 or 5 months from now, I'm going to say something that you think is stupid, and you're going to say that. You're going to dunk on me in some forum, and then I'm going to feel betrayed and call you a pedophile or something.
Maybe. I don't know. I'm half joking when I say. I don't know. I would hope that it wouldn't happen. I'm not sure, but
you're saying I have to be ready for you to call me an idiot at some point.
it would be like if you say something dumb, I'm gonna say like, oh, he said this thing and I think that's kind of dumb, or I think that's stupid. That doesn't make sense.
Well, I think it's inevitable that I'm going to say something dumb.
Probably yeah. And I'm sure I've said things that you do, like the is pedophilia binary or not, right?
Yeah.
But the problem is that like.
But I wouldn't call you dumb for that.
Sure. The problem isn't really so much dumb or not. I think the big issue of what happens is people are very quick to go to like a second or third order position from a first one and just totally fuck everything up. So here's an example, okay? Let's say me and Vosh are having an argument on rent control. Do you know what rent control is?
Yeah.
Okay. If we disagree, and I'm against rent control, because I don't think it does a good job at protecting poor people, and he says he's pro rent control, the way that it happens after the argument is, I'll come out of the argument and I'll say, wow, Vosh is in favor of rent control. I think that's a dog shit policy. But Vosh will come out of the argument saying, wow, Destiny fucking hates poor people. So going forward, anytime I have a disagreement with somebody, rather than disagreeing on the actual policy positions we have, they pretend that I'm disagreeing with them on some moral foundation that their policy position kind of stemmed from. Or for instance, like yesterday or the day before, I was in this really bizarre panel with like 8 conservative women arguing about pedophilia. And when I would say something like...
I saw a few clips of that.
Yeah, it was horrible. But I would say something, like, pedophilia is very hard to change. There's a very innate sexual desire, you know, like being gay or straight or trans or whatever. And everybody's like, do you think pedophiles are the same as gay people? Do you think running to fuck a man?
You're saying it's okay.
Exactly, yeah. That's where it goes immediately. So walking away from that conversation, none of those people are going to characterize my position as, oh, Destiny disagrees with us about like pedophilia child porn. It'll be, oh, Destiny likes it that pedophiles exist. Destiny wants children to be abused. That's like the walk away from it. And that hurts a lot of the discourse as well, which is true for you as well, right? Like Vosh's community doesn't really, I call it the web, but like people won't engage with what you say. They'll just try to pin you on some weird position and then funnel you down into some horrible shit. So like you make a joke about pedophiles. The only people that joke about pedophiles either support pedophiles or are pedophiles. Therefore, he is a pedophile. Therefore, he's a horrible.
Yeah. See, I think that's the other thing I like about my style is that I'm like, you have to work to not pin me to the web. That's not my job. If you want to understand what I'm saying, then you have to do the work to do that. I don't want to do that because I don't want to defend myself.
Yeah, but the problem is nobody's going to do that work. That doesn't immediately write you up as a pedophile, and then they're done with it.
I feel like I don't know that that's true.
Absolutely,
like I don't think I'm getting out of hand dismissed by everybody right now.
You really don't think so? Even my community is super torn on you.
I'm looking at the chat right now.
Okay.
All right, you fucks. Let's see what's going on.
Okay, I'm gonna vote for my chat. Do you
Copium.
think there is?
How is he so Sigma?
Do you think there is a 50% chance that
Can you do a poll?
that Max is a pedophile? Yes or no? Well, I'm just curious what that will vote on.
Do you think there's a 50% chance, yes or no? Why don't you just ask what percent chance?
Because I'm not gonna pull 50 different percentage points. So right now, my community, this is in my DGG chat. These are my most loyal fans.
Well, I feel like it's either 100 or no or 0.
They're at a 45 to 55% split. So 45% of my fans think there's like a 50% chance that you might be a pedophile, and that's in my most dedicated community. So
okay, but that's pretty good.
is that a good place to start from?
I think 50-50 on it. Even if they said 100%, I would still say, well, it's only 50-50. That's not too bad.
This is 50-50 in my community. If we were to go pull that in Vosh's community, my guess is it would be closer to 90 to 95%.
But he told them to think that.
Exactly. That's what everyone's going to tell them to think. That's the issue. And I'm telling them basically to think the opposite, and they're still only 50-50, even though they should be simping me and copying.
I don't think you have explicitly said.
I have. Well, not explicitly, but implicitly, because by me continuing to talk with you and I'm implicitly trusting you to some extent that you're not actually a pedophile. It would be incredibly stupid of me otherwise, right? So they're getting that vibe from me, whether I say it explicitly or not, right?
Yeah, okay. I can live with 45%. I don't need to win over. I don't think I need to win over 100%. 45%, but you're saying that's 45% of a favorable skewing community.
It all depends. All of this depends on going way back. It just depends on what your goal is, really. Because if your goal is to just like kind of
I have 2 goals.
Yeah, go. I think you said it's more. Go for it.
Yeah. So one, $3,000 a month, being myself. 2, I want to get big enough so that if a big streamer tells me I can't talk right now and play League of Legends for 2 hours, I want to be able to say, no, we're talking now, and then that person has to.
Okay.
talk
Why
to
not
me.
say okay? If you want to do that, then don't say, oh yeah, I'm free after 5 and I go to sleep at 4 a.m. Okay? Because when you say that, you're giving me like a 12-hour range to talk to you.
I didn't understand the context of your question, but now I do.
You understand how? Because now that makes me sound. If you're like, oh, I'm available at 5 or after, and I'm like, can I please talk to you at 5:01 right as soon as you're available? Now that makes me look desperate. Okay, so you know.
I see. Yeah. So we're
you haven't used Tinder, I guess. So
we're
you
doing,
don't know the
we're
game.
doing it. We have to do the dance. I see. No, I don't know how to play. I don't know the game.
Yeah.
I'm very naive, like you said.
Understood. Gotcha.
Yeah.
So long to get needles from
The only
these
reason I bring up like
trees.
what your goal is ultimately is because if you're moving in ways that are counter-indicative, I guess, of your goal constantly, then you're always going to be disappointed. So if it ends up that you can't make $3,000 a month, or you never grow because people immediately write you off as a pedophile because you're saying it in the most provocative way possible, then maybe that's not worth it. And also, keep in mind when I say anything related to what you do or your goal, these are just opinions, right? Like, and I'm not even telling you what you should use. This is like, ultimately, like,
Don't you feel like on some level you're trying to? Doesn't it also seem like?
It seems like it, but I'm really not. If you have a desire to do your shit,
I do.
The way
I
you
do.
Yeah, then just
I do.
you can say,
So
"Fuck it,
I
do
want
it."
you to tell me the best way to do it, to do it my way. You know, what's the best way to drive off this cliff?
I mean, doing what you're doing now is pretty good. The number one best thing you can do, if you really wanted the whole fucking universe to hate you, is you and your girlfriend should adopt a kid and be really public about it.
Why can't we have a kid? Oh, because adoption is even worse. Because
Yeah,
it's like
adopt a black kid. Yeah, and then put him in your next rap song. Okay. If you want to just go off the crazy fucking edge. Okay.
No, because I'm not doing things to upset people. That's the whole thing. That's what makes it so upsetting. Is that I'm not trying to upset people. I'm just saying what I think, and I'm just trying to not. Like before, in the early 2000s, when I was writing my newsletter, I had to find a way to make it provocative. Now, there's so much pressure on everyone to declaw everything they say that all I'm trying to do now is just not do that. Like, I'm just trying to not make it
I understand what you're saying. Like, if you go back and you look at my videos, people in my chat will know that even I get irritated because I'll be screaming at my chat like, I hate that I have to overqualify every fucking thing I say. Because a lot of times it doesn't even matter. People still take that context anyway. It's like, why the fuck am I? Because every time I talk to somebody, like if somebody says, do you think it's good to lynch a black person? I can't even be like, no or yes. I have to be like, well, assuming that they haven't done anything incorrect, and assuming that we're in this time period, and assuming we're all using the same moral framework, and like I have to like qualify every fucking statement a million times. Otherwise, like somebody's gonna take it out of context and use it against me or whatever. And it does get irritating because there's no charitability, there's no good faith. Like if I watch a clip and somebody says something, like even for the million Vosh pedophile things, right? I'm not gonna call Vosh a pedophile. I'm gonna be like, well, there's probably a reason why he said this. Even for people that I hate, I'll say that, right? There's probably like, we need to see like the 30 seconds before. There's got to be some explanation for this that's not like so outwardly as horrible as it appears. But I think most people aren't going to extend that charitability. They just want to go to the most extreme thing possible immediately, and that's like what's fun for people.
I'll call you stupid. If you watch a 10-second clip of somebody and you completely have a full opinion on them about their entire character, you're an idiot. You are stupid. You are stupid. If you want to do that, don't watch me. You can go fuck yourself.
I don't want to. Yeah, I don't want to participate in that.
Well, you want to be in an online community world, so
We got to change it. We have to. It's time to go back.
how far back do you want to go, though? That's the problem.
Come on. 50 years. No, I don't know.
Another problem that you have to deal with. So earlier I said there were two reasons that makes it really hard, and one, we're kind of on it still, which is fine, but talking about the survival thing. But the second problem you get is that a lot of people that share your position are like genuinely horrible people, and people will mix you in with them very quickly. So like
My position specifically?
yeah, or they superficially hold your positions. So like I might argue that like freedom of speech is an important concept that we should all adhere to, and even for hate speech or whatever, like I think all of it should more or less be allowed because it's blah 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 for some reasons.
And then you're with like 90% neo-Nazis.
Exactly. And they end up, like, I become their champion, and I don't want that. Like, I don't really agree with them or how they use language. You know, if they want to do it, I'll defend it, but, like, that's who I will get roped in with immediately. People hear me make an argument, like, oh, cool, you're defending Nazis, that's what you want to do. It's like, well, not exactly, but...
Yeah, so you go on the kill stream.
Yeah, I do, because I like to argue with people. I'm good at it.
I feel like Vosh wouldn't go on the kill stream. Like, most Russian streamers wouldn't go on the kill stream.
Vosh
tired.
used to, when he was more kind of trying to do what I
feel
do
like
now that he's...
the thing is, like,
yeah, he's a little bit more fatalist.
As soon as I get done these needles, it'll pick
There's
up
this like thing where like
my energy.
talking to someone makes you more like them in the view of other people.
Yeah, that, and then, like, people get obsessed with, like, should I be platforming this person? You know, maybe I shouldn't do anything at all, or they're getting clout off of me, and I can't let that happen, and blah, 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 so, yeah.
Can we talk?
Most of the deplatform arguments tend to stem from people thinking other people are too stupid. Whether you're right or wrong, that is what you're saying, and I hope you know that's what the logical outcomes of that are. If you think people are too stupid to listen to ideas, then they should be too stupid to vote. Like, unless you want a whole bunch of stupid, uneducated people voting, or you're in favor of that. But you kinda gotta pick one. You gotta, like, democracy would be a sham. Why not just have a whole bunch of people tell you what to believe? Because you're too stupid to know it yourself or to be able to come up with your own ideas. You're too stupid to have your own thought process, so why not just have a bunch of people tell you exactly what to think, right?
Talk about money.
Whatever you want to talk about, sure.
Can you draw me are you rich? You must be pretty rich by now.
I'm, like, pretty wealthy, but I'm not, like, there are other people richer than me.
Okay, here's a question.
Okay.
How expensive does something, if you're gonna think of buying something,
Okay.
how expensive does a thing have to be for you to think about like affordability or your income? Like, so
Very,
for me,
very
like
low five-figure range. I would immediately be like, this is pretty expensive. Like, if something's like $10,000, I don't think I would just buy it immediately.
okay, but if something's $5,000, you're like, yeah, it's $5,000.
It depends on what it is. I'm not gonna buy $5,000 ice cream cone.
Okay, but something that makes sense for it to, I guess my point is like, so for me, I think that number is around $20. Like if I'm on
Okay,
Amazon
sure.
and I see a HDMI cable and I need one and it's $20, or maybe I don't really need, I don't know.
Okay.
Something I only sort of need. And something's $20, I'm like, yeah, it's $20. All right, so you're saying that number for you is about 5,000.
Maybe, sure. What's the...
Okay.
Oh, yeah, what are we getting at?
I don't know. I'm exploring. Okay,
Okay.
my next question. Can you draw me a sort of, if you feel comfortable, a pie graph of your income?
Yeah, I would say that I make around, these days...
Or I've been a pie graph of section. If you want to tell me how much you make, I would love to know.
I'm not gonna draw a fucking pie graph. Okay. I'd say about...
No, I just mean, broad swaths, what percent comes from what?
Yeah, that's what I'm trying to say, yeah.
Okay,
But I'm not
okay,
gonna draw it, because I don't draw very well.
I just meant draw with your words.
That's what I'm trying to do, yeah. You've interrupted me about 6 times, though, Max.
I'll stop.
Is your name Max, or is it short
Yeah.
for something like Maxine or Max?
No,
Or-
it's short for Maxine. MrGirl indeed. No, it's just Max.
Does that ever upset you? Why?
I think it was going to be Max even if I was a girl.
Oh, ouch.
So I think I was named just Max, so that it would be,
Is there like a reason
non-binary.
why do they want that name? Something do you like a great something or?
No.
Max.
Yeah, actually, you know what? I was named after my brother's
Kev.
favorite book, Where Wild Things Are.
Okay.
It's not still his favorite book.
How old is your brother?
I don't think. He's older. I don't want to give too much demographic information.
Because you're like
I don't-
36, all right? So if your brother's like 39, I don't know how that could be his favorite book, or if that's a book you can read at 3 years old.
Right.
Yeah. Okay.
Well, he's older. He's older than 39.
Okay. I get about half my money from YouTube, and then maybe like 10 to 20% from Twitch, and then maybe about 30% from my website. I had to like do very broad stroke guesses. YouTube is pretty good.
And when you say half from YouTube, that's ads, sponsorships.
Ads,
Does that
I say, yeah.
just ads? Okay. Okay. Yeah. So I'm trying to figure out my
Pie chart where your money should be coming from.
the tripod. you
Yeah,
know,
the number
where
one
the,
thing
like,
for you is gonna be like
the octopus.
is gonna be subs and donations probably starting off as a streamer. That's like immediate big cash flow, and then running commercials and stuff on Twitch is pretty good.
commercials.
Yeah, you can push the show ad button once you get like affiliate or whatever.
You know,
Oh. Yeah. Okay.
getting the needle, baby.
Twitch, YouTube,
Getting the needle,
Patreon.
needle,
Yeah, that
needle,
helps,
needle.
yeah.
Getting that needle, needle, baby. That needle, needle.
Rap. That's the other thing. As I feel like I can't. All these things are. I feel like it's unlikely they'll all be taken away at the same time.
True. Oftentimes what will happen though is one of these platforms will kind of feed
Yes.
other revenue streams. So for me, like if I got banned from Twitch, I live stream on YouTube now, but before I live stream on YouTube, I'm gonna go to Twitch. It's gonna hurt my YouTube, and it's gonna hurt my website, and it's gonna hurt like any merchandise sponsors, right? So.
How do you make money from your website?
It's complicated, but basically I have like my own subscriber system and everything built into my site because I always thought a long time ago that I was gonna get banned from Twitch, so I thought it all set up just in case.
Sounds like I should do that.
Maybe if you want to. I mean,
Fuck.
but that's a maybe. Yeah, that's a
Go
far.
for a walk later. Go for a walk.
What would you worry about right now?
Streaming.
That's the content. Yeah.
Streaming
What
on
would
a
you do?
consistent schedule is really, really, really important.
I want to do weekly because I don't want to.
Overload yourself immediately. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's fair.
I wish I could stream consistently, but I can't. Not yet. We'll get there. I know we will. When I get there.
It'll be ugly.
What, streaming?
The whole thing.
Why?
Four more.
Uncompromising, and people demand compromise.
4 more needles.
Because a little bit feels like everything, I think.
Okay, well,
And if I'm going to compromise everything, there's a lot better ways to make money.
that's true.
I think because my message is that you should not compromise.
Okay.
It's not that you shouldn't compromise at all.
Okay, how about this? You don't have to compromise, but just pick slightly less self-destructive topics.
Isn't that compromising?
Okay, but well, not really, right? Maybe a little bit. It's compromising on subject, but not on subject matter. Okay, it's a level removed. Like right now, you're compromising in this call because you could be naked to prove a point. You're in your own house. How the fuck would you wear clothes? So that's a compromise, yeah.
But I don't. Me being naked has no point right now. Like I don't have an urge to be. Well, I don't have a sizable urge to be naked right now, so it doesn't. I'm not. Yeah, I get what you're saying. Like, I'm not saying I'm blurting out every single fucking thing that pops in my head whenever I'm talking to anybody. I guess I mean like an artistic compromise.
Yeah, I understand what you're saying. I mean, you can just like you can keep trudging forward like this and then see what happens.
Trudging.
Dragging your boots through the snow because it's difficult right now, early on. Yeah.
Yeah, not since you've entered my life. Not so much. No.
Well, but the amount of public everything.
My subscribers are going to have doubled by like next week or something.
Sure, but there's like a lot of other stuff probably that comes along with that, right?
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. It's gonna be the difficult part.
Oh. Yeah.
Mr. Girl sold his soul for those sweet, sweet internet subscribers.
How's your girlfriend feel like this? Or feel about this?
I was thinking about her too. I think anxious like me. I think on some level she's like glad that some other people are seeing what she sees in me.
What the
pedophile.
Can be read, yeah.
The pedophile thing. No, a lot of people understand how abused she's been.
The pedophile thing.
No, I think she
Why did you say
feels
so?
proud of me.
Ooh. Damn.
So here's a question, okay?
She has very little tolerance for people who think I'm a pedophile. Like she thinks they're extremely stupid and is extremely uncharitable when she talks about them. I was like, I told her like, don't comment on anything. Don't ever respond to any of this because first of all, you're gonna bring it on yourself and you're gonna make us both look bad. Don't be mean to people who hate me. Like just stop. But yeah.
And she'll get
For the
dragged into
people-
fights and it'll be really bad. Yeah.
It'll be really bad. But yeah, for the people who are like, what is she? Oh my god! Like no, she thinks that you're an idiot. Okay, but what are you gonna say?
So this is okay. If there's ever normally I send people a message beforehand, but I didn't do this with you. But normally I say like, if there's anything that you're uncomfortable chatting about, you can always like say like, hey, I don't want to talk about this particular thing or whatever. Okay.
Yeah, I would tell you.
Okay, that's good. Seems like. So you have a lot of content that you've worked on, right?
Yeah, I've got a backlog.
Are you
What,
Are you cognizant of like if you had to peg like the quality of the stuff that you work on versus other people like your size of like YouTube subscribers and everything? Do you think you have like a feel for that? Like, do you feel like you generally got like decently high level content, or it's like whatever?
Yeah, I would
it's
say
kind
the
of below average?
production value, thoughtfulness, I would say is probably excessively high given my size.
Okay,
That's my sense.
Okay, I would agree with that 100% in a very positive way, not in a bad way. Like your stuff looks really good. Everything that you post, like yeah. Do you have like a background in like film stuff or?
Yeah, a little bit, and then yeah. I've been editing and making short films and shit for a long time. And then I think a couple years ago, I was just like, there's no reason why my channel shouldn't look amazing. Like I just decided like I want every single video I post to look like reasonably like as visually striking as I can within reason.
Yeah. Somebody mentioned something in chat. The drone footage into your window. You had one if you like stand with your shirt. Yeah. There's a lot of like really cool like Okay, I'm just curious if you're talking about that because have you ever had imposter syndrome?
Yes.
Yeah, because some people feel like, oh no, everything I do is horrible and shit, and blah, blah, blah. I wasn't sure if you had like that mindset.
I have that with I think feeling like I have something worth saying. On some level, I'm deeply sure that I do, and then on another level, I feel like
840.
like when I'm talking to Vosh and he's pulling out these like big words, it's like I know what they mean, but it doesn't occur to me to use them.
What time?
That intimidates me. Where I'm like, I wish I read more. I should have read more books. I should still read more books. I'm halfway through 1984. I've been reading it for. I read a couple other books in the meantime. I've been reading it for like a year or two. It's taking me forever. Those are that's where I feel more like. But then like I'll like watch the debate back. And I'm like, what are you talking about? Like, no, I was right. So I have mixed feelings about it. But yeah, that's I feel more insecure about that.
Okay, that's fair.
Oh, the draw feels
do you feel pretty confident in general?
Oh, dude.
I modeled nude at Olivia Wilde's baby shower.
Okay.
So sometimes.
The weird thing is that the amount of candidness you have would make me feel like the answer is yes. You don't have like the nude stuff, like very candid conversations about your relationship, about your shortcomings, for very personal things, and generally that's associated with like a very high amount of resiliency and confidence and self-esteem. Like a normal person.
Yeah, a large number of people can tell me I'm wrong about something, and kind of like what we were saying before. You're like, can your mind be changed by empirical evidence about gender? And I was like, to some degree, no. And like, so I do think there's a hard-headedness that can be confidence sometimes.
Sure. I guess it's interesting to me that you say that it feels like some people can make you feel dumb or are intimidating to you. Because these other people probably wouldn't pose nude for Olivia Wilde's baby shower.
I bet Vosh, right. Yeah, I don't think
interesting dichotomy to me.
I don't think Vosh would pose nude at a baby shower, but he's probably read 10 times as much as me in his life, I assume. He just comes across. But again, I mean, like, you know, that can also be faked. I don't know, but he seems to have a breadth of knowledge. And he was trying to steer me into that. He was like, okay, let's talk about World War II. And I'm like, how about not? Because I know you know more about it than I do. And it's not my point anyway, but like, but that does make this voice in my head be like, well, maybe I shouldn't be talking about it until I've, done more research. But then other times
2 more. We're almost done.
What is confidence?
In my opinion, confidence is having a level of self-assuredness that is independent of external validation. So basically, I feel a certain way about myself, and I don't really care what somebody else says about me. So if you would call me stupid, I don't really care because I know I'm not stupid. A lot of people would call me stupid, wouldn't care because I know I'm stupid. I think that's when I say confidence, that's kind of what I'm looking for. Is do you have a good, fixed, innate image of yourself that can stand against, I guess, like the screams of the external world trying to say otherwise?
Okay, so I think my confidence is more like a flexibility about my view of myself, where I don't think I'm stupid, but if somebody convinced me that I was stupid or about something or in a certain way, that would be okay.
Okay.
I think to me, you can have like that rigid kind of confidence, but you can also have a kind of confidence where someone's like you're a pervert or you're a pedophile or whatever, and then you're like, well, yeah, maybe a little bit. I mean, if your definition, like by your definition of pedophile that you gave, my cuties review means I'm a pedophile.
Okay.
And so I'm like, sure, okay. Then I guess I am a pedophile. Like if that's literally, if you stand by your definition that you had the other day on the you believe I never said my cuties review when I did, then I guess I am. And so I feel like I have confidence there where like I don't really need to, I don't feel a need to defend myself.
Yeah, okay, I understand, gotcha. So I guess like then be a little bit even more pointed with that then. Like let's say theoretically, Vosh's community right now has a huge threat on you, and they're going through your content and they're like, this guy is actually dog shit at film. Like I look through stuff and it's like, it's just edgy. Like there's no artistic or redeeming value to any of this. He's just an N-word spammer that's trying to shock you, and everything on this channel reeks of pretentious 14-year-old wannabe big YouTuber who's watched too much like Andy Warhol or something.
All right, I get your fucking point.
Well, no, so the point, like, would reading stuff like that bother you? Because this is, so circling back to something I said a lot earlier in the conversation. I like walking into threads where people are just smashing me with personal insults because it makes it feel to me
because it brings a defensive self like loving response inside you. It's like that's not true. Like you feel like you reassure yourself in response.
Okay, film.
That's nice.
You've seen The Dark Knight, right? Very good superhero movie, right? You remember when Batman is punching the Joker? Right?
Yeah.
And the Joker's laughing because Batman traditionally, his strength is his cunning, his strength is power, and the Joker's
I have some problems with The Dark Knight.
That's fine. We're not focusing.
It was a very good scene. It's a very good scene.
It's to illustrate that, like, to the Joker, somebody like the Batman is absolutely powerless in this, and that's what I feel.
Nothing to threaten me with.
Exactly. When people are like, "Oh, you're a shitty father, you abandoned your kid, you're a cuck, or whatever, you're like absolutely whatever words," like people will throw things at me. It's like you're only saying because you actually can't counter any of this, and it's really funny to me. And that's how I feel.
I saw somebody mention your kid on Twitter today, and I found it deeply upsetting.
Oh, well, don't be upset.
What I was.
Yeah, but to get off, I was not talking about me. I'm asking for you. I guess the question is just like, if people were saying something, yeah, is that okay for you? Are you like, okay, I don't care, like, or at some point when you start to second guess, like, wow, maybe my film shit is just like really pretentious. Like I was pointing at drones, but nothing cool. I'm like a loser. Like, did you ever feel that way, or do you think you're?
Yeah. I would feel that way.
Okay.
It would come and go, and I would have other feelings, but it wouldn't change my view of myself. But it would stick in my head for sure. I would be the next time I'm pulling out the drone, I'd be like, oh, is this necessary? Do I need this? Yeah, that shit does stick in my head.
Okay. Just don't let it.
The weird thing is, I don't understand why do people do that? Like, at least acknowledge that you can't argue the point. Don't be like, oh well, fuck this guy, he's a piece of shit bitch. Yeah, but it's like 2 + 2 = 4, right? Man, fuck you, you ain't shit. It's just like, you can't even address what I said. And then you're calling me an idiot. Well, okay, prove to me I'm an idiot, right? It should be pretty damn easy to prove it. I'm an idiot, show me. Don't just say you down, you gotta show me.
But okay, I was just trying to self-confidence.
Just be confident. I also think my sensitivity is one of my assets.
It's hard to balance that out. I can't give you good advice there because I'm a very cold person and it helps me, but I'd probably lose something to that. So
I think you should open your heart.
Well, I mean,
open your heart.
You're saying it in terms of like the way that I am. I understand what you're saying, of course.
I'm too unprotective of myself, and maybe you're too protective of yourself.
There was a friend I had a therapy a long time ago, and she said that something that her therapist told her to do was to like write down a short list of people that you respect. Like these are people that I look up to in my life, or like are important in my life, or whatever. And the therapist told her, like, once you have that list, these are the only people who can have opinions about you, negative or positive, which should influence how you feel about yourself. And if somebody doesn't make a short list for you respecting their opinion, then they shouldn't be able to have a damaging opinion about you because you care about what their opinion is. That's kind of what I'm getting at. That makes sense.
Yeah, but I think that's a weird thing for a therapist to do.
Why?
It has a couple weird implications. One, it's fishing for compliments. Like, are you gonna put me on your list? Patient?
How is it? No.
It puts, patient, it puts the client in a situation where the client has to decide whether they're gonna put you on the list.
No, it's not about putting the idea. It's not. How do you misread it so much? The idea.
I'm not.
You are. Okay.
I'm not. No, you are.
No, you are. Okay. The idea is you're supposed to be. That, like,
I know that's the idea, but
okay.
don't you agree that if your therapist decided to make a list of people whose opinions you value, the first fucking thing you think is like, well, do I have to put you on the list? And then you'd be like, why am I putting you on? Do I want to put you on the list? I kind of have to. Or I guess I could
If you
just
want to
not.
put your therapist on the list, it's probably fine. They're your therapist. They probably should be on the list. So that you want to do that, that's probably okay.
I just think it's fishing for compliments.
Probably.
Okay, the other thing is, you're telling people how they're supposed to feel. I think you go to therapy to find out how you do feel. You go into therapy saying, we already think we feel the way we're supposed to feel, and the therapist is supposed to help you figure out how you actually feel.
No, okay. How you actually feel is like the first baby step. What you're really supposed to figure out is how to manage your feelings or respond to your feelings. That's like the goal, right?
I don't agree with you.
Okay, let's say that I feel really horrible. At the same time, what do I see a dog? And I feel horrible when I see a dog, right? The goal isn't probably to go to therapy and say like, I am really scared of dogs, and there was like, yeah, congratulations, you've identified you're really scared of dogs. The goal is probably to give you the tools to overcome your fear of dogs, or to have a less negative reaction to that, right?
Yeah, I would say that's like a functional aspect of therapy. So like, if you can't go to work because you're too scared of dogs, then yes, I agree with you. The first step is probably to manage that feeling. And like, so with extreme negative feelings and extreme symptoms, that makes sense.
Sure.
But if you are just uneasy around dogs, I would think it would make more sense to just open the floor and like try to figure out why you're feeling that, or even if you're feeling that. Like,
Sure, but the goal generally when we try to figure why do we want to figure these out is just so we can modify them at some point, right?
I guess I just don't see it that way. I don't think you can. It would be nice.
About things?
I think how you feel about things can change, but I don't think that you can make that the goal because then you end up lying to yourself.
I don't think so. I think there are ways that we can mark, like this is how we feel about a thing, we can change how we feel about it. I think it's okay. We'll have
Yes, we're
You can
done.
control how you feel.
Maybe not, but we can usually control our, well, we can control how we feel.
No.
But even if we say we can't, we can at least control how we respond to things, right?
Yes, I agree with that, but I don't think we can control how we feel.
Well, I think the idea is that if you have a good understanding
All
of how
right,
you respond to
about
something,
to
like
be
your feelings,
210.
and then you can keep changing the way that you react to it, or your reaction to it. And I think the goal is that in time your feelings will start to change as well, right? Have you ever heard of CBT?
Cotton ball torture, yeah.
You ever heard of
No,
the
yeah, cognitive behavioral therapy.
Yeah, I think this is what I'm explaining more or less, right?
Yes, I'm against that.
Against cognitive behavioral.
I'm against cognitive. I'm not saying it doesn't work. I'm saying I think that it's
Oh my God.
limited in what it can do for you. I think it's like a shield.
Well, I mean, it depends probably on... It's
Depends on your goal.
Yeah, if you're not able to live in the world because of negative responses you have to emotions, then changing those should probably be the goal of like any therapeutic.
Okay, now we're gonna up
Yeah, if
our
you're not able to function,
equips.
then becoming functional should be the goal.
Yeah, and a lot of the reasons why people go to therapy is because they are dysfunctional in some way, right?
Yeah, but I think you can also become more functional by understanding, like, what if you're afraid of dogs because your stepfather killed your dog in front of you, but you don't think about that. You just think about how the dog's gonna bite you or something. You just know you're scared, but you don't understand that you're scared that you're gonna hurt the dog or that somebody else. You don't understand you're scared for the dog. You just think dogs scare you.
Okay.
And so if you're super non-functional, then like, yeah, they can get out a dog puppet and then have you write your feelings about it and get out a nice dog and make you pet the dog and feed the dog and have you make friends with the dog, and then eventually, like, through exposure and paying attention to how you react and seeing, okay, I don't have to run out of the room screaming. You can manage your relationship with dogs, but if you only do that, you may never reach that like deeper understanding.
Yeah, there could be like, well, therapy doesn't have to be just one thing, sure. Like getting to have their understanding of why you feel certain ways. That's probably a worthy goal. Maybe just not a good end. Because like going to therapy just to figure out why you're traumatized by something probably isn't as valuable as also overcoming the trauma too, right? Or at least the trauma response.
Yeah.
Yes, but in an example, we're talking about telling somebody to disregard all emotional inputs from anyone who isn't on this list, which to me seems necessarily delusional. Like, you're telling the person to be delusional. I don't think
the
it's
issue. Yeah, so the issue. Okay, good quality response. The issue is my friend she's like a decent sized like streamer person, and the issue is dealing with negative response publicly. So especially if you're a girl, you'll get a lot of like, you're an ugly whore, you're a stupid bitch, like blah blah blah. You get stuff like that, and it's really hard. Like in the example that I gave you earlier about watch a subreddit, it can be really hard not to take that to heart, especially on like a bad day. Like somebody might say.
So it might be.
Right. So like I don't think it's telling a person like that. You're like, hey, you know, these are people's opinions that shouldn't matter much to you. Like, you don't respect them, you don't care about them, like don't let their opinions affect you. I think it's an okay thing to say, right?
No.
No.
No, that's what we're arguing about. My position is it's not an okay thing to say.
So you should.
Your position is that it is.
So you think if watch a subreddit, we're all repeating all the things that I said earlier about your film stuff. That's important for you to consider all their opinions about. Well, it's the same thing.
You're very good at big cutting, by the way. That was a good string of insults.
I'm not trying. Wait, I'm sorry. I was just like picking random shit. I don't know.
It's not random. No, it's not random. You know how to sense somebody's weaknesses.
Yeah, I'm just saying things that came to mind. Okay. Not that I'm thinking,
It's not random.
I'm thinking like, well, what would hurt somebody?
I just know
Yeah, okay. So I pick
what
a
would hurt
I
somebody.
pick a person, but I don't mean that at you. But I'm just saying that like, if you read a bunch of that, it would probably be better for you to not really like those people aren't critiquing you from a place of good faith. They're not critiquing you from a place of knowledge. They're literally critiquing you from a place of like, I hate this motherfucker. And I want to say the meanest things I can to make him feel upset. Right? Like, is that feedback that you should invest a lot of emotional, like making emotional investment understanding?
I don't know that I can control that. I guess that's what I'm saying.
Well, you absolutely can, right?
I don't think so.
If you start reading it, you have two options.
I can control whether I read it. I don't think I can control how deeply it hits me.
I think by thinking about it a lot, I think you can.
I fear that that's just disconnecting yourself from your feelings.
Well, this is what CBT is based on, right? The idea is that if I show you something enough,
I don't like it. That's what I'm fucking saying. I don't like it.
Okay, go argue with everything. I'm not.
Okay.
But okay,
I probably will.
Yeah. You know, I'm a really good therapist on the spot.
Okay, I feel like I see why MrGirl doesn't like it, because he thinks that people just are what they are. And anything to try to like get you to like convince yourself out of that he'll see it as lying. So even if you think you're if you think you're a terrible, yeah, he probably would say, if you think you're a terrible person, accept that you're a terrible person. One day, if you keep doing other things, they'll be like, well, a terrible person wouldn't do this. I can't put myself in that category. He probably say that, but you can't change the idea of, yeah, okay, I think I can wrap my head around it.
You can argue it, actually. Anne of Water.
Oh, yeah?
She's a psychologist person. Yeah, great. Genius mind, okay. If you ever get a chance.
Well, I would love to argue with a genius mind.
Yes. Okay.
And then I'll have imposter syndrome.
Wait, we're not supposed to talk about her anymore? Oh, maybe we're sorry. It's a person that is involved with me. Never mind. Not involved with me. Anyway, where were we at on this?
I think you were telling me to protect myself in the ways that you protect yourself, and I said no.
Because you want to just self-destruct. That's your goal.
No, if the world wants to crush me, then it shall. I don't want that to happen, but I don't want to beg it not to.
Yeah.
I don't want to compromise on certain things. On certain things, I do want to compromise, like nudity on the channel. I'm fine. I don't need to do that. Like if YouTube says they don't want, you know what it is? I'm fine with following TOS. What I cannot stand is not doing things that don't break TOS because I'm afraid I'm going to get banned anyway. So I'm like, if you're gonna flag me just because you don't like me, or because I make you uncomfortable, and YouTube is going to capitulate to the pressure and remove me, and not, whoever reviews it is going to go, yeah, he didn't break TOS, fuck this guy. Then fine. That's what I don't want to capitulate to. Whatever the rules are, I will play by the rules. And same thing with like college. You're allowed to say we should empathize with mass shooters. You're allowed to say I don't like fluorescent lights. You're allowed to say I think you guys are lying when you say you can't empathize with mass shooters. Those are all legally protected. The government cannot arrest you and put you in jail overnight. Obviously, they can arrest you and charge you with a crime, but that's not. They're breaking the rules, not me. And so I think that's where I feel very uncomfortable.
I feel stronger already.
Like whatever the rules are that we're agreeing to, I want to follow those. But
the
I don't like
cheating.
cheating.
Explicit ones, not the implicit.
Yeah, no cheating.
Okay.
And reporting my website is cheating.
Yeah.
Yeah, because you don't actually think there's anything illegal on my website.
Yeah, you are a bitch for doing that. Reporting stuff is for things that are supposed to be violations, not because you don't like it or are uncomfortable. Like, go fuck yourself. I'm going to report something because you personally don't feel like... I don't give a fuck about that. You a bitch.
I don't have a ton of friends, also.
By choice, or?
I had a big falling out with my friend group from middle school, really.
Why? Wait, in middle school or like in college friends from middle school?
More recently, when I was 30.
Okay, wow.
I got divorced and I lost most of my friends and stopped talking to both of my parents. Or I already stopped talking to my mother, but I stopped talking to my father too.
Your parents split or together?
They're split.
Okay. Did they all like your ex-wife a lot more, or was it like a shared friend group and then they all had to choose sides, or?
No, they hated her.
So why did the divorce trigger the friendship group breaking off?
I triggered all of them simultaneously by telling everybody that I have to start talking about my feelings.
You triggered
This is my narrative. This is clearly not their
Sure,
narrative. But I was very much a people pleaser and held my feelings in and would just deal with things by joking and then sometimes making like passive aggressive or often underhanded comments or jokes. But I never directly, I was never vulnerable. And all of these relationships were built on this foundation of me kind of understanding me what?
Being a footstool, right? Letting people walk all over you, or not like actually speaking like this is what Max wants or whatever, and I'm just kind of like passive aggressive about it, but just so much that people kind of knew, but not enough to actually do anything about it.
Yeah.
Okay.
And being in the role of like understanding people's feelings and talking about their feelings, but never insisting that they listen to me. So then at some point I was just like, oh, I want to die. I hate my life, and I have to stop doing this. And it made like everything collapse pretty quickly.
One more store, more permit.
So I have a few good friends. I've got
I've been needing those.
I think I could probably make friends. If my career does well, I think I could probably make friends who don't care or know about it. I think that's what I would do. Like if I were like Logan Paul or something. There's still a lot of people who don't know who Logan Paul is.
Maybe if you go to like some really desolate African village or something, but I think most of the world is. Well, actually, young people.
I think there are older people, maybe 5 years older, 5 years older, who are just like,
yeah, like in their 40s, 50s, have no idea.
Yeah, I graduated law school and I'm working at this new firm and I have no idea what the fuck you're talking about. I feel like I would. I was thinking about this with Eminem, like when he talks about how hard it is to date. I'm like, I know everybody knows who he is at this point, but like, a lot of people don't care.
Sure.
And I feel like what you were saying earlier about the YouTubers, all their new best friends are all other huge YouTubers. I would think it would be better to just be friends with people who just don't care.
Yeah, people fine.
All right.
Yeah. That could be a lot difficult.
I think I need.
I just have a few friends, and then my wonderful wife, and then I play games and do all that stuff. But I'm okay being kind of like pretty on my own. That's kind of like no caring for me. I'm fine with that.
You're a lone wolf.
Yeah, but I enjoy that.
23. I need 23. I need 2 more icicles, and then, and only then, can we go.
I'm a people person.
To what's it called?
Yeah, I've driven everybody away. The problem was I just agreed. I set up relationships that were not actually going to work for me.
Do you have any way to meet people now? Well, let's back up. Do you want more friends?
Yes.
What kind of friends? Like people you can shoot the shit with online? People you can go like bouldering with? People that want to watch a movie with you?
I think both. I think I need less close friends and more close friends. But yeah, with the pandemic, I still don't
Right,
know.
no, I'm ready to see how strong I am now. How strong!
I have to go in 3 minutes because I have to train my personal training client.
No problem. What are you training them in?
Just a variety of lifts.
Boss set I can use.
No, I'd say just general fitness and health. I don't want to get too detailed, but
okay, that's good. Is this person a friend? You said that you told all your clients everything.
You can't be friends. Yeah.
But this person stuck by you.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, they all did. I never lost a client because of my online activities, actually.
Oh, I thought you said
because
like
we're
one
talking.
person or whatever.
Oh no, that's just COVID. COVID just closed the gym I worked at, and then I left LA.
Gotcha.
So yeah, I used to live in LA, and then only one person was like, "Let's keep training online." Everybody else was like, "I'm just gonna stop or find somebody else," or
Okay, significantly different.
This is my last remaining client. But yeah, all my other, like you're saying with the close friend thing, like, if you've been training with somebody for 2 years and you know them pretty well, and they're like, "Hey, everybody thinks I'm a pedophile because of this movie review I made." Their reaction was just like, "Oh Jesus, what did you say? Let me watch the review." And they're like, "Well, I can understand why they came up. I get what you're saying. I think it's a good video." Blah blah.
Okay.
Yeah. All right. Well, any final words of wisdom for me before I charge one more step toward
Not
The
really.
end.
Good luck. Be careful. If you ever want to chat, let me know. You gotta get a person to talk to. Otherwise, yeah, good luck. Be careful. We'll be,
Oh, well, of course I'm gonna hit you up. I like you.
Okay.
You said I was wrong in public.
Okay.
Next
So now I'm
video.
here.
Or tell me, like, hey, why don't you go and argue with them on the site? Which is fair. You something like, I think you should show them this thing. I'm gonna watch it afterwards. Maybe we'll talk about it. Like, rather than doing this, like, we need to shut this person out. They have to be deplatformed. They're not big enough for us to engage with. And somebody might listen to this video and turn into like a serial rapist. Like, why not like be a little bit more, have more engagement with the thought rather than like an instant repulsion? What's up with the shirt today?
What do you mean?
What was that?
What's wrong with my shirt?
I just think there's anything wrong with it. Why would you assume there's something wrong with it?
You saying this is not a MrGirl merch shirt?
That's one way you could read it.
How are you reading it?
I just asked a question. I was curious how you respond. You didn't disappoint. Seem pretty excited.
yeah.
I don't know.
Well, you know, I don't want to be a walking talking commercial for myself. You know.
Oh, okay.
It starts to feel.
I'll be a commercial.
You get what I'm saying.
Watch
That's what I'm
me.
I'm trying to be classy.
Sure. You don't want to be constantly self-promoting.
No,
Make sure, like,
I don't
push it
have
really, like,
class.
Yeah.
I don't have
What are we talking about
class.
today?
Nope.
I think there's a few things I want to talk about.
You're uneducated over
I
here.
want- well, first
Ain't
I
no
have-
class to be
it's-
found.
Cool. Right, I'm gonna start streaming. Oh wait, no. Yeah, I'm very bad at this. First I want to talk about our relationship
Okay. Gotcha.
because I like checking in with you. You know.
Yeah, for sure.
So, I guess I'll call this consent debate.
Yeah, that sounds good.
MrGirl.
Wait, hold on. Debate or conversation? Because I heard a rumor that somebody's really mad about having debates. So, are you
I
sure?
want to talk about that second. That's so I want to talk about our relationship, debate itself, and then I want to debate consent with you. But and then whatever else you think we should talk about.
Okay. Okay.
I'll capitalize your name.
Thank you.
Yo. Man. Streaming is like,
So how's our relationship going?
I'll just say streaming in general. It's like, I should probably get another game to play. And I should also get like a, hold on, let me try this. Hold on. Right now, I'm rolling up one of my mouse pads, and then using it as like a rest for my wrist, so my wrist don't get tired, because I can feel yeah. Streaming is fun. It's just my wrist gets tired and in pain from being here for too long.
I just heard you say that like the people are moving to the getting sick of MrGirl phase, which is understandable. There's been a lot of MrGirl the past week or so.
Oh, there's like with any internet phenomenon, there's like some predictable trends. So one is you get first is the initial fascination, then you get a counter jerk, and then it's kind of like a trampoline where you bounce and then you're up and then you settle in some area.
Right, and so you gotta not fall off, I guess. Or fall through.
The problem is you'll never be as high as the first bounce from that first jump, and that can fuck with people's heads a lot. So here's like a phenomenon that is true of all content creators. Even if they think it doesn't affect them, it does, and it destroys people. Somebody is a 300 viewer concurrent streamer, okay? And then let's say they do something amazing, okay? Some huge event happens, and now they get 5,000 viewers. And in 2 weeks, it settles from 5,000 to 1,000. They feel fucking horrible. Even though their concurrent viewership tripled. Right? Yeah, they feel like dog shit. And that just happens to everybody, so make sure you're always constantly
Don't give me a magic character after this.
Or you're very quick at, humans are quick at acclimating to things. We become used to things very quickly, and then it is part of our new expectations.
Right. I see what you're saying. The power dynamic between us changes as my own influence and reach grows.
Yes,
Do you agree with that?
the goal is for one day for you to be popular enough that I can start reaching some fans back off of you. That's the long plan. I send my children out to grow and then I'll bring them back in. Josh and Hassan should be rejoining me soon enough. We'll see.
Yeah, I don't believe you.
I feel like
Don't believe about what?
Well, I don't think that's really what you think. I think you're joking.
Oh, yeah, I am joking. I just think
Yeah,
some
no.
conversations are really interesting. Sorry. Yeah.
Right. So it's a mutually beneficial relationship. At first, the first time I came on, you had very much air of like, okay, what boring thing is this idiot gonna say? Like, 'cause that's like kind of what you're used to. And so I guess at what point do you feel like our relationship will be truly mutually beneficial? Well, where I'll have, have you seen There Will Be Blood?
Yes.
The drainage. I'll have drunk as much of your milkshake as I am reasonably going to drink.
I've drunk your
be like interesting
milkshake.
content for both of us. I don't know, how does it work?
I try to really think about it that way. I don't know if that point will ever come, but that's just not typically how I think about something. If something's interesting, I'm trying to think of like what other ways can I grow off the back of
The
it.
music in this cave
Well, I'm only thinking about it because
is
I want to
so
college.
good.
You know,
Well, I mean, as long as you're
it took me
streaming.
a long time for me to get there.
Well, I mean,
It's
technically,
nighttime.
if I was to adopt that point, I would have no colleagues except for Vosh and Hassan, because technically everybody else, or if Matt was beneath me, right? I need to
I know, but I feel like that kind of sucks.
Well, then grow really big, I guess. But it's not, I mean, I don't think about it that way. So if it sucks for you because that's what you're thinking about it. It doesn't bother me. Okay with it.
1 minute sucks for you.
If I focused on it, maybe, but no, I think I'm happy with like hanging out with people.
Well, I'm not trying to bring your focus to it if you don't want to.
Yeah.
Ice dungeon. This is where the ice came.
Yeah, because I feel like with asking you to, so I asked you to do this one,
Yeah.
right? But like, is there some part of you when I ask you that is like, well, of course, like anytime anybody asks you to come on your stream, isn't it, you're saying there's no part of you that's like, well, like they want something from me. Of course they want something from me.
Yeah, of course I think about that. But my concern is always just like, do I think it's gonna be interesting? Like every single person that invites me to any kind of interview ever in the space has a huge amount to gain off of me. But I don't like think about that. I just like, am I interested in the topic? Like I got into this stuff because I genuinely love shouting at people, and I'll still do it because I genuinely like I just enjoy doing it. Like there are times when I'm not streaming at night and people will catch me because I'll hear something stupid on a panel and I'll have to jump on and argue with someone because I like doing that. And even without streaming, it's something I enjoy doing. So I like that. It's fun for me.
Yeah, if you're inviting yourself on a panel, I think that makes more sense because then there's no way you're gonna feel used by that.
Yeah, but even if people are using me, it's not something I really care that much about. I don't know. If it was to my detriment, then we have a huge problem. But if it's something that I enjoy, like yeah, that's fine.
Okay, because I feel like if I don't ask you to come on your stream, then that also could make you feel used. I feel like whatever I do, I can make you feel used. Because if I don't ask you, then it's like, oh, you already got the huge boost. And now, like, every time I come on your stream, in terms of like numbers and subscribers and stuff, it's diminishing returns because the people who watch your streams already know who I am, and like they probably made up their minds at this point if they want to watch my content or not. So from a purely money perspective, it feels, or I guess power or whatever. I feel like I could give you the appearance that I'm a user either way, and I'm dealing with it on the other end too, where like obviously I'm getting like a ton of invitations to go on people's streams, and the smaller they are, the more invitation I get. Right?
Sure.
I feel like you must think about this.
I have a whole, the way that I look at the world is like very different than most people, so none of this like factors in for me. I understand what you're saying, and I think your feelings are normal. I understand why you feel that way. So we're kind of running into the book smarts thing that you ran into a while ago, where I'm going to tell you that this is how I feel about things, but most people don't feel this way, and I have incentives to lie to you, so I ask you to trust me, like you ask your audience to trust you when you're being edgy. But I can't really convince you otherwise. Most of what you're saying I think is pretty normal. I think a lot of people would engage with other people that way, and a lot of people would, but I don't. It's just something I think about. If I did, I think I would have killed myself or quit this area because I've been like fucked over by so many. It's like a joke how many people have like gotten a huge fucking kick out of me and then like boosted the shit out of them and then never talk to me again once they think they've made it or like it happens. But it's really
you can see why that's concerning to me that this necessarily at the moment built in a facet of our relationship. If you thought too hard about it, you would kill yourself. You can see why I'm bringing it up.
Yeah, but well, I mean, I've been here for like 12 years now. If it was gonna happen, I think it would have already happened. Okay.
Well, I'm not worried about it happening. I'm worried. It feels like the elephant in the room sometimes when I'm talking to you, and I don't know. Maybe talking about it makes it worse.
Yeah. So here's like where let's pull back and get a little meta for a second. So the conversation that we're having right now is if you were a different type of person, this would be a really big problem. And I want to have a conversation about how if you were a totally different type of person, this could be a big problem. Because I'm telling you is I'm not that type of person, so it's not really a problem for me. But then we're still having this insistence on talking as though we're that kind of person. I don't really know how to engage more with the subject matter.
Well, yeah, I can see what you're saying.
Yeah, I agree that your concern is a valid one, and it's one that almost everybody in this space thinks about. The way that I do things is that as long as it's like a fun conversation for me, I don't care if I'm growing, I don't care if they're growing. Like I'm not gonna give a big Vosh speech or like I can't let other people grow for me, blah, blah, blah. Like if it's fun for me, I'll do it. Like I show up on a lot of smaller panels, I talk to a lot of smaller creators, go to a lot of real life debates because they're fun. Like it's just all like fun shit for me, right? So like even if it was the case that somebody ends up like utilizing my platform and they grow up, like oh that's fine, okay, as long as I found out what was happening, whatever.
Okay. I'm gonna think about this.
Okay.
I'm gonna keep bringing it up. My chat is saying that your mic audio sounds bad, but it doesn't sound bad to me, so I don't know why they're saying that. There's something I need to do.
Let's test. I'm gonna listen to myself speaking in stream. 3, 2, 1. Let's listen. Hold on.
It doesn't sound bad to me, so I don't know why they're saying that. There's something I need to do.
Let's test. I'm gonna listen to myself speaking in stream.
Everybody
3,
says fine
2,
now.
1. That's fine.
Okay. Okay. Chat. Jesus. Okay. What's the second thing? Oh, debate itself. Okay. So here's how I see. You ever watch Stephen Crowder?
Unfortunately, yeah.
Yeah. So I have a kind of obsession with Stephen Crowder.
Okay.
I made a few videos about him. I said a bunch of times that he's my arch nemesis.
Change My Mind, where we rationalize our positions on controversial topics. For this installment, we set up shop in Austin, Texas.
What's not what Change My Mind is? Change My Mind is you upset people who you think are dumber than you, or sometimes are, for money.
Feelings don't care about your feelings. Neither do I. I'm open to changing my mind. I'm a comedian. I'm a writer. I'm a centrist.
We realized into a little niche, so we wanted to cast our net wider. So one the same. Black Lives Matter is a domestic terrorist organization.
Hey guys. So today we're going to be talking about Stephen Crowder. Thanks. Stephen Crowder's an imposter in a lot of ways, actually. He's a Canadian pretending to be deeply American and patriotic. He's gay pretending to be straight. And today we're going to talk about how he's a fucking idiot pretending to be smart.
Is he actually
He's my
gay?
nemesis and I'm his. I have to be. I'm sure he has no idea who I am. Maybe never will. But I'm fixated on Stephen Crowder. He elicits something in me that no other creator does. Maybe no other person. Yeah, he's the Joker to my Batman, or the Batman to my Joker, something like that. But so when Stephen Crowder, he's a debater.
In the worst sense possible, yeah.
In the worst sense possible. So it's a good way to illustrate why I don't like debates, because everything I don't like is there. So what I want to bring your attention to is the binder. So if you watch the Change My Mind videos, he sits down. Yeah, you know what I'm talking about. So he sits down and he has college students, insecure college students who don't really know what they're talking about, come up.
Yeah, that is super weird. Why do a lot of these I mean, I get it because it's probably like it'll get the most views, but you see a bunch of grown ass men, like people who are well into their political careers and shit, like in their late 20s to like mid 30s to late 30s, and they're arguing with people who are like 18 to 22. It's like, oh, he destroyed him. Yeah, I bet he did. Yeah. They're like a child compared to him. Yeah. Is it really that impressive? Or are you just happy to see someone you disagree with get owned? You easily entertained monkey.
And take some premise on his side. That means they've already lost the debate as soon as they sit down. And then he's surrounded by the chat, and like the streamer equivalent of the chat.
His hype man, basically.
His hype man, right? And so and it's like that like a old freestyle battle video where it's like doesn't matter what he says, they're all gonna just like
the black kids are like, whoa.
Yeah. We're like, oh, like doesn't matter what he says, they're gonna react that way anyway. So it makes it feel like he's winning no matter what. But he always has a binder, and the binder is there in case the agreed upon premise and agreed upon facts of the matter that he's debating with the other person. In case that turns out not to be enough, he can always just introduce a new pile of statistics that the other person has never heard of from a source they don't know what it is but sounds official, or probably is. And now he has a new. It's like if you're playing chess and then I was just like, oh, here's my spaceship piece, and you're like, oh, and I'm like, yeah, it moves like this and it can just like kill all your pieces. You didn't know I had that. So Dario, fucking Dario.
Oh, you're talking earlier. He's not happy with you.
I know. I heard it.
Dario.
And
Dario.
So my response to what he's saying is it's not that I don't like debating with facts. It's that to me, I like debating with agreed upon facts. So when I talk to you about gender, it's like, where do we both agree is happening? What can we both agree is happening? And once we've agreed upon a set of facts, then we have our chess pieces. And then from there, we take that and we say, okay, logically, with what you said, your own beliefs are contradicted in this way, or doesn't it follow this? Or and then if that doesn't work, like you said, okay, then can you at least do you see my pieces and do you see why I put them the way they are, why I see them the way they are? And what I don't like, so like with Rose Wrist or Bosch, I don't like it when they're like,
I mean,
do you have any
kill me, but it's just annoying.
Like I said, the trans activist cults is pressuring academia into blah blah, and so I think I said that to say like that's why I'm skeptical of agreeing with studies because I see the pressure in academia. And then he says, okay, what evidence do you have of that? And so then I didn't say if you don't, it's as obvious as the sky being blue. I don't think that's what I said. I think what I said is I experience the pressure on academia the same way I experience the sky being blue. Like it seems very obvious to me. So if it doesn't seem obvious to you, I'm willing to just like let go. Like we don't have to go down that path. I just want you to know that like I just think that's happening.
Sure.
And I'm not saying you should. That's not a debating point. I'm not saying you should also think it. I'm saying if you're willing to say, yeah, there's pressure on them, but I don't think it's gotten to that point, or yes, there's pressure, but it's, I don't think it's making a difference. Here's another example of pressure that didn't make, like, there's places you can go with that. But if you're just going to say, I have no idea what you're talking about, to me, then it's a non-starter. Like, we can't continue the debate.
Yeah.
Because there's nothing I can say, and there's no source I can pull out that is going to convince you that there's widespread, like, progressive pressure on scientific, or scientists to just say things that they don't actually believe and that they're succumbing to.
Have you ever heard of the difference between validity and soundness in regards to an argument?
No.
Okay. So let's say that I give you, like what a premise, conclusion, argument would be, like syllogism, right? So maybe I could say premise 1 is all men are mortal. Premise 2 is Socrates is a man. Your conclusion is Socrates is therefore mortal, right?
Yes.
Okay. This is like a basic, like a syllogism, okay, structured argument. So it sounds like there's 2 ways to evaluate an argument. We can talk about the validity of the argument, which refers to the internal consistency. So you're essentially asking the question, does the conclusion follow logically, deductively from the premises? Or you can talk about the soundness of an argument, which has, does the conclusion follow and are the premises true? So it sounds like when you're having conversations, you're more concerned with having a conversation about deduction or the validity of an argument than trying to establish those premises themselves. Whereas a lot of people, when they argue, they want to establish and argue over the premises and then work their way towards a conclusion from there. Does that make sense?
Yes. Yeah, because I don't think there's a way to, unless it's like, I mean, to me at that point it becomes an interview. Like if I'm, like when I interviewed a epidemiologist, I know that she's going to just bring information into the conversation and that I am going to agree with whatever she says. And then later in the interview, we can then take all the pieces she's laid out, and then I'll have a few ideas and push things to push back on and say like, well, if this is true, then isn't this true? And like I feel like you can get to that point. But I feel like for most of the things we're talking about, if I was talking to an expert who I thought had a ton more information than I did, then I would just interview them. And if they think I'm an expert, then they should just interview me, like Stardust asking me like about my life. But even then, after I start talking about my life, then once the pieces are on the table, she did push back on a few things. So I like to just lay out at first, where are you? Where am I? What's the overlap? And then are we going to just say, why are they different? Or are we going to take the overlap and say like, okay, let's argue about what we both already agree is happening. And so so when Rose says like, well, that's not happening at all, then to me I'm like, okay, well, we can't continue down that chain because there's no way I'm going to convince you it's happening. There's absolutely nothing I can say or show you.
Sure.
There's nothing you can say or show me to convince me that it's not happening.
Can you think of a potential huge pitfall though to this style of conversation?
No.
So the huge problem you're going to have is that some things so obviously will lead to a certain conclusion, a deduction will be made given a certain set of premises, that people will fight over those premises a lot because they're very important to the argument. Sorry, I'm drawing a lot of philosophy terms. I think they're good to understand kind of like the forms of arguments. Have you ever heard of something, have you ever heard of a phrase called begging the question?
Yeah, I don't know what it means.
Okay, that's fine. Nobody does because everybody thinks it means raising a question. So begging the question is when I kind of like lay out a few points, and the points themselves essentially give the conclusion. More or less, there's not much room for argumentation. So let's bring this to a real world example, okay? Let's say that we want to argue whether or not black people and white people should exist in the same society, right? Now let's say that we have a point of contention over one premise, and that premise is whether or not black people are genetically predisposed to be evil, murderous monsters, okay? Well, that premise in and of itself is almost like a begging the question, because if it's true, then it's almost for sure black people shouldn't be in society. If black people are by default murderous monstrous people, then almost like you're done with the argument basically. You don't even need to go from there. So
you said more likely, but okay.
What do you mean more likely?
At first you said they're more likely to be murderous people.
Or they have genes that make them something like, or we'll say like
auto serial killer.
Auto serial killer, yeah. So if somebody wants to debate you on that argument, it's going to be really hard for you guys to get off of. Like, well, okay, let's just say for argument's sake that black people are by default murderous, serial killing people. Okay, now
I think people should be okay with it. I'm fine with that. If I were debating a neo-Nazi who said that, then I would take it 2 places. I would say, first I would say, why do you think that? And I would just be interested in all the parts of why they believe that, and sort of laying them out and understanding them. And then I think I would lay out my counter-arguments of why I don't believe that, but not in an attempt to knock down this clearly like central pillar of their outlook. And then I would try to say like, okay, given like in the all auto serial killers one, I think there would not be a lot of room for this. But if they say they're genetically predisposed to be more likely to commit murder or something, then I think I would still engage. I would just say like, I don't think this, but let's go through it and act like we do think it and see if it still makes sense to go where you're going. And I think that's actually valuable because
it can be. But the problem is you're almost for sure gonna have a conversation that more or less validates everything that somebody else is saying that you might find like morally abhorrent. I think is the issue. Because we can basically walk through like a whole bunch of these like examples for why they're right or why their point of view is correct or whatever, and they're probably gonna vindicate them. They're like, well, I want society to save my kids. Like, okay, well, black people will be dangerous for children. Black people will be dangerous for all of these like things that we would say are good societally speaking, right? We can't have parks anymore. We can't go outside anymore. Like, yeah, you're right. Yeah, and you basically be saying all these things. Now maybe in your mind you're in this position like, well, of course, this is starting from an assumption I disagree with, but the average person gonna hear the conversation like, okay, shit, like this guy's just full on like agreeing with the Nazi, and the Nazi's gonna feel really good. Like, oh, this guy agrees. I'm like actually really reasonable, even though that huge fundamental disagreement in the beginning is essentially like doing all of the heavy lifting in this argument.
But you see the pitfall of that view in that people with abhorrent or extremely immoral ideas or arguments or goals are not talking to people who will listen to them or understand them or who don't already agree with them.
Yeah, I understand that's an issue, but I mean, like, I think
it's a bigger issue.
It is an issue, but it's going to depend on those initial premises, because some premises you're not going to get by. You're going to be fucked. I
don't agree.
Well, because if we're having a debate on how we should deal with black people in society, and I'm starting from the premise that black people automatically have a set of genes that makes them like orders of magnitude inferior, multiple statistical deviations off from like a white man or a white person, it's going to be almost impossible for you to move me into an area where I don't feel the need to create some sort of like white ethnicity.
I don't think I need to. I guess I don't think it's my obligation to move you to a place by the end of the conversation that I deem like morally okay.
What's your goal of the conversation then? Go ahead.
I think to show you that I'm willing to talk to you. I think that alone is worth a lot, and just kind of look over your ideas and see if there are places where I think the most valuable thing would be like I actually agree with some of the parts of your premise, or
there's an idea here that's like sometimes it's not about convincing people. Sometimes it's not about arguing against people. Sometimes it's about laying out ideas, sometimes completely opposing ideas, and having people understand why people believe what they do believe, and just leaving it there. But I feel like for most people it's going to be incredibly difficult to do, because there's like a need for everyone to make everyone else on the same page as them. Yeah.
Kind of like various anchors, and then if you look at the rest of mine and see like that they're different, I think that could shift you a little bit. I just don't think I would be saying, if this person's still a white supremacist by the end of this conversation, then I'll have failed unless I hang up on them and call them a Nazi.
Yeah, I don't think that's the goal. I agree that's too far, but I would say that your movement in the other direction is equally as far, that it just doesn't accomplish anything. Like if I'm talking to somebody, I'll match on descriptive realities that are real, because sometimes people won't even do that. I'll make a case like, yeah, this is a good observation, or this is true, okay? Even if it sucks for me, it is true. But you can't, I don't think you can just agree with every premises because, or agree with every premise. Premises isn't a word, right? Premise. You can't agree with every premise because a lot of these are going to be like, it's just going to deductively do all the work for a person's argument that might get formed, and depending on what your goal is, you basically like validated everything they've said, and there's not really much room to push back on.
I agree the example you're giving does almost entirely close the door, where if I say, okay, all X people are psycho murderers, so therefore you will put them in jail, like, yeah, that makes sense. I also think that it kind of mitigates the problem with that, and that it would be a very short conversation. I mean, I would just say, like,
yeah.
I would say I think we need to have a new conversation maybe about a part of this, or we might have just hit the end.
Sure. And then to your credit, not all of these fundamental differences are going to be that extreme, right? Like there might be some that I can work around depending on who I'm talking to, or there might be some that like if somebody says, well, feminists, women that enter the workforce, you know, they're always going to be a little bit less happy than men, and it's like, I don't know if I agree with that. Okay, let's work from it. What do you want to do anyway, right? Like you can, yeah, there are some you can work around. It's just going to depend on the nature of the conversation, on the topic. It's going to make a blanket rule for that.
Yeah.
Okay, premises is like a house, like you're on the premises. I keep saying premises.
Oh, like premise, like premise.
Yeah, sorry, I'm flying myself. But yeah, okay, go ahead.
Yeah, so I mean, I just wanted to clear up that my problem with debate in the Rose Wrist debate. Again, I like Rose Wrist. I like him. Is that he wants me to take the binder out, or the appearance of the binder that was not already there on the table. I think that's what bothers me. And I'd rather see. I think it's much more productive rather than getting bogged down in statistics. If we can both agree, or even if you present the statistic and I say, okay, I believe that, like then it's admitted into play. But if I say like, nah, I don't want you to, like, I haven't read about this as much as you, and I want to just talk about our beliefs, where we already are and what we already have in our heads. I think it is useful to just, especially with something like gender, which that's a weird one because my argument is that that it is a belief.
Sure.
That like gender is like a religion, and so it's like arguing with a Christian, and they're like about Christianity, and they're like want to start citing Bible verses, and it's like that doesn't. I don't care. That doesn't matter to me. So yeah, I'm not that I'm against debate. I'm against the agreed upon premise of the debate shifting, or the chess pieces being introduced or taken away in the middle of the debate. I just don't feel like it also usually leads to an extremely long sidetrack that is not interesting and never goes anywhere.
Yeah, I mean, this is just going to come down to what your goal is in a conversation. That's going to be basically what we're arguing over. If your goal is literally just to like chill with somebody and make them feel comfortable talking about things, then yeah, you can always just outwardly agree with every single premise and never push them on anything. If your goal is to change their mind, or to change the mind of an audience, or plant the seeds of change or whatever, like you're going to have different ways to approach a conversation. Like I would never approach a conversation with somebody that I vehemently disagree with over those many premises. I would never approach that and just like, oh yeah, okay, well let's assume that like people are like murderous people or whatever. Except for maybe for like a fringe hypothetical, I'm probably not going to go down that road. But I maybe have to go. Sure, you might. Okay.
I plan to.
Okay, you can do it.
Yeah, thank you. Okay, so for this conversation about consent, so did you watch the video I sent you?
No, I didn't have a chance yet. I watched you did like some 40 minute one, but go ahead. What were you saying?
Yeah, no, it's okay. So you basically understand, because I explained that video to her in the other video.
Yeah.
So I heard some of the stuff you were saying, and you disagree with me on some points, and I'm here to show you that you're wrong. No, I want to talk about it because I think it will be a valuable conversation. And I think that we might, I don't know, I guess I just want to see what happens, but yeah, I'm coming into it in a more combative stance of like, you said I was wrong in public.
Okay, sure.
And so now I'm here.
Yeah, I do that a lot,
and,
so.
So what about you? Where's your, like, I don't think your stance is immoral. I don't have a really problem with your stance. It's more just like, I don't think it's nuanced enough, or I think you're being unfair to my stance, but it's not like, I don't feel like I should change your mind, whereas I feel like your stance, your view of my stance is a little bit more like, what you're saying is kind of irresponsible.
Yeah, I would view, in a conversation, my goal would be to change your mind. Not to
use a burger right now. I don't know
things
why
I
I
consider,
love the taste of burgers.
should be avoided, morally wrong, or whatever, so I would hope you change your view on this.
Okay, so how do we handle that? This has been coming up a lot for the past week, where it's not just that people disagree with me, it's that they think that I'm doing evil by saying what I'm thinking. And I don't think you're going to take it to that extent, but how do we handle when you think my stance is evil and I think your stance is just like, not as expansive or maybe not as nuanced as I think it should be, but I don't think it's necessarily evil. I think it maybe doesn't serve us as well.
Sure, I mean, that happens. I mean, what do you mean?
What do you mean? How do we handle that in a conversation?
Well, my goal would be to change your mind. If I don't change your mind, you just don't change your mind. It is what it is, right? I don't know if it approaches or if it changes things much. I mean, you can feel more resentful, I guess, if you think I'm being judgmental or something, but if you wish.
Yeah, I don't feel resentful.
Okay, not yet.
I just think it makes I guess you probably won't fall into this. Well, I don't know, I guess we'll see, but it makes a debate more complicated when one person feels that the other person is going to go out and encourage and or commit rape if they lose the argument.
I guess it's kind of like, I'm trying to make a comparison. It's like when somebody is pro-life or anti-abortion.
Sorry, y'all. I lost this argument. Guess I'll just go commit a rape. Just like, yo, what?
And the other person is like pro-abortion or pro-choice. Like the pro-life person feels an extra compulsion there to like, I need to change your mind. And the pro-choice person is like, well, you do whatever you want, it's cool. But the pro-life person is like, okay, well, it's not cool.
Yeah, and I hate that.
Well, of course you would, because you're on the other side that's not doing the more compulsion. But I think it's valid for the other person. Like, I really
No. I hate that about pro-choice people.
Oh, well, why? Isn't that just what you said, but like you want to be
Because I think it should be acknowledged. I think that's what I'm trying to do for you. Like in this case, I am the pro-choice person and you're the pro-life person.
Yeah.
Right? And so I think that the outset of any abortion disagreement, it should be acknowledged that the pro-life people think you're killing a baby.
Sure.
And like your premise is different, but I think it should be acknowledged like they have a right to be upset if that's what they think is happening. But the conversation always starts with what I do with my body has nothing to do with you. And it's like that's
a little
not
silly.
what I think.
Yeah.
It's very silly and it's unfair. And I think that if people could emotionally empathize with what it's like to believe that like half of the country wants to actually murder babies, I feel like the conversation would be a lot more productive.
For sure.
Okay, so I guess that's a good first question. How upsetting do you find my stance?
I think it falls in line with like a lot of contemporary cultural thoughts. I mean, it's not that upsetting. It's just I disagree with it. But
Okay, but you don't feel like I'm killing babies.
no, not at that level of anger, I guess. Yeah.
Okay, 1 out of 10. What level of anger are you at?
I don't know, maybe like a 2 or 3 or 4. Maybe up to 4.
Okay.
But maybe if I watched the original video, maybe it would move me a little bit up or down. I don't know.
Yeah, probably up.
Okay.
Okay. All right, so do you want me to? Who, I feel like you like going second, but do you want to go first?
I can do whatever you want. I, like essentially the problem that I had was, and this might be a problem that comes to a lot because like I agree with like 95% of what you say, but then you'll take it one step over what I think is defensible. So I think that there is a lot of unwritten, non-verbalized negotiation that goes along with consenting to sexual activity.
Yes.
But when you get to the point where somebody is actually saying no to you, I think that it takes a lot to overcome that, more than just like a look in the eyes.
Okay, so you're saying that mixed messages happen, but that a mixed message when the no message is verbal and the yes message is nonverbal. Should always be a full stop.
I think that you err on the side of caution for 2 reasons.
Or you're saying it should take an enormous amount of...
Yeah. So like for example, like, there was a girl I used to date for 4 years and had a child. But she has a thing where she would almost sometimes like reject me or say no, but she would always want me to push more, and she would complain about it sometimes the next day. And she would do that a lot. And eventually I kind of learned like, but that was in the course of like we're in a long-term relationship, and I have a really good feel for what's going on. And I know the kind of person
she explicitly told you.
Yes, and I know that she really didn't want something to happen. That she could be shitting. Like we're good on it. But on a first time with somebody, there's so much that I don't know that I would always err on the side of caution rather than I want to find a different word for this conversation because I don't want to taint it a certain way. But like I would err on the side of caution rather than like accidentally rape somebody. Is what I would say. That's a really loaded phrase. So you're already starting out really bad.
I have to change the title of the stream now to MrGirl and Destiny debate accidental rape. We can have rape in the title of the stream.
Probably not.
Okay. Okay, I'll just leave it consent then.
Okay, that's really good. Yeah.
Okay, you're helping me. Okay. Okay, so you acknowledge that any of those times with your ex, despite giving okay, do we agree that somebody being able to beat you up or leave the room or call the police or whatever, and not doing that doesn't mean that you didn't rape them?
Correct.
So that can't be the safe word.
Yeah, unfortunately, yeah.
And you didn't actually have a safe word.
I was probably too immature at the time. No, not really, no.
Okay, so do we agree that despite her telling you in advance, I hereby consent to all sex, unless I make it really clear somehow, that consent does not actually cover everything? That's why it has to be enthusiastic.
Well, not meaning anything. It's kind of like...
Sure,
just
maybe.
because they said yes.
So
if they say no,
of
so for sure no.
You were doing,
if
but
they
a
say
much lower
yes,
chance.
doesn't mean you can just ignore like
first date,
body
whatever.
language.
Yeah, I would
and
agree.
other
So like for example
things.
that I've given before for white, sometimes verbally checking is good. I'll give an example of me accidentally raping someone. I need a new phrase for this. But it's hard to tell. You think it's good? Sometimes when when you're sexually interacting with somebody for the first time, it's really hard to tell the difference between what feels good and what feels bad because I think the noises are the exact same. When somebody's like, oh, yeah, and like, it could, oh no, why'd you stop? Or it could be like,
right.
And I remember there was a girl that I was hanging out with, and I was fingering her for a little bit, and I thought that she was kissing me back in this, and I thought she was like, I'm into it, and then I kind of, there's like feelings that you get, like the vagina, I'm like, okay, I can't tell, and I ended up asking, like, is it okay? Like, you feel okay? And she's like, no, actually, like, the last 5 minutes has been really uncomfortable. I was like, oh, so then I stopped.
That's her fault.
Well, okay, well, hold on, chill.
That's her fault.
Kind of, but kind of not. So the difficulty I think in navigating these situations is that there's so much at play emotionally when it comes to a sexual interaction that I don't always think that people are in the right state of mind, and I think that inhibits somebody's ability, almost like a drug, to navigate those things in the best manner.
Absolutely.
So I'm really boring. I'm very forward when it comes to all of this. Before I fuck anybody, I usually have had explicit conversations over what's on the table, what's not on the table, because I know that here's like a really common
That's the best way to do it.
I don't like sometimes talking about this feels weird. It feels like a rape guide, basically. I don't mean to just
Always talk it out beforehand, so that way whenever you're doing something in the moment, it's already like, okay, I don't have to worry about if this is okay. It like reduces the anxiety, reduces the pressure. It's like more comfortable on both ends, that we have an idea of what we're going for. It's just a better way to go about it, to talk about it first. Then that way you don't have to try and think, oh, she gonna like this, or I wonder if he would like it if I did that. Well, you don't have to wonder. You already fucking talked about it.
Just not that way, but for any girl that says that she needs a condom to fuck, for a lot of these people, in the heat of the moment, you can like, I want to come in there like, do you want to get a condom, do you want to just fuck you? A lot of them like, just fuck me. Like a lot of them will do that. Even though that's not really what they want, and afterwards, they're gonna feel bad about it. And beforehand, they said they didn't want to. In the heat of the moment, you can get people to do a lot of things that they wouldn't necessarily otherwise. And I think that capitalizing on that, or not being aware of that, I think is a bad thing sometimes, which is why, yeah, okay, good.
So you're saying temporary horniness-induced inebriation?
Sure.
Where people can be talking to things even though they just said they wouldn't.
Yeah, they wouldn't. Yeah, when you're horny, you can get into a lot of dumb shit like that. Yeah.
So you're saying a horny woman can't consent?
I mean, I wouldn't.
No way.
I wouldn't make
you're
it.
saying you gotta check the temperature before horny and during horny. Compare them if they're the same.
Yeah, I wouldn't make it that black and white. I'm just saying I would always err on the side of caution here.
Yeah.
So like, horny woman can't consent. I would say that like, unless I know the person really well, I would be really nervous about them introducing new things while they're horny because I don't know if they feel okay with that or not.
Right. When they're like, just punch me in the fucking face.
Sure.
Right. So wait, but you're kind of changing the subject. And you're
Just punch me in the face.
As if I'm not advising caution. Are we talking about the advice portion of like how to actually implement our different worldviews?
When I say advising caution, I'm very much in the world of like reading body signals and checking everything. Whereas you were doing it way past that. Where you're like, even if she says no, I'm gonna go in because I can read past that, which I think is a way bigger step forward than what I'm talking about.
It's an advanced maneuver.
That is one way to call it. It's a very advanced maneuver.
I mean, it worked.
Yeah, but I mean, like, sort of drugs or suffocation or physical abuse, or there's a lot of things that work, right?
No, I mean, it worked in the sense that, she was like, that was nice, so let's hang out again, I like you, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah, but
it worked in any measurable sense. It was no different from if that I hadn't done that.
Yeah, but I think we have to do this as like a numbers game.
Nice.
Like it might work sometimes, but
Fucking
I think we should.
Fraser card.
I think we should slow down.
my bad. Okay.
I'm giving the yellow light.
Gotcha. Okay. Understood. We're not stopping, but we'll get Joe right here. Okay.
Do you want to talk about the practical applications of this, or do you want to get into like definitions of like what is rape, what is consent, how do we know when a rape happened?
The what is rape is actually a really boring semantic thing for me. I don't really care that much. I think that everybody's, especially if you're a teenager and you're getting, I think everybody's raped someday at one point in time. That might sound really controversial, but like all of the early teenage like messing around is like doing everything you can to convince the girl to fuck you, and oftentimes people are fucking drinking. It's like I'm not really as concerned over like what is rape defining. I'm more like what are responsible sexual practices that we can engage in, and then what should we try to avoid. I'm not as concerned about labeling things as like rape or sexual assault. It's just not.
Well, I think that my problem with that is I would be interested in getting into that with you. But
okay, if you want to, sure.
I do, because I mean what you just suggested to me is that maybe we need a moving definition of rape. So if you have a 50-year-old who's behaving like a 15-year-old, that might be rape. I think that's a really good point that you just raised. Because like a 15-year-old, fumbling around in her bra and blah blah blah. Like, yeah, you're right. It's not that unusual, but a much older person acting like that, then it's like
exactly the same behavior, right? If you got a 15-year-old begging, like they both get drunk, like please, can I just like let me just do this,
right.
Kind of, yeah, but like a 30-year-old doing that to a 20-year-old, even this is like really wrong now. Like you're fucking up like really hard, but maybe not actually. What was the first time they've ever gotten a girl naked, right? So it's like it's a very hard thing, right? What is a 30-year-old virgin and a 20-year-old with lots of experience, and the 30-year-old's pushing for, and the 20-year-old knows it. It's such a complicated thing. The problem with the word rape is rape brings in with it a lot of moral condemnation, and instantly think of in an alley, two guys violently sexually raping her. That's like the thought that comes up, rather than I got a girl kind of drunk and we were both underage and I finally got to fuck her, and like you probably shouldn't do that, but you both teens are both dumb. It's not acceptable. You shouldn't do it, but there's a way different level of moral condemnation that should exist there, and people often have to lose that. But that's not too concerned like arguing over the word itself. You gotta be lump.
I want to, because
I'm saying rape is on a spectrum.
I'm so glad you said that, because I was going to say, like pedophilia, for me, the point of my consent is complicated video. This is why I call it consent is complicated.
Sure.
Is that I think all sex involves some element of rape.
Okay.
That you can look at any sex act and find some element of coercion and or self-coercion, so that some part of you is doing something it doesn't want to.
So this is where,
knows the other,
we're gonna discover like what coercion means, I guess, or something then. Like, what do you mean when you say that, I guess? This is, just before we start this, I'm making a prediction here. I think that we probably 100% agree on every single thing you're about to say, but I feel like you're about to say it in the most unbelievably edgy way possible using the worst words possible, so we're going to argue over it. We'll see, okay? Let's go.
I'm glad you think so highly of me. No, what I mean by coercion is, say that your girlfriend has not given you a blowjob, even though she knows you really like blowjobs. She hasn't given you one in like 2 months.
Okay.
And she's also been telling you that you should clean out the garage. And then you do it, and then she gives you a blowjob that day. I feel like, for me, if that happened to me, some part of me, I guess it's not a good example of coercion, but some part of me would be feeling like, is this just happening because I cleaned out the garage? And I would feel like that's kind of gross, and like I kind of don't like this, but I do like it, and I'm gonna let it happen anyway, even though some part of me, and I might even say like, hey, this is freaking me out. Are you just doing this? And then but like they don't know, and I just like because there's an existing relationship, or say someone you don't know, and then you take them on a date, and then they look at the menu and you get to the place, and then all the entrees are like $80, and they've never been to a really fancy restaurant before, and then they feel obligated to have sex with you because you just bought them like a $300 dinner or something. I feel like that kind of thing could feel coercive to the person, even if it's not intended.
Yeah, there's I guess from Mr. Girl's point of view, there's certain types of coercion or social pressuring or peer pressure that like we come to like just accept or not think as bad. Or is there a difference between pressure and reinforcement? Not really. It's just, I guess it's just how we think about it. Is there a difference between pressure and reinforcement? Well, whenever we say pressure is always negative, it's just literally just telling you how you feel about the words, not this. Yeah.
Sure.
And I think that you can always, in any sex act, I think you can always find something that is on a spectrum from in an alley to a gun to your head, or I just bought you an expensive meal at a place that you've never been to, and then kind of insisted on driving you home. Like you're giving
I think that these things can happen, but my question is like it's not always right. Like we just have like two people, they enjoy fucking, it's like hey, you want to go over and like watch Netflix and fucking whatever. Yeah, sure. And like where's the coercive aspect there?
I just think it's never that simple. I feel like
what about people in like long-term? Wait, no. What do you mean it's never that simple? Or explain.
A hookup or long-term relationship?
You can have like casual hookups, no?
I don't think so. I think that falls apart quickly and it becomes something other than a casual hookup if it keeps going on.
I mean, it might at some point become more than a casual hookup, but then we'll just
it inevitably does. I don't think you can have a casual hookup. I think there's a certain number of times you can have sex with somebody before you are emotionally entwined with them. It's not like debating on Twitch. After a certain number, it no longer becomes casual.
Yeah, maybe. I don't think it's important to this, but so then we'll say then even within the context of like a relationship then. Like do you think every single there can't be a time like a boyfriend or girl like, hey, like we should fuck, like, oh yeah, cool, and they do it, and that's just like enjoyable. There's never a mutual meeting of the minds there.
No, I'm not saying there isn't. I'm saying that even the most ideal sex still has some element of coercion.
Well, what would the element of coercion be there then?
That one of you feels obligated to, or it's a routine, it's date night, or it's Valentine's Day, and it's like, even the fact that you might not know why you're doing what you're doing, I think necessarily means that there's some confusion about whether you even want to do it. I don't think that there's ever a time where I think we can compartmentalize, and I don't think it's necessary to deeply investigate, like, I really want to have sex, but let me stop and think, like, is there any part of me that doesn't want to have sex, or does any part of me feel pressured into this or forced into this?
Well, I think it's pretty important.
There's really a reason to do that.
I think there's a reason, because if we're saying that like everything is coercive, then nothing is coercive. Because with the definition,
I'm saying it's a spectrum, just like you said. I'm saying all sex is rape to a certain degree.
Well, yeah, but like this spectrum becomes so like pointless that like I can define every. Do you agree with this? I can define every single act we do as life having some aspect of coercion to it. Then, no, like literally everything.
Yeah.
So my only issue there then is I feel like there's not much utility to that definition because
that's not my definition. I'm saying the definition is a point on the spectrum that we decide is rape. Not the presence of coercion, but how much coercion. Kind of like pedophilia. It's not, are you attracted to 3-year-olds? It's how much.
Okay, I agree 100%. Just calling out coercion seems really reductive, but I'll probably agree, sure.
I don't mean to call it coercion. I think there's an element of affection, an element of pleasure, and an element of consent and happiness to all sex acts too. It's just where is the slider?
Sure. Yeah, I don't think I necessarily
You can enjoy being raped, and that doesn't mean it's not rape. And you can hate having consensual sex, and that doesn't mean it wasn't consensual. It's just a confusing mess.
Sure. I wouldn't say it's a confusing mess, but it can be confusing. So there's a lot of nuance, okay? But yeah, go for it.
Yeah, so I feel like the only way to define these things is to, you can have your own personal preference for like, if I think you're giving me a blowjob because I cleaned out the garage, I don't want it. I don't want it. And then other people would say like, yeah, go down on me. Sure, I earned it. Fuck you.
Okay.
I made you dinner. Suck it. And they're fine with that.
Okay.
And I think for every, or like, oh yeah, like if you buy me a nice enough dinner, then yeah, I'll have sex with you. I think everybody has their own personal guide for when they feel like they've been violated.
Sure. I don't disagree. I'll handle anything you're saying.
When they feel like they violated somebody else, and then we need a kind of objective legal definition of like, because you can't decide you've legally been raped. Other people do that. So we have like a societal norm definition and like a legal definition.
Okay, gotcha.
But I guess my only point in all this is to say that I agree with you that there's also an element of consent.
Drilling here is going to be pretty easy.
The same spectrum applies much more disturbingly.
Yeah, I mean, again, I would never use these words. Why do you fight them off, or why do you try to? I understand. Yeah.
Unless you died.
Yeah, getting raped, and you consider to some extent. I understand what you're saying. Socially, your words are impossible. You're not getting anybody with you.
Except you, and that's why I'm here.
Sure. Logically, I can follow you, but in terms of how language is used, we're in pretty weird, uncharted territory. Or the issue I guess I have here is, can I hear our favorite mutual friend, Vouch? Yeah. So Vouch attacks capitalism because he says many lefties will do this. They'll say that.
Wait, are you making an argument about consent or about talking about this? How to talk about this?
About coercion.
Okay.
Some lefties will say everything in a capitalist society is coercive. And I mean, well, what do you mean when you say that? It's like, well, if you don't work, you'll starve. Well, it's like, okay, what do you like? What do you mean? Well, like, if you don't work, okay, you're forced to work. Well, not for a specific company, sure, but for any company, you have to work, otherwise you're going to die. And I was like, okay, well, if you have to voluntarily work at any number of places to get a paycheck, to voluntarily buy and choose what you need in society, like, is that really coercion? At that point, isn't everything coercion? Like your mom and dad talk
you have to, if you don't eat, you'll starve too. Like you have to go.
Yeah, exactly. So then my issue usually when people in Vosh bring out that definition, or any leftists in general, I usually say when you use the word coercive here, what you're trying to do, and I'm saying you're not trying to do, what you're trying to smuggle in all of the moral condemnation of the word coercion, but then you've watered down what it actually is, such that I don't actually give a fuck about it. There might be some forms of coercion that are not only like neutral, they're morally good. Maybe it's good when a parent coerces a child into doing their homework, right? But usually, but the way that we use words like coercion or coercion, usually they carry with it kind of this malintent behind it. And when we try to divorce those two things, the conversation becomes unfollowable to the vast majority of people, except for anybody else that's like engaged in our like intellectual masturbation here about coercion. It's kind of like saying like manipulation is just when you change somebody's mind about things. So a teacher manipulates a child to believe that 2 + 2 = 4. It's like, well, I mean, yeah, we call that.
That's true.
Well, but no, because manipulation. I don't like that because it makes. I
love it.
The problem then is that every negotiation is coercion. Every form of conversation is manipulation. Like we take these words that are generally reserved to imply a double meaning or imply something secondary, and now we've like stripped all of that nuance from the language, and now we're just saying, well, everything is this and I think it kind of makes these words boring or useless. Is my problem.
Because you think the audience will not be receptive to it.
And because we like those words no longer.
What if it was just you and me? If we were just like, you know, if we were having lunch.
If it was just you and me were having lunch, every time you do this, I would say, why are you so obsessed about how you use words? You're pissing me off. That's what I would say. Because the issue is that we no longer.
Then I would answer. And the answer is, I think there are certain ideas and acknowledgments about the nature of sex, something that's so nuanced and multifaceted and like with so much ambivalence about it that we can't get to unless we use words the way that I'm trying to use them, or we write a very long academic paper, which I don't want to do.
I would say that you're just completely wrong. I think that we can have words like coercion and manipulate mean the things they do for the reasons they do, and then when we talk about something like consent is very, very, very complicated.
I think if you say to somebody there's some element of consent in all rape, to some people that's very offensive.
To the vast majority of people.
I don't think so. I think to people who have been raped, who see the messaging being, if you were raped, it's not your fault at all. You did nothing wrong. You are a complete victim.
But you're saying it's kind of your fault because you were raped and you didn't die, right?
Yeah.
So like it's your fault on the spectrum, but very low on the spectrum. Yeah.
Don't set me up. Let me explain. Because you know I have to say yes to that, but I don't want to.
Were you saying coercion with that answer?
Kind of, because you're saying you're making fun of me for being edgy, but then you're saying that I have to say something edgy or I have to pussy out, and you know.
Well, I'm not trying to make you say something edgy. I'm trying to like, go ahead, finish it before you go.
I think that some people who have been raped, especially with the unnuanced way we talk about it, or I would even say a lot of people who have been raped, have to compartmentalize their feelings that it was their fault, because other people can't accept that, and they can't handle it, and so I think they end up telling themselves and telling other people, I'm a victim, I'm a survivor, I'm not even a victim, I'm a survivor, and all these euphemisms, and basically taking the part of themselves that knows that they might have been able to stop it and didn't, and just crushing it. And I want to talk about it in a way that tells those people that just because you didn't stop it, that doesn't make it not rape. Just because it was partly your fault, if that's what you believe, that might be true, and that doesn't matter. That doesn't make it not rape. It matters in terms of how you process it and how you think about it. I don't think telling people who feel guilt or shame that their guilt and shame is for no reason and that it's detached from reality and that they should just adopt. It's a political stance.
Yeah, I agree with what you're saying. I think you can accomplish all of that without trying to use these words this way. I think all of that is well within our reach because whether we know it or not, when we use a word like consent or coercion, we're not actually talking about did somebody do something. That's not really what we're talking about. What we're really talking about is we're getting at this idea. It's a more intuitive concept called agency. That's really what we're getting at. When you say something like, did you consent to this thing? What we're really asking is, if you were a free agent able to make a decision without any external pressure, would you have made this decision? That's really what we're saying when we say consent. You're using
how do you tell the rape victim it was your fault a little bit? How does
we say it's like, hey, there are things that we can do in life to try to like avoid risky situations, and these are the ways we take care of ourselves. Like we can say that whole statement without saying it's a little bit your fault you got raped.
I think it's better form to bite the bullet there, because if you say it the way you're saying it, I think a rape victim will hear that and say, wait, are you just saying it's my fault? And I think at some point you have to just stand for that and say yes.
The reason why it gets hard to say, I was trying to conversation about ethics. The reason why it's hard to say that like it's your fault is because there's another moral agent on the other side of that transaction. There's another like person.
We've already condemned the rapist. That's
yeah, but when we say that like it's your fault or something, we're kind of sort of removing the agency from the rapist, and then we're
to some degree. But that's true.
Not really. And
I think it's absolutely true that in the vast majority of rapes, which I believe are relationship rapes and date rapes between people who know each other, it is not as simple as 100% or 99% culpability on the aggressor and 0 to 1% culpability on the victim. I think it is much more complicated than that.
I agree.
A lot of moving parts that I think that in order to politically process that is very simple. You just say, oh, it's the rapist's fault and you did nothing wrong. Done. But that leaves the victims with their public dialogue about it. And this is why I made the video, is that our dialogue about it does not have any room for mixed feelings or confusion in victims of rape, or even for talking about rape. And it removes people's inability to even know when they're being raped.
Sure,
Because
I don't
might think like,
yeah,
oh,
every time you
like this.
Yeah, every time you start talking, I agree with every single thing you're saying. I just disagree. We have to relabel the words like this to say these things. Because you were just able to talk all of that without saying like, I need to be able to say it was your fault. You got raped a little bit. Like there's a million other ways to make that statement.
I think that the anger that a rape victim will feel at being told, like, you know what, I have a different framework. That's you know that whole thing of like nothing's your fault and you didn't do anything wrong and you just have to take your shame and your guilt and just stuff it. I think that there's a
Sometimes I really hate dancing around rhetoric. I really do, because it's so exhausting. Like, I can't just say what I believe. I have to dance around saying the same shit I would have said. Excuse me. Because you feel a certain type of way about it, and it's just like, bro, it's so I just want to be able to say what I'm saying. If you, how about this? You actually try to understand what I'm saying. How about that? Instead of like, well, he said this thing, it sounded weird, therefore, it's like, what do you think he was saying? I don't care. We're like, all right, bro.
there's going to be a burst of rage
Well,
when you tell them.
Sorry, go ahead.
I think there's going to be a burst of rage when you tell them, like, actually I have a different framework, and then you go into kind of cleaner, hyper-intellectual language to present the new framework. If they're going to bring it back to the emotional place, they're going to say, are you saying this is my fault? I think it's better to just head it off and say, I'm saying that to some degree it's your fault. That doesn't mean you weren't raped.
What do you think all the anger and everything for being raped or whatever comes from? Where do you think a lot of that comes from?
The shame? Or the anger at the rapist? I think there's two. I think you're angry at the rapist, you're angry at yourself, you're angry at society, you're angry at your stupid friends downstairs who didn't notice you got taken upstairs, you're angry at your parents for not teaching you how to defend yourself, you're angry at your alcoholic father and alcoholic grandfather for passing down this alcoholism.
Yeah, I think
to you. Like, there's a million things
there are, but I think
about
one of the big angers that come about from being raped is that you feel like it was your fault. I think that's one of the huge parts of being raped, where it's like,
I think we're gaslighting people by telling them that it's not.
But it's not necessarily their fault. Like there's a huge difference between saying like there are steps you can take to mitigate a bad outcome versus this bad outcome is your fault. Like it's not. Go ahead.
If someone hates themselves for allowing themselves to get raped, it's not validating to that feeling if you say there are steps you can take to mitigate a bad outcome.
It's not validating to say, well, actually, it is your fault. So, like, go ahead.
Of course it is. To say, well, of course you hate yourself. You let yourself get raped.
I don't
That's
think
very
so.
validating. When I say validating, I don't mean validating like it's going to make them feel good. I mean validating like it will give them space and acknowledgement that they can explore their feeling, that their feeling is real, and that it matters, and that they're having it for a reason. That it's not just a delusion of victimhood. It's not just that the evil perpetrator has convinced you it's your fault. It's that we need to redefine rape and fault so that rape includes your agency. So why you feel so bad about yourself.
Okay, we're not going to agree on this, but I understand what you're saying. I think the reason we're not going to agree on this is because, like, the type of language that you're advocating for, socially speaking, we're so far away from any part of this being true.
Okay, so partly you think that people aren't sophisticated enough to see it the way that I do.
Or at the very least, like, we're not there.
In the way that you do.
Sure. Like, I view the world that way, with how you're saying. Anytime something bad happens to me, I view it through the lens of I fucked up, I shouldn't have trusted somebody, or I need to do something.
You overly view the world.
Sure, I view it 100%. But not everybody does, and the emotional needs of other people are vastly different than mine. And I'm positive that if I were to talk to somebody that had experienced sexual assault, I'm like, listen, it's okay to feel bad. Yeah, it was kind of your fault. Most people would have a dramatically negative reaction.
I'm not advocating that delivery or timing that you just did in your example. I'm advocating, and if I'm not ready to hear that, then I wouldn't say that to them. Certainly, I'm not saying we should. I'm not talking about when someone's telling me about their rape, I don't talk to them the way I'm talking on a stream.
Sure.
Unless they're telling me about their rape on a stream, but not the way I'm talking right now. But I'm saying the message of I mean, like in practice, maybe even just not saying anything. Just I think that the idea it's not your fault is if the thing the person is wrestling with is a feeling that it is their fault, is invalidating. I don't like that message.
Okay, I understand what you're saying. I understand you completely. I completely disagree. But I understand what you're.
Disagree about the practicality of it.
I think that you need to accept that it wasn't your fault. I think it's a really important part of having somebody else do something horrible to you. I don't think that accepting that it was partly your fault makes you feel better. I think that what helps get you over is like, okay, yeah, I did make some mistakes, but like it wasn't my fault that another moral agent chose to do something horrible to me. That's not on me. I shouldn't feel like a worse person just because I didn't take the proper steps to evade a rape. That shouldn't be the case. That's what
I don't think you should feel like a worse person just because you made a mistake. That's not. I think you're adding some of that moralizing in there. That
this is emotionally how everybody's going. That's how 100% of rape victims will take it.
That, like, yes. Yeah. Oh, that's not true. I don't think that's true. I don't agree with you.
All right. Well, I'm worried. I don't know how relevant this is to the other part of the conversation, but.
I want to have the last word, but then you're going to want to have the last word.
I'll give you the last word. Go for it.
The thing that's hard is that whenever there's... Mr. Girl is right that whenever there is a certain negative feeling that we don't want to acknowledge, we remove the ability for people to have the space for those feelings. And I feel like we do that because we are uncomfortable with it. Not necessarily because we don't want those people to have that space. I just feel like we are uncomfortable with the idea of, we're just uncomfortable with it. So we project that. So I'm not going to say that. We're not going to have this conversation. Why? Because it's too gross. It's fucked up. I was just like, But it could be beneficial to some people. You're saying fuck all those people. But I guess on the flip side, you could say just by having the conversation, it could be not beneficial. I don't know the opposite of beneficial. Disadvantageous. I don't know. It could harm. Yeah, it could harm or hurt those people.
Well, I'm the guest. I think that.
I'm the guest on your stream, actually.
Oh, that's true.
So careful with that one. Okay, go ahead. Yeah.
I think sometimes when you think I'm being contrarian or edgy, I'm trying to fill a void. And if I see, so like if I were in a culture, or even a mini culture, if I were like in a like a, I'm gonna say frat house, like we're unfair to frat houses.
They're not the rape factories we're making out of, right?
Right, probably not.
Okay.
I would say an imaginary, whatever, but some rapey group of friends.
Okay.
Okay. And someone they've raped someone claims that they got raped and they tell me the story and it sounds like she was raped, and the circle of guys are saying like, well, she wanted it, she said blah 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 blah. I'm not gonna say, well, to some degree she did want it, guys. Like that's like I'm gonna say like, well, it sounds like you actually did rape her. And like I'm not saying I'm gonna call the cops on you, but I'm saying if the cops come talk to me and ask me what happened, I'm gonna tell them what you just told me. And I honestly think you might be in some legal trouble. I think you're in some moral trouble. I don't think what you did was right. I don't think this means you're like an evil, horrible person, but it sounds like you raped her, man.
Okay.
And I would say that because that would be the thing that's missing. Like I'm not gonna say. I feel like that's the thing that would need to be said. And if we were in a broader culture, and to some extent we are, where women get raped and then people blame them and say it's their fault, and I understand the pushback message. I think in the space that we're in, on Twitch and like left-leaning, I'm not trying to say this should be the only prevailing view. I'm saying I think this is an important piece that is often missing from consent culture. Because when I say consent is complicated, I'm saying the way we teach consent is a little oversimplified, and I think it's crushing some important nuances.
Sure, yeah, so we keep circling around this. I can give you less if you want. So what will happen is I'll say, I disagree with how you use word X, and you'll say, okay, but the reason why I misuse word X is because all of these reasons. And I agree with all.
I said I misused it, but go on.
Or no, you'll say, I understand why you think I'm misusing word X, but the reason why I'm using it in a different way is because I'm trying to get through all of these other messages. And then you explain all those other messages, and I agree with all of them. I actually do. I think a lot of the way we talk about this is bad. I just don't think we need to use the word in that particular way. And then you'll say, okay, sure, but, and then you'll go on and explain all the things I agree with. And I'll say, okay, I agree with all those things, I just don't think we use the word right. So yeah, I agree with everything you're saying. Yeah, we just disagree on the method, I guess.
Okay, that's fair. Okay, so that was like the definition section. Is that the only section though?
Maybe. Is it? You tell me. Have you ever heard, this is so random, so let me check that in a second, just real quick, not related. Have you heard the song I Wanna Be Ninja?
No.
Okay, never mind, it's just a second. It's totally not related, it's actually the next question. Okay, go
ahead. Practice.
Yes.
I think that's where this is going, right?
Practice. Oh, in practice, yes.
Yeah, because we disagree about the practice of talking about this. That's where our disagreement is there.
Like having these messages publicly or whatever.
Yeah, we think about it pretty similarly, but we talk about it differently, and that's kind of our disagreement, where I'm like, we should say this, and you're like, no, people aren't going to understand. You're like, I get it, but most people won't, and it's not.
Yeah, basically.
Okay, in practice, you said something, you said something that was interesting. And I think goes kind of along what we're saying. Okay. In the same stream where you were talking, we were like reacting to me talking about this with FMS. You said some people like MrGirl because he is very forward and willing to break some social norms. And if you can tell when it's okay to break a social norm, it can be charming. And you gave the example of being on a date with a woman and saying like, oh, so is that why you got your boobs out? And it's transgressive. It could be sexual harassment. But if you're empathetic enough and you're attuned to her enough, then the fact that it would be sexual harassment if it were said at the wrong place and time actually becomes charming because she likes that you knew that she would be okay with it.
Yeah, kind of, yeah.
Okay, so and then you kind of backpedal and you're like, hey, don't try to go.
Yeah, but it's hard. You can't just write. That's not so critical so much dating advice because you can't like read something and just like copy what's on the text. There's a lot of body language and feeling.
That's body language. That's what I'm saying. I'm saying the same thing for consent, where if you are doing like what I did, so I date from Tinder,
raping them,
raping women, yeah.
Go ahead.
If you're on a date from Tinder and she says I'm not ready, but she's on top of you, physiologically feels ready and seems ready, and is just holding herself on top of you, and you're at the entrance, and nothing else is happening, and she's just staring at you for 5 seconds, giving you the look of all looks, and then you push her down. I would say that is a similarly advanced maneuver. That unless you are very confident in your ability to read people, nonverbal communication, and like we had gotten to know each other for a few hours, and I kind of did have a sense of like how she thought and how she felt and blah blah blah. So I'm not, when I say practice, I don't mean like go do that. And I'm not even saying I should have done it. It's more just like an interesting story because it's technically a rape, even though I don't think I raped her, and I don't think she thought I raped her. And it's kind of similar to your story, where commenting on a woman's breasts on your first or second date is kind of sexual harassment, but you knew that it wouldn't be received that way, or you guessed. And from all, signs, it wasn't received that way.
Yeah, so the difference I would say, there's two huge ones. So first of all, I would draw a distinction between the other thing that I'm okay violating some boundaries because they're not that big of a deal. Like, if I make a joke that makes you uncomfortable, whatever, I live and I learn. But if I fuck you and you're not ready for me to fuck you, I'm not as willing to roll the dice on that one. So I would be hesitant to compare those two. They're similar-ish in how you approach them, but I think some boundaries are okay to break, and some boundaries I think I wouldn't test. I would want to be sure before breaking them. So like, like I might tell an edgy joke about somebody, or I might tell an edgy joke around somebody without 100% okay with it, but I wouldn't joke about like their parents being dead about 1,000,000% first. And like, this is something to joke about. There's a difference in degree of severity there.
I think there's some calculus there of I don't think you're okay with commenting on a woman's breasts. Like, you were on a date with her, first of all. Like, I don't think you would do that to a cashier at a supermarket.
Absolutely not. Almost for sure.
Right, so I don't think it's quite true that you're like, well, if I sexually harass somebody, I live and I learn, but if I rape somebody, that's really bad. I think you probably think both are bad. I think you're more referring to a calculus of how bad would it be if I was wrong, and how wrong would I be if I was wrong. And then I do think you're reading the person and getting a gauge of their sense of humor and their attraction to you and their awareness of how they're presenting themselves and everything else that's going into that. So I don't believe there's a super fundamental difference. I agree that it's much more important
Yeah, I think you're restating what I just said with more words. Right? There's going to be some advanced calculation that's going on. Like,
well, no, you said it was fundamentally different. And so I gave the supermarket example to show you that that's not true. You're not. You said if I accidentally come in someone's boobs, I'm not okay with it. I live and I learn. That's not true. You're only saying that because you were on a date and you knew that the overstep would not be that much of an overstep because you were already 90% of the way there. You
okay, sure.
Okay,
so instead of saying
it's with more correct words.
Sure. Instead of saying that it's fundamentally different, I would say that instead of saying it's fundamentally different, I would say that there's a line that I will draw based on. There's a calculation that I'll do to see if this is a worthwhile thing or not. But there's going to be like a lot of hard stops here. The only reason why I don't want to say that it's all the same, although I guess I can, is because it seems like when we do that, all of a sudden we're like saying, like, oh, well, now you can do. Well, okay, so you agree that sometimes something's are good and sometimes something's are bad. So like, let's try and fuck a few people and see if it's right. That's what I'm trying to avoid. But there is, yeah, I guess. Yeah. So I guess like I would never want to accidentally rape a stranger, but I'll roll the dice on like accidentally raping a partner. So like fucking. So like if I was with a first time date and they were sick, I would never start fucking them because that would be fucked up. But if it's like my wife of like 3 years and she doesn't explicitly say like fucking when I wake up, but like I wake up and I start fucking, like I'll risk that because if it's not okay, like there's very little cost. She'll just be like, oh, I'm not in the mood right now. So I'm like, oh, okay, never mind, I'll stop. Right.
Yeah.
Okay. So maybe there's not a fundamental disagreement. Maybe there is like there are hard lines for how far are we willing to go with some things that make them vastly different. Or there's hard lines. There's hard lines. Yeah.
But they're drawn on a spectrum by you. So I think that like anytime you like I got into arguments about this with people who say even before I kiss my partner, I ask them every time.
That's cringe. Yeah, nobody should do that.
Right. I'm like yeah. If Shaylin comes up behind me and sticks her finger in my butt, like I'm not. It's right. That's just part of relationships is being more transgressive of boundaries, and like that's kind of fun. And then sometimes it doesn't work out, and you're like, hey, actually, don't do that. But then
I would say it's not being less transgressive of boundaries. Now I'll correct your imprecise words. I would say that you have a better understanding of where the boundaries are, because there are probably still some boundaries that you have that just because she's your fucking girlfriend doesn't make it okay for them. Like you know what sounding is?
Yeah. That's boundaries.
Yeah, my guess would be that whether it's your girlfriend or a stranger, if somebody shoves something a rod down you might be more mad at your girlfriend, probably. Like what the fuck?
Probably because I would assume that she knew.
No, yeah. Sorry, okay.
Right. Yes, you know where the boundaries are, so you can go closer to them.
Sure.
You know the person better.
Yeah, because you know what. Yeah.
Okay, so someone states a boundary about sex.
Okay.
That's not their actual boundary.
Back to the dungeon.
I'm going to tell you 20 fucking things. When they say boundary about sex, that's not their actual boundary. What we're really going to say is a stated boundary about sex. There is no one boundary. My boundary about sex with my wife is way different than the boundary of sex with my parents, which is way different than the boundary of sex with the person. Right? They're all different boundaries, right?
That's odd. I would say every boundary is even within a moment is a spectrum. So if you're saying yes to something, but it could be a soft yes, it could be a definitely, it could be maybe, it could be mixed feelings. If you say no to something, it might not actually mean no. Like in the case of the Tinder woman, I may or may not have sexually assaulted, or maybe it was a no and I raped her. Like she said yes and no at the same time was my perception, and then after that it was all yes. So even with your hard limits, I feel like part of the point of my video is just because someone says yes, that doesn't mean there's no rape.
Yeah, I agree with that 1,000,000%, which is why I don't like the idea of people saying they need to like verbally check in all the time because you're missing a lot of what's going on during a sexual interaction. It's not just about verbally checking in. There's more that goes into that to make sure the other person's okay.
Yes, but you're saying that for safety's sake, you give a verbal no much more weight.
A verbal no is a big, because my general feeling is that verbally, to give a verbal no, my assumptions about people is that people are generally non-confrontational. That's the default for almost every person. Confrontation is very difficult for most people. So if somebody's actually they're gonna go far enough to give me a verbal no, that took a lot for them to do. So I'm gonna, even if they're playing games or whatever, they don't know whatever, I'm just gonna respect that. Like, okay, well, fuck, like maybe, yeah, and then we'll all either wait or we'll chill, we'll figure something out later, I guess. Because it seems like that's a hard boundary, or that's a hard hurdle to overcome. And if they're willing to
also the only legal.
I don't care about legal. We're boring, that's boring. We're not talking about legal shit right now.
Well, you care in the moment.
No, I don't. That's not what I think about.
You're saying you have no awareness or thought about the fact that if someone says stop and you don't stop, you could go to jail for like 20 years?
No, I've never thought about it before, no. But we might just engage with it a little bit differently.
Well, even if you're thinking about it, you're aware that mental guns can come to your house and put you in a cell.
I'm not trying to hide you morally or anything, but I never think about it. I'm
not saying you think about it, I'm saying you are aware of this fact.
Yeah, but not during the moment. I'm
not saying you're thinking about it in the moment. I'm saying
I know if people go to jail for raping people, I know that, yes.
Okay, you're claiming that this has no effect on your behavior.
Exactly, I'm never thinking like, well, legally, what can I get in trouble for? How much can I rape this person before there's trouble? Is there a recording video? Like, I can't come inside or I don't want to rape kid, like I need to slow down or to the police station. Like, I've never thought about it from a legal perspective ever now.
Are you implying that I think about it the way you
describe it? Now you put that in.
So you're saying we both don't think about it. You're saying we both don't think those thoughts, but you're just letting me know that especially you don't think.
Especially me, yeah.
Okay.
I don't know what you think. That's up for you to spell out here, but.
Yeah. I'm not going to do that.
That's good. I don't either.
Yeah. So I guess I think every sex act is a dice roll to some degree.
Okay.
And that,
we're at some point we're gonna have to have
and you just have to draw your own.
Because it feels like you do this thing where everything is, all of the spectrums are everywhere, but maybe instead of just saying that, maybe we should pass all of that and let's just get to the hard lines. Because it feels like there's, so like if I say like some things are good and some things are bad, it sounds like your answer would be like, well actually, everything has some element of goodness in it, and everything has some element of badness in its own spectrum. And then okay, well let's just talk about, yeah, well then let's just talk about the lines. I think it's more interesting.
You're talking about Terminator sequels, yeah.
What do you mean? You like Terminator 2?
Terminator sequels. I like Terminator 2. Okay. I like Terminator 1 more. I'm not trying to say that. Okay. But, I like Terminator 2.
Do you like Alien 1 or Aliens more?
I think I like Aliens more, but I think Alien is a superior film.
Okay.
If I'm being honest, at the end of the day, Alien is a better movie.
Okay. I've seen your work, so that's exactly the type of answer I expect you to give. Right. Your favorite director is probably Japanese or something, right? Okay.
James Cameron.
Oh, okay. Nice shot.
So Aliens, like that's what I'm saying. I don't think James Cameron's the best director.
Okay. But you like Terminator 1 more than Terminator 2? Even though
he directed Terminator 1.
Am I crazy?
And Terminator 2.
Oh, I thought Cameron did 2. Okay.
No, he did Piranha 2. Okay. But sort of not really.
Wait, well, now here's a question, okay? Have you heard of like 6 degrees of separation?
Yeah.
Do you think that, because we all know people, and we know somebody that knows somebody, and we're all influenced by other people, do you think it's fair to say that James Cameron directed every film, but it's kind of like on a sliding scale of how much he directed it?
No, I think you could say he has influenced every film, definitely after Titanic, but I wouldn't say he's directed every film. No, I think that's binary.
You think so? You established binary here? Okay. Just looking for the non-spectrums here. Okay,
I think you are arguing, it's a funny joke, but I think you're actually arguing against your own self. I think that you are saying, oh, you always do this. I'm like, well, no, I don't always do this. I do this when we're talking about complex topics, which is why I'm here talking about it to you. Okay. The reason I wanted to talk about it is because I think it's complex. So anything that can be split into a binary, we probably won't have much to argue about.
Would you argue that it's a form of binary, that every hard stop is a form of binary? Because when we create a hard stop, we're essentially saying there's a yes and a no. Like, can you do this thing, and with respect to this like spectrum? So isn't that kind of
there's a binary of whether you, if it's penetrative sex, of whether you penetrated. That has a blurry edge for sure. I was already semi-penetrating in the story I'm telling. But it's possible to completely penetrate and completely not penetrate, for sure.
What if I just pull my foreskin forward and I put that in? Is that... This not
that's blurry.
I'm sorry, I'm fucking... Okay, no, but my first point is actually serious. I'm just saying, like, maybe we should talk more about the hard boundaries, because I'm guessing for every single word that comes on this topic, you're going to say, well, that's a spectrum, that's a spectrum. Like, rape is a spectrum, coercion is a spectrum, power dynamics are a spectrum, consent is a spectrum, yeah.
Okay, so I'm saying that's how I see all rape and all sex. They're all in a spectrum together.
I understand.
And you're saying you see it that way, or you can see it that way, but for the purpose of action, you have to make some binary choice. And for the purpose of conversation, you think it might be irresponsible to talk about it that way.
Yeah, I just don't have it, yeah.
So are we in a corner where you're saying it's too irresponsible to continue this conversation? Are you platforming a rape apologist?
No, I think the conversation's interesting, because I like to talk about the idea that we'll just
platforming a rape apologist is really interesting.
I don't know if you're a rape apologist, but even if you were a rape apologist, this is like one topic that I am, like, I feel very confident discussing with literally anybody, so it's a fun topic to talk about.
Okay, do you think it's irresponsible to talk about it?
I don't think me ever talking about this topic is irresponsible, I think I talk about very well, so no, I don't think it's...
Do you agree that your ideas about this topic that you're espousing are more normative?
When you say more normative, you mean more in alignment with what most of society thinks, or...?
What most society says, at least, yeah. What you're supposed to be saying.
I don't know, actually. I'm not sure. Well, more than you, probably.
More than my position, yours is
more than you, probably, yeah. But I think I fall outside of the normal societal thing, because I think the society conversations are really stupid, too, so...
Yeah, so sure. But so I have my lens, you have your lens.
Yeah.
I invite you to look through mine, and then figure out what practical applications we might make or change based on mine, rather than keep arguing over whose we should look through. Because I feel like I know yours, and I think you know mine. I would even say that you have the same one as me. Just when you talk about this, you don't look through it because you think it might be irresponsible.
Yeah,
would you?
Yeah,
I think I do this exactly the same as you do. Literally, we're having like such a meta conversation.
Would you consent to looking through my lens?
Sure. Yeah, like I said, I think I agree with you about all of this. I just don't like the word you use. That's literally it. That's our only point of disagreement.
Can we just use them anyway?
Sure, go for it. Let's go. Yeah, that's fine. That's why we just talk about hard stops. Yeah. Okay.
Okay.
Wait, can I use the rest real quick?
Yeah.
Okay, I do it.
Yeah. I'll handle things here.
Okay. Hold on one second.
I should open your chat so I can get a sense of what's going on. He's gonna go take a nap. Oh yeah. Okay. Let's see what Destiny's chat's doing. I do not consent. Stairs to Nate. Nice. Giga Chad. Pee poo poo poo. We don't consent. Don't look at me. I'm looking at you specifically, especially. Talk to us. Okay. His chat is on. Oh yeah. I'm sorry. I'm looking at the Twitch chat. His Twitch chat. He's got multiple chats. Type VIP Destiny in the chat. See. Oh, you're a mod. Okay. I'm trusting you. Do you think he's gonna chat with you guys while he's using the restroom? I think he's not gonna do that. I'm paying attention to my own chat. Jesus, I just wanted to see what was going on. I gotta take the temperature sometimes. I think this is my new tactic that because streamers are so often, like after the stream, you find out they were just talking to their chat the whole time and didn't fucking matter what you said. So from now on, I don't feel this way about Destiny, but from now on, I'm gonna have their chat and my chat open. It's gonna be like fucking air traffic command.
They're not talking.
Okay, they invite me.
That's weird.
Answer personal questions about my sex life.
Why would you talk to somebody just to talk to chat the whole time?
Let's see. You see what he said? This is getting weird, guys. Oh, did he say that in my chat? Man, this conversation's getting weird. No, I didn't see that. That's funny. See, I try not to get distracted from chat, especially like he talks really fast, so like I can't. There's no pauses to. But I appreciate that he said that. That's pretty good. That's pretty good. Fucking book smarts. All right. I'm in the DGG chat. Book fucker. He doesn't know elements. Oh my god. Look at that. Look at how fast you guys are talking. I can't. It's that's the other thing. Like trying to keep tabs on this shit. It's like Professor X in the room where like all the thoughts invade his brain and make him cry and make him like really sad. This is crazy. Holy shit. Yo, you muted. Somebody got muted due to spam detection. What does it matter? It's an unending flood of wait, what's it called? Cerebro. Yeah. Okay, back to my chat. Did you watch Matrix 4? Yeah, I watched Matrix 4. I was shocked. I saw the Red Letter Media review where they mentioned that it was the most expensive of all the Matrix movies, which I find shocking. I just felt like the vision wasn't there. I don't know what happened. Because all the other Matrix movies have shots that stick in your mind forever. Like Trinity seeing the sun for the first time, or the bus is crashing, or the cake orgasm. We can't forget the cake orgasm. Like the 2 and 3. 1 obviously has all the ones that we all know. And then like the only things I remember in Matrix 4 are the things I remember because I was so shocked that they like didn't look like fucking. I feel like the Wachowskis, or Lana Wachowski, I assume, as half of them, they're so visionary. Like it seems from watching all of their movies. Actually, there's a couple I haven't seen, but all the ones I've seen, it seems like coming up with unforgettable images is like something they really specialize in, more than they specialize in coming up with like a plot. So I don't understand that. And then yeah, like the meta shit, it was funny, but I wasn't a big fan. Oh shit, he's back.
What are you complaining about?
Matrix 4.
Wait, what for?
The Matrix.
Oh, did you watch it? Did you like it?
I watched it. I didn't like it.
Wow.
I was shocked that Red Letter Media said that it was the most expensive of all the Matrix movies. It had a budget of like $200 million, which was the only thing I wanted to forgive because I thought it was like low budget. But finding that out, I was like, okay, I don't understand what happened.
Wait, okay, this is a really important question. This might be a deal breaker. Okay, big one. How do you feel about Dune?
Dune felt like a episode of a TV show. Like not into like a movie. It just felt like a continuous string of events that then just stopped because they were like, well, movies are about 2.5 hours long, and that's where we are, so this movie's over. See you in a few years. So I didn't like that, but I really liked the director, and the music was great. Acting was great. I liked every individual scene. It just didn't feel like I watched a movie afterward, and none of it stuck with me. So I look forward to the next one, but I didn't feel like super moved by it. And like the design, everything was really cool. Like I thought it was really well made.
Okay.
What about you?
I think similar. I thought it was really boring. There wasn't like a cohesive story for me to give a fuck about. Like I didn't care about the family getting blown up. I didn't like. There's just it felt a little bit. I was a little bit spoiled because I just come. Have you seen Pig or The Green Knight?
I've seen Pig. I haven't seen The Green Knight.
I just come off watching both of those, and all of the shots felt very purposeful in that movie. Whereas in Dune, not to shit on people, because I know it was like, it just a lot of it felt like a little bit masturbatory. Like, oh look at this huge desert, like look at this huge green. So I was like, okay, I guess. So I didn't get as much of like all the girls saying it looked really good. I mean, it didn't look bad. And then like yeah, the story was just like super just didn't give a fuck about anything.
It looked like Blade Runner. Did you see?
Okay, I did see Blade Runner, but I really like Blade Runner 2048 or whatever, right?
I liked it too, but I think that's part of why Dune didn't feel so groundbreaking. I felt like I'd already seen a lot of the same shit he's doing in Blade Runner.
Sure.
And
Blade Runner was
like
so much better. I feel like there was so much more to grapple with, like mentally in Blade Runner. Like you felt sad. In Blade Runner, there's a scene where you feel sad that an android has gotten destroyed. How weird is that? That's so. It's such a strange concept, right? Yeah, I don't know. I thought it was really weird. But okay, where were we?
You were agreeing to go on my Funhouse adventures, right?
Wait, I didn't.
On my roller coaster.
Didn't someone just get convicted for being on some creepy dude's Funhouse ride too much?
Oh.
Anyway,
how do you say her first name? Ghislaine?
Something like that. I don't remember.
The reaction to that on Twitter I find very annoying.
Which reaction is that?
The reaction of like, cheering like youth. Months of people saying like, oh, they're distracting us from the trial with Omicron, and then why aren't they showing us the trial? And then being like, oh, I guess you got convicted of everything, so I didn't have to watch the trial. And I don't give a shit anymore. But thank God she was convicted because I thought she was. Like, it seemed like the evidence against her was overwhelming. So my experience was like, she's obviously a sex trafficker, and she's obviously going to get convicted, and then she did. And I don't understand. It ain't like fucking Derek Chauvin. Like it just was like, or Kyle Rittenhouse.
Yeah, I understand what you're saying.
The conspiracy theories annoy me.
Yeah, that's something I haven't done enough to responsibly comment, but it does feel a little bit stupid that like people are basically trying to say like any person that knew Epstein is 100% a child rapist. Like child rape. Well, I mean, that might not be the same. I think there might have been some weird example, like Bill Clinton, Trump, every single person that like was associated with like fucking like okay, really like we're gonna
these people know hundreds of thousands of people.
Yeah, and they're billionaires. That's pretty exclusive.
They all know each other. Yeah. So like. For sure, billionaires are. It's easier to
helping this person out.
I'll give you that, but that doesn't mean that they're all doing it. And just because they know someone who did, it's stupid.
Oh, Prince Andrew, not Prince Harry. I'm sorry. But yeah, so that's kind of wrong.
Yeah.
Okay. Where are we at?
So yeah, you just consented to use my dirty language to talk about practical applications of what if every sex is a little bit rape and what if every rape is a little bit sex?
Where do we draw the boundary?
Or how do you navigate that as an individual? I think rape laws are fine where they are. I don't have any problem with. I'm not aware of any serious flaws in how we prosecute rapes, other than they're underreported.
Sure.
So let's give some advice.
Okay.
Right, because we've got some less experienced folks watching.
Sure.
Right?
Yeah.
So using advice with an asterisk that we're using my worldview. How would you talk to somebody who? Well, imagine me. Okay, imagine you're giving me advice, but I have the same kind of what you say is autistic worldview or way of expressing things or hearing things, and I'm 18. And I'm like, Steven, I'm going to college. I think I might have sex. What do you do? Like, how do I know? How do I handle? Or I'm a girl, and I'm like, how do I handle? Like, boys are starting to pay attention to me more, and like, blah blah. I can't hide from them anymore. They're coming after me. I kind of like some of them. I don't know. Like, what's like the most nuanced, spectrumy way to like talk about that, to give advice about that through that lens, rather than just like no means no, it's enthusiastic, continuous enthusiastic consent, the kind of talking points that we hear that college campuses cover their asses with in high schools. If you were to give a more nuanced version, what would it be?
I mean, like, I think it's good that when you are engaging with a person, you should make sure they want to have sex, that they want to fuck you. I think that, like, starting from a position of, like, make sure that... Because there's two ways that we can kind of approach sex. One is that we're kind of, like, trying to trick the other person into fucking us, and the other in that we're trying to engage with somebody in a way that they, like, find genuinely enjoyable.
Like trying to score.
Yeah. So, like, when you view sex as, like, something you're trying to get from somebody, rather than something you're trying to enjoy from somebody, when you reframe it that way, I think that your entire perspective on it will change a little bit. Like, when you're trying to play a game with a friend, I would hope you want that friend.
They don't want to play.
You want to find a game you both are playing, right? Now, there are things we could do. Like if I get you drunk enough, you'll play Mario Party with me, even though you really want to Smash. Okay. Or I could
play either one with you.
Sure. Or I could like swap the discs out, and you didn't know until
and then I'm like, well, I guess we're already playing.
Yeah, already playing. We might as well finish, right? Yeah. Or yeah, like there are ways that we can. Like, in this defense, we want the other person to like, be having fun playing the game we're playing, right? It feels like you're comparing.
I remember I did that. I had a memory. My cousin came over one time, and I really wanted to play the game, but he was watching a basketball game in the room. So I couldn't play the game. So what I did was when he left the room, I changed the game to I turned the game on and switched the channel to the audio visual channel for like the video game, and then turned the TV off. When he turned the TV back on, I was like, oh well, come on, you might as well. The game is already on. You might as well, you know what I'm saying.
Playing Mario Party is stealthing.
Kind of, yeah. But yeah, I guess that's like that big perspective shift, I think kind of helps her to refocus a lot of the conversation away from, are you trying to basically mindfuck this other person into sex, or are we trying to find something that both of us are comfortable with and would enjoy doing?
When people haven't had a lot of sex, they can get nervous and be scared to do it, even if they want to, even terrified. How do you, and we both agree that just because someone says yes verbally, and just because they're physiologically aroused, that doesn't necessarily mean they actually want to. So beyond verbal check-ins, what do you think is a good way, or other kind of like empathetic or attunement tools, to determine that you are on the same page with somebody sexually who's new to it?
I think that a lot of human fear comes from the unknown. So I think like the most important thing that you can do, a lot of the reasons why people, mostly women, because it's generally on them, are worried is because you don't know like what's going to happen if something goes wrong, or what's going to happen if you don't like it, or what's going to happen if you change your mind. And I think that making sure that the person with you, this is like now how you do this, I guess, there's other ways to do this. Like, this is the goal, right? If I'm engaged with somebody in a sexual interaction, I want that person to feel like at any point they can be like, hey, I'm not comfortable with this. Can you give me like a glass of water? I need like a second to myself. Then I'll be like, okay, chill, and I'll like get off and do that. Without there's no fight, there's no argument, there's no struggle. They're like, that's it. Like, okay, cool, let's take it. We're gonna do it. I think that if you can affect that in a person's mind, if you can bring that into a person's head and they genuinely feel that, I think that that's a good starting point to like engage with somebody sexually. And a lot of that like fear or worry or first time nervousness or whatever, I think surrounds or I think comes across in that topic. That like, if I don't like this or I'm into this, I don't know what this guy's gonna say. If I should go, like, I think that's where a lot of that fear or hesitation comes from.
You're almost advocating for a bit of a caretaking dynamic, at least between young men and young women, where the man is both partners should be. We're talking about straight sex, obviously.
Sure, heterosexual, cisgender, whatever.
Yeah. White. No. So you're saying that the male should take some kind of caretaking role where both he and the woman are trying to make sure she's okay.
I think that there's going to be a person that, if there's some nervousness, there's going to be one person that wants it more than the other person, or is more aggressive than the other person. Now, generally, that's going to be the man pushing the woman. So I think that the person that's being a little bit more aggressive, I think the onus is on them to be a bit more courteous.
So you should know if you're initiating.
Basically, yeah, I think.
What about alcohol?
What about it?
How does that factor into this?
I don't like to factor in drugs on a first-time sexual encounter unless it's a very small amount of drugs, or unless we've like explicitly talked about everything first. But
is that avoidable in a college setting now?
It could be. Man, doing drugs on the first time is such a hard one. That's a really, really hard one. I think you're setting yourself up for a lot of potential disaster there.
I would assume that's the norm, but maybe that's just because I never drank, and so
it probably is. I mean, a lot of girls, I don't know why, but like, we know we're fucking tonight. We have fucked in the past, but even when we get back to my house, like, oh, can I get some wine or whatever? Like, why? Okay, sure. That does seem to be like a habit thing.
That's the kind of self-coercion I'm talking about, where if you're nervous, if you're too scared to do something, or too uncomfortable to do something, sober, it's like you're taking that part of yourself that doesn't want to do it, and you're like, I'm gonna put you to sleep for a little bit.
A little bit.
And if just a little sleepy deepy, and when you wake up, we'll see how you feel. You see what you think, in the morning. And then the more you drink, the more of yourself you put to sleep, and it seems like most people eventually can put so much of themselves to sleep that, like, only the sex-crazed, ape is left, and that's very easy.
You could do that, but I think it's like there's two slightly nice ways to frame this. So the first way is that sometimes people are like in their heads a lot, and sometimes it's nice to loosen up a little bit with alcohol.
I thought we were gonna frame it the MrGirl way.
No. Well, I'm just saying that, like, I'm trying to, I do my spiel, okay? I'm just saying that, like, it's nice to, sure, you can wait. It's nice to, like, get out of your head a little bit. Now, if you want to talk about this, like, awakening the beast or sleeping your noggins and like, sometimes people can get really in their head, and they know, like, intellectually, I know I want this thing, but, like, my nerves are a little bit whatever, but, like, if I drink a little bit, like, I'm okay with this, right? Now, when I say a little bit, I'm talking about, like, a glass or two, maybe, of wine. I'm not talking about, like, I need to slam 5 shots so that I can, like, let this guy just ravage my fucking pussy. Okay? There's a huge difference here, right? That's
slam 5 shots.
Yeah, that's one thing. And then the, yeah, well, we'll say that. There's a weird, like, physiological thing. Like, if you're a woman, sometimes, like, loosening up a little bit can have, like, a very real, actual, like, physiological benefit.
Literal loosening up.
Literal loosening up, yeah, because if you're nervous, there's something weird that happens. This happens to men and women in different ways. If you're a woman, if you get nervous, you will clench up a little bit, and then you could, like, tear, or, like, you just can't get in, and then you get even more nervous, and it gets worse and worse, and then you start to dry up, and everything's fucked. With a guy, it's like you get nervous, you lose a little bit of rigidity in a boner, you realize you've lost some rigidity, and then it gets worse and worse, and now you've got, like, fucking ED, and you're like, fuck, I can't do anything. So, like, I think that people can use, like, drugs to relax them a little bit, and that's okay, yeah.
But it increases the rape percentage, by definition.
By some non-0%, sure. But if you do it responsibly, hopefully this is an arbitrarily small percent.
So what are you advocating for on the first sexual encounter? It sounds like you said no, now you're saying you can understand it.
I said I generally avoid drugs, but if somebody wants to, like, a couple drinks, it's not the worst thing in the world. But, like, almost all my sexual encounters, we're talking a lot before anything happens to make sure we're, like, what page we're on, basically.
Do you think college students should do that?
I do, yeah. I think it makes everything way easier, way better. It's just like, if I go to fuck somebody, I already know everything they're into, what they want to do, like, everything's so easy, and I just enjoy the act. And I don't have to, like, think so much about, like, figuring out what they're blah, 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 blah. I think that more straightforward approach is nice, but
I find it gets easier with age. Young people, it's much more easy to have sex than it is to talk about when you're young. Which is weird. I don't think
absolutely,
true,
yeah, for sure.
But it seems to be the case.
It could be. Actually, it could be the case. I've had so many bad experiences with people that are my age. I don't want to be anything to fucking age anymore. But maybe as a general rule of thumb, that might be true. Yeah.
One thing I would advocate for. Okay, I hadn't had sex for a long time. Intercourse.
Okay.
And I started dating this girl. This was a few years ago. I was still recovering from my divorce. And I'm all better now, though.
Okay.
And we had sex. I think it was my first time having sex in maybe like a year or two. And then afterward, I told her I felt raped.
Okay.
And she was like, but you said you wanted to do it. And I said, I know. I'm not saying you did anything wrong. I just want to say that a part of me didn't want to, and I want to talk about it.
Okay.
And she said, yeah, but what do you mean you feel raped? Why would you feel raped? And I was like, well, that's what I'm trying to tell you. And she said, well, I didn't do anything. And I said, okay, so are you saying you're not willing to talk about this? Like, I still feel it. Like, it's just a feeling. I'm not accusing you of anything. I want to talk about my feelings.
Okay.
And I feel like violated. Because I don't think I was actually ready to do that.
Okay.
And you kind of talked me into it.
Okay.
And she said, yeah, but you were about it and blah, 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 blah. And I said, you're not listening to me. And I'm angry. I'm getting angry at you.
Okay.
Okay, and this, I've had a lot of relationships die after maybe 2 or 3 weeks. When the first time I get angry at the person, I just say, I'm angry at you. A lot of people will flee.
Okay.
So I said, like, I'm angry at you. You're not listening to me. I need you to, I want you to empathize with me. You don't have to agree with me. I know you don't think you raped me. And I don't even think you raped me. But I need you to empathize with me. She was like, well, I can't empathize with you if I don't think I raped you because you're saying you feel raped and that didn't happen. And I was like, you're not fucking listening to me.
Okay.
If, like, I need you to listen and stop talking about what you think. I need you to listen to what I think. And eventually she was like, I think I should go. I was like, okay, fine. And like looking at me like, I'm okay, I'm gonna go. And I'm like, fine, then fucking go. Like, if you can't handle this conversation, like, this is not fucking going anywhere anyway, so that's fine. So she left. And then a couple weeks later, she started texting me again.
Okay.
As they do. And I don't mean women, I mean people. Users, cowards.
Okay.
And she said,
users and
I
cowards.
intensely regret leaving. And I really regret not dating you anymore.
Okay.
And I said, I really don't think, if you can't handle me getting mad at you and talking about my feelings, and if you can't handle me asking you to empathize, and by empathize I mean understand my experience, which is different from yours. So your response being, well, that wasn't my experience. Yeah, I fucking know. That's what empathy is when I had a different experience from yours, I need you to understand it. And she said, she just started arguing with me again, and it just went down the same road and same loop, crashed again, and then she just stopped talking to me.
Okay.
And that was a time where I felt like a more spectrum-y understanding of sex and how people actually experience sex. Like you're making allusions to sex where people want to do it, they're into it, they get off, it's pleasurable, they come, and then they're relaxed, and they're smoking a cigarette, and then they're having chicken nuggets, and it was great. And I've never had sex like that. I think sex is always a bit horrific to some degree, sometimes to a small degree. But usually somebody looks upset, or feels upset, or is confused, or scared, or sad. And that, to me, that's been my experience of, I think, all sex I've ever had.
Jesus, okay.
And, you know, maybe I'm just more tuned into that kind of thing, or maybe there's more horror when I get naked. I don't know what it is, but that's... So, like, when I see sex in movies, I mean, some movies capture it. But when I see, like, nice sex in movies, I'm like, that's not what sex is like. I mean, they say porn isn't, like, real sex either, but movie sex is... it's also idealized. I guess I just feel like the rapiest rape and the most consensual sex, we talk about them like they're, like, here and here, but I feel like they're a lot more similar to each other than we want to admit. I mean, they're obviously different, but I guess I would say the length of the spectrum is much shorter. And so my advice would be that if you feel, like, bad feelings or freaked out during sex, my tendency used to be to just push that down and, like, just try to be okay, because I couldn't point to anything particularly bad that happened. And I feel like making room for that, or like I've had sex with women and had them just, like, burst into tears afterward or during, and, like, I feel like not going into it expecting that to not happen can make you kind of an insensitive person. And yeah, that girl talking about clearly her experience is that, like, the only reason a man would feel raped is if another man raped him.
Okay.
Certainly not a woman just being vaguely pushy could make a man feel like he felt violated and would need to talk about it. That this is absurd. Like, why should I have to put up with this?
Do you think that your experience with sex is more the norm, or do you think it's a little bit off the norm?
Book smart's question. I'm saying I think it's the norm. You know, I just said that. You're saying you think it's not the norm.
Yeah, well, no. So, yeah, let me be clear, just because maybe you answered how you intended to. I'm asking your experience with sex, that all of it is, like, pretty horrific. Do you think that engagement is, like, more the norm, or a little off the norm? Do you think
I think it's all. There's some degree.
Nope, hold on. We're not doing those answers right now.
Oh yeah.
Not some degree. I'm saying that the degree of trauma that you experience. Do you think that that is more the norm or not the norm? Like, what is that your perception for the majority of people that have sex?
Right. So I'm saying either there's more horror or I'm more tuned to it. My guess is that I'm more tuned to it and that it is the norm. That is what I think. The same thing with pedophilia with Booksmarts. My same answer. I'm saying I am more in touch with some fucked up shit that somebody actually messaged me on Twitter.
Oh, go ahead.
Somebody messaged me on Twitter and said, you're missing something in the way you talk about it. I'm going to paraphrase, but they said, you're missing something in the way you talk about this. Where you have this smug, superior attitude where you're like, if you knew yourself, then blah, blah. Where I'm saying that either you're lying to yourself or you're lying to me. And he said, there's a third option you never present, which is that you just haven't thought about it, or they just haven't looked. And maybe if they looked, they would see it. I think that's really valuable feedback for me because I'm encouraging people to look. But if I do it by saying, I know you've already looked and you just missed it because you're a liar or because you're inferior to me somehow, that's actually not encouraging people to look, and it's smug and shitty. So if you see this, I really appreciate the feedback. I told the person in the message. So I think maybe people just haven't looked. I think that's kind of what I'm advocating for, is to search your feelings.
So I guess so kind of weird the question that I have then. Well, so I disagree with this. Let me just clarify one thing before I get into it. So do you think that most people, there is some underlying horror there that most people aren't confronting when you say you're in tune with it? Or do you think you have some extra special horror that other people, even if they look, wouldn't find? Which one of these are we talking about?
Number one.
Okay. So I disagree with that.
Normal.
Okay, I disagree with that. Where do we go from there, though, since it's based off of, like, your personal
Do you know that I think that you have a lot of bad feelings that you compartmentalize and almost intentionally do not address?
Yeah, so how do we do that?
Like, you're aware that I have this perception of you, and that
seems to be the case. So you think that there's an underlying horror, we haven't made it about me, but about me that is related
the difference between us. You think I am more fucked up and upset, and I think you're more repressed and compartmentalized.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Is there any way to get to the truth of the matter when both of this is coming from our kind of the internal content of our minds? How do we resolve that? Or is it resolvable?
Well, I don't know that we need to, because we might both agree that. Do you think it's possible, if you're right and I do have extra trauma or extra sex terror,
I'm gonna play with this person.
People have that but don't know it.
Possible, yeah.
Just
and it's worth looking at.
Yeah. But I also believe that I think that we can invoke trauma where there is none, though. I think that's a possibility.
I'm thinking about it.
By telling somebody that there should be trauma and then making them feel a little strange that there's not. And I think you can invent trauma in people when that happens. I think that's possible.
Okay, and I think that is a mechanism of compartmentalization to believe that if you think about something, it can create trauma.
It's not just thinking about it, it's that you are telling somebody what to think about it. That's the difference. You're not just saying, search yourself for these feelings. You're saying, there is a deep-seated sexual trauma that you're not confronting and I need you to find it. There's a difference between telling somebody to look through a forest versus telling somebody to find a unicorn in a forest, right? They look hard enough, they'll find whatever it is they're looking for theoretically, the force of the mind, versus telling somebody to take a stroll through to see what's there. I think these are two fundamentally different approaches to introspection.
That's true.
Sure. For a grounded example of this, you mentioned psychology. Are you familiar with, like, the satanic sex cult, like mind poisoning that a lot of early psychologists implemented?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay, so that'd be like a real life hook into that, but yeah.
Yes, I agree with that. That is a issue. So, but do you also agree that the bad feelings are the ones we're more likely to miss on a cursory sweep of how we're feeling? We're more likely to be aware if we're having fun than if it's harder to know when you're upset, I think.
I generally don't agree with that, but I miss a lot of people on that one. I don't believe like in repression at all, actually, as a concept. Except for in the case of physical injury or substance. I don't think we repress things. I think that there might be a highly cognitive process of trying to forget things, but I don't think that there's like something horrible happening in my brain, maybe forget to cope with it. I don't think it's a real thing. I think that is the...
I don't know if there's a thing that makes people forget. I think it's more so like people will value something else more or in the moment to where they'll ignore it. Like, they'll be like, my anxiety is too high to confront this. I care more about being non-confrontational in this moment, so I'm gonna just stay quiet. It doesn't mean they're like ignoring it. In a way, I guess that it's not really repression. They completely understand the feeling, the bad feeling they're having. They're just choosing another feeling in the moment that's more important.
When I'm talking about repressed emotion, I mean in inability to access or failure to access the physical sensation of the emotion.
Yeah, I don't know if I generally believe in that, but maybe we should leave that alone because it's kind of a different thing. There are probably some people that feel bad about sex that aren't confronting those feelings. That's possible. I can say that.
Okay. And so then the trade-off is, I'm saying, look in the forest, and not to find your inevitable MrGirl horror, but to find your ambivalence.
Sure.
Which I do think everybody has, and just and check in with yourself physically, like how you're feeling. So I think you're repressed, and you think that I am more traumatized and projecting.
Yeah.
But can we both agree that that would be good advice either way?
Probably, yeah. Well, yeah, but the way that you phrase it, that every sexual experience is somewhat horrific. I would reject that message, but I mean, everybody could do with more introspection.
Yeah, you don't like this. Yeah, I guess what I would say is that there is always a unicorn. Just sometimes it's a small unicorn, and sometimes it's the whole forest.
It is always a unicorn.
So that's my main advice.
Small.
Okay.
But that's my practical application. And also as a listener, if you have sex with somebody and they say they burst into tears or freak out afterwards, that doesn't necessarily mean that something went horribly wrong. That they're just sad and maybe they just need you, or maybe they're mad at you or whatever. Like you might just need to talk about it.
Okay.
I think if emotional expression about sexual experiences is more normalized, then it'll be much easier to, not have to feel like you have to hide, you go to the bathroom and like hide your outburst or feelings or whatever if that's what's happening.
Okay. What?
I don't think. I don't know.
Okay. I mean, I don't disagree with that. But our main point of contention originally was if somebody says no, does no mean no. So I think we're pretty far off of that path. But
no means that is what they're consciously intending to communicate to you, and probably you should listen. Yeah, I agree with that. I think that the murkiness comes when somebody says yes, and you should check to make sure it's a real yes, like you were saying. If somebody says no, sometimes being excessively respectful of no is boring, like in relationships, like you were describing earlier.
You have a really good foundation to have an idea of what this person wants or needs.
But you can never have a perfect foundation.
Never
so
perfect.
I felt like I
felt like orders of magnitude better in a relationship than during a one-night Tinder stand.
Yeah. I felt like I had a pretty good handle on it.
Okay.
And I was right.
That doesn't matter. Whether you're right or wrong doesn't matter, right?
Well, I think it would matter if you said, okay, so then what happened afterward, and I said she ran out of my apartment screaming and called the police. I think you wouldn't say that matters. You wouldn't be like, well, that's not relevant.
No, I would say that. I would actually say it's not relevant at all. I don't know.
I believe you.
What?
I believe you.
You believe you?
Yeah.
Do you ever do poker stuff?
A little bit.
I don't believe in calculating whether an action was good or bad. I don't think matters.
The probability is.
Yeah, the outcome. Yeah, the probability is. Because I could do it. There's a lot of things I could do. A lot of people drive home drunk and they make home just fine. Most people do. But that doesn't mean it was a good thing. Right?
There is a time I was wrong.
Okay. Do you want to? Is this the last thing you're doing?
No, I'm just getting started, baby.
That's
I was
funny as shit.
I was a shift supervisor.
Oh boy, not this strong start. Okay.
I know. I was 19. I think she was 20.
Okay.
1 or 22. But I was her superior.
Gotcha.
And she was a babe. No, she was she was good looking in a way that like conventionally attractive. So like everybody in the restaurant was like kind of interested in her.
Okay.
And one time we started hanging out, and I didn't know. She was very flirty, and so I didn't understand that she was like, oh, maybe you'll be the guy. Her thing was like, oh, maybe you'll be the guy who just likes me for my personality. But I'm like,
okay.
And isn't interested in me. I'm like, I do like your personality. Like I've never been much for casual hookups. That Tinder story is one of my only like casual sex stories. So I did like her. I was like trying to date her. So we're in my car, and I think we just seen a movie or something. Right? I don't remember. It's not important. And I drove her home, and she's sitting in the car, and I lean over and I kiss her on the cheek.
Okay.
And she kind of like smiles nervously, and I would say her body language was like pretty imperceptible. Like she wasn't like, she didn't pull away. I think she didn't move, or she might have pressed back against me. It's hard to say.
Okay.
So then she's like, do you want to come inside?
Okay.
I'm like, sure. Yes, I do. Which to me is a green light for whatever I want to do. Once we get through that threshold, I'm going to do whatever I want.
Well,
that's not true.
Okay.
That's a joke. But it's a signal. To me, it's a strong signal.
Yeah.
I just kiss you on the cheek, sensually, and then you invite inside. So
sensual cheek kiss, yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, so we go inside, and then she's like, this is my place, and I'm like, these are my lips. But slowly, because I don't want to push her. So I lean toward her, and she kind of nervously backs up, and she's like, well, I'm not sure if I'm ready for that, or I want to do that, or something.
Okay.
Like she's not saying she's not interested, but she's sort of like playfully backing away. And I'm like, I also I'm not often turned down by people, so I was not able to process that she wasn't interested because I just assumed that she is because I'm me. And I've learned that I've changed since then. And so I start kind of chasing her around her house, not in like a fast aggressive way, but slowly and she's giving me like excuses, like, well, we're coworkers, or like, I'm not sure, like, are you sure?
There's an internal struggle going on with her, obviously. Yeah.
I think so, but she's like, she's like, are you sure you want to, like, don't you want to? And then it's like, well, I don't want to mess up a friendship. And I'm like, well, everything you're saying is making me more excited. You're making it worse on yourself.
I'm saying where the internal horror of the sex comes from, because it sounds like a fucking horror movie. So
yeah, I'm like, why? Yeah, because she's like, I'm horrified by this. I'm like, of course you are. That's normal. Come here. And then so I chase her around her house, and she's also comically crawling backwards like over her couch, like it feels like a game.
Yeah.
And then after probably
12 hours of weighing her down,
the sun comes up. No, after it felt like a long time. Probably in reality, it was probably like 5 minutes. But like, which is a pretty long time to chase someone in circles around their living room. Looking back, I finally was like, wait, do you not want me to kiss you? And she was like, no, I don't want you to kiss me. And I was like, why don't you just fucking say that? And she was like, I don't know. I was like, are you like afraid I won't be friends with you or something? And she's like, I don't know. And I was like, oh, well, that's fine. I was like, I don't want to kiss that bad. Like, I don't care. Like, sure, well, we can be friends. And it doesn't matter to me. And she was like, oh, okay, well, that's great. Then let's like just talk. And then we just like hung out and we were like friendly after that. I didn't want to date her, so I felt a little stung. And then afterward, like I couldn't understand what happened. Like she rejected me, but I'd also been like semi-rejected or half-rejected by women who then were later like girls, I guess, because I was 19, who would then be like, no, actually, I do really like you. I was just saying that. So I guess I just thought like they say no at first to see if it's okay with you that they're saying no. And I would say on dating sites especially, they still I still have this experience a lot. I'm not on dating sites now. Shaylin and I are not.
I wouldn't be surprised that some women do that. It seems about right. Some women might like just test the waters. How does this guy handle it now? Because depending on who they've talked to, some niggas really can't handle no.
Before Shaylin.
I'm sorry, go ahead.
Well, we can talk about monogamy. My view is that monogamy and non-monogamy are both awful, just in different ways.
Okay. Because it's all in a binary. Or it's all in a spectrum, sorry, okay, but...
No, I think that's a pretty stark divide. The reason that non-monogamy is awful is not included in the reason monogamy is awful. There's just like a flip-flop of like, which fucking horrible thing do you want to poison your life with?
Gotcha.
And so for this relationship, we're choosing monogamy. My marriage was open.
Okay, you were crawling through the playground. What happened next?
I'm crawling through a playground.
Oh, and she said that you guys hung out for a while?
Yeah, and so I told my coworkers the story, and they were like, dude, it sounds like she likes you. It sounds like she likes you, but she just wanted to make sure that you're like cool with her saying no. And I was like, I don't know. I can't like tell what happened. And now looking back, I'm like, oh, she just like probably didn't like me, and I just chased her around her house. And she wanted to be friends, and probably thought that the only way she wanted to be friends with her is if she lets them think that they might have sex with her, which is a terrible way to make friends. But like she didn't want to. She didn't say she didn't want to. I didn't check in for quite a while, and then finally when I did, I was a bit horrified by what I had done. And like I'm telling the story like it's funny because it is extremely funny, but I am still horrified by it, and it's an embarrassing story. I'm not proud of that. I'm not embarrassed by the Tinder story. This one was a mistake.
Sure.
And not a mistake, not an unlucky mistake. Like it has a low probability of working to chase someone around the living room for however long while they're backing away from you saying I'm not interested in that, or not saying that, but giving. Yeah, it really bothers me when somebody says no with a overcomable excuse.
I understand what you're saying, but yeah, I feel like it's because this is kind of what I said earlier. A lot of people don't like confrontation. Yeah, so it's like, oh, like we can't have sex because my parents are gonna be home tomorrow morning. And it's like, what the fuck does that mean, like, right? But they're just reaching because they don't want to say no because they don't want the conflict, right?
What happened with that girl is exactly what happened with Fosh.
What's that? Oh, where Fosh didn't want to say no to you?
He just didn't want to say no, and I chased him around in circles until he was like, no, and I was like, oh. You just really don't want to answer that question. Like, why don't you just say you don't want to answer it? And he's like, fuck you. I'm like, you could have just said you didn't want to answer it. That's all you had to say. But he kept giving excuses like, well, I'm not going to do this because of that. And I'm like, well, we can overcome that. He and Bosch is like, well, but I have a headache. And I'm like, well, do you want me to get some Tylenol? And he's like, well, but I feel fat. And I'm like, oh, but you look so pretty today. And he says, oh, but I'm on my period. And I'm like, well, I don't mind my little blood. And finally he's like, I just don't want to fucking talk to you. And hangs up.
Yeah, definitely.
So yeah, I think that a more nuanced view of consent, because she didn't say no, but I think what I did was pretty violating and terrible for her and for me. It wasn't. And it's not a good experience for anybody when it was like an unintentional boundary violation like that.
Yeah.
I think with some more nuanced introspection and understanding and what you're advocating of like asking earlier. I think before the first kiss, I think saying can I kiss you is a little too boring. I think you should just go slow.
So here's like this is the problem.
Yeah.
There is a paradox to giving advice on consent.
And you have to be there.
Well, no. The paradox is that the people that need the advice are the ones least likely to take it. Because like I'll say all of this stuff, but there are things that I feel out. Like I don't ask verbally every single time. Like there are some things I do by feeling, but I'm like very much in tune with what does this person want? What's a normal body response? What's like how do I feel like? There's a lot of like checks I've done along the way that aren't like
advanced maneuvers.
Yeah. Like something I mentioned a lot on stream is like giving somebody an out before you get to a sexual circumstance that isn't confrontational. So if I drive a girl home, I might say instead like,
you need to get out tomorrow.
Yeah, just I don't know if you listen to this. Yeah, that's exactly what I said. Yeah. So I'm like I'm engaged in this. So like I don't need to follow like the 15-step check off or whatever. But I would be uncomfortable telling somebody that because if you're the type of person that's looking for advice on checking in, then you probably can't do that. You probably actually do need to take a step back, especially because in the heat of the moment we can get emotionally compromised. And if you don't have a lot of experience, it can be really hard to read certain signals. And there have been times in my life where I've been with a girl that is like saying yes, and I can tell like you are actually so fucking nervous. Like let's just take a step back and chill for a second. Like I'm fine. Like I'll have to be the one that says no for that person. Like maybe we should just take 5 minutes and they'll be like, okay, yeah, that's actually I think it would be good. Right? You're like because you can tell like you're so nervous right now. It's like really obvious. But it's hard to read that. I guess if you're the type of person to go online looking for advice on how to figure out if a girl's consenting or not, you're probably not going to be looking for that shit. So you have to go with more obvious like verbal, acids and everything. I gave a girl a panic attack. This actually happened a few times. That women have panic attacks when they're interacting with me. Okay.
But one time I was hooking up with this girl.
Wow, dude.
And she was naked.
Okay.
And we were kind of talking, we were kind of messing around, and all of a sudden she is 100% drenched in sweat from head to toe. And just staring at me like a deer in headlights. And she wanted to just pretend nothing was happening, but she was clearly having a full-blown panic attack. I've never seen, actually I've had a panic attack that was similar, but that's the only time I've ever seen someone else like that. It was like, it was crazy. And yeah, I think that's more obvious.
Do you think she might have been like sweating a lot because you guys were like running around the living room? Were you chasing her?
Well, yeah, you can definitely work up some heat doing that. Okay, no, it was seriously, it was from normal to like I just got out of the shower. Yeah, I think the other people who need advice on consent is people, the potential victims. I think we're all. I think if we all learn to check with ourselves better, I think that's more ideal. Like teaching, especially with men and women, if you're talking about like the woman usually being the victim of or the one who feels violated in like a college or high school situation, or any situation. I think that women need to
be more empowered to say no and feel okay about that.
What are you, my fucking PR guy? Sure.
Well, because
women
women need to understand that if they get raped, there is some blame there, and if they can preempt that blame by taking responsibility to ward off a potential sexual assault, it would be better. I feel like you could just phrase it in the worst way possible. Sorry, yeah, go ahead.
No, you can have it.
Okay. Yeah, I do agree though that because it's like responsible not going to be. It can get frustrating at times. Like I'm gonna be lying if I say that like I've never. Like there are times where like I wish like why didn't you just tell me like an hour ago like you were in, like Jesus why would you say all the bullshit we would just like be chatting we just go watch a movie like why the fuck did we waste so much time like I do and I'm not gonna say that but I do feel that sometimes like okay yeah we should but like there are reasons why obviously people are afraid of being super forward sometimes especially with men that yeah.
I don't even mean that women need to be empowered to say no. I think that women need to learn to know that they even want to say no. I think it can be hard to tell. I think there are times where you should have said no and you convinced yourself that you didn't need to or didn't want to. And so you're advocating for a lot of men empathizing with women, and I think that that's good, but ideally everyone will be more empathetic with themselves.
Yeah, I mean I talk about both ends. You probably only see me talk about one because I'm looking at your video, but something that I talk about with the current dating culture is that even though we're trying to become more equal in society, there are still some gendered norms that we map onto and still expect each other to follow really hardcore. And one of those is that for men to chase. Men oftentimes have to ask for the first date, men oftentimes need to first move sexually, men oftentimes need to lead the sexual interaction, and that when you're telling a guy that he needs to chase, and this is his role, there are going to be times when guys push too far, because that's what they've been told to do, is you're like the predator, you're the chaser, so that's gonna happen. And to act so shocked and surprised that, every now and then a guy goes over the line, it's like, well, I mean, this is the role you've assigned them. It's never gonna happen for a woman, like very rarely, like, I cannot say that it can't happen, but it's very rare it's gonna happen with a woman.
I think it happens with women all the time, but for the opposite reason, where they assume they can't be the aggressor.
Maybe, yeah, that could be. But yes, I mean, I'm just saying, I do talk about both ends, it just depends on who's content aggressive. And you're giving me content from a man's perspective, so I'm critiquing from a man's perspective, right?
Yeah. I guess. I mean, one of the stories I told was from me feeling victimized, but yeah.
I guess some stuff so the person that can help them out.
What do you think? What do you think of this conversation?
It's a great conversation.
It's gonna take forever.
Cool. Anything else you want to go over?
Shaylin asked me if I'm a successful streamer, when are we gonna get a maid? And I said, I'll ask Steven. I was like, Steven they have to have someone clean their house. No, I feel like you don't.
No, most streamers do.
What?
Most streamers do, but I don't.
But now you see, I don't want someone to clean my house. Do you feel like weird about it, or you just don't want someone in your house?
I think we can keep up. I'd rather get somebody to fucking cook food for me. That's the one thing I'm hoping to get this year.
Yeah.
And then getting real meals is probably way better for it. It is way better for you than ordering DoorDash.
Sandwiches?
Well, sandwiches are even way better than, because the temptation is to start ordering food. Yeah.
Okay. Would you ever actually hire a personal chef?
Absolutely. I want to this year. That's a good goal. I would pay money for it. Yeah. Not like something ultra fancy, just somebody to come and like make food every day.
Like him.
It's not a chore.
I'm a very minimalistic person. I don't make very many messes. Like I'm pretty clean. I don't like shit all over a peel over my toilet or like any dumb shit like that. So I just don't really feel the need. Like the biggest messes we've had recently are just all the boxes from like IKEA and everything. So.
Yeah. Shaylin, when she uses a paper towel, she'll just fold it up and leave it on the counter.
That's pretty bad. Shaylin, she should be pretty ashamed of herself.
I think she will be. Now that you said that.
Good.
Okay. Well, that was my only other question. I think.
Okay.
Anything else you want to discuss?
No, I don't think so.
Do these videos way faster when we're
so
2x.
Weekly, I'm going to do advice and confessions with MrGirl. That's going to be Sundays. Tomorrow it's going to be at 5 Pacific, but I think I'm going to move it to whatever you suggested I move it to. I think it was I can't remember. I think you said 3 Eastern. So what 8 Pacific is what it is tomorrow, but normally it will be 8 Eastern.
So
the following week I think I'm going to move it to 3 Eastern.
Wow. Okay.
That's confusing. I'm going to do the weekly show. People calling in and asking for advice and just talk. I think having intimate conversations, because I think if every single stream I'm on is me saying some shit about,
Cuties or...
Yeah, like, I don't want my own Twitch channel to just be that.
For sure.
And I think that I'm good at listening. And there isn't much of an opportunity to do that in those other more heated discussions.
You feel like you have a good perspective from which you can give advice to other people? Do you ever worry about that?
No.
Okay, fair.
I worry about it in the sense that, like, I think everyone has a very limited perspective colored by their own problems. And I think that being as open about why I believe what I believe and my own personal experiences and like the ways in which my mind is like shaped or twisted, I think that's the best thing you can do. Whereas like Jack Murphy, if you knew everything about his past and then read his self-help books, if that was in there or whatever he does, his program, I guess, that would all be part of the package, and you can make an informed decision of like, do I want to? And I think that's why yeah, that's why people feel so violated by it, because it's like, well, if you told me all this shit, then you might have been successful still, but you have a wholly different crowd following you. And so I think self-disclosure and transparency, to the extent that it's possible, and like the amount of intimacy I want to have with my audience, which is pretty high, on my end of what I'll disclose, I think that mitigates the problem of maybe I'm just saying this because of my weird perspective. If they know the way in which it is weird, then they can kind of...
Basically, you're saying like you know what you're signing up for.
Yeah, exactly. Like if you want your life to end up anything like mine,
okay,
then you can go ahead and do this, but I'm going to be clear with you about what that looks like.
Okay.
Whereas Jack Murphy was not clear about what you would be signing up for if you went along his path.
Gotcha.
I don't like the dunking on Jack Murphy. I'm not trying to fun him or anything, but
ask like what the fuck is Jack Murphy? I actually have no idea.
Oh, he is this big self-help dude who just got outed as doing a bunch of like homemade porn with his wife and writing like articles about how like his girlfriend to get cucked and or cucked by other guys and just like stuff that like super contradicts his like masculinity training.
Oh, okay. It's none of that sounded that bad, but now it sounds kind of bad. Okay.
Yeah.
It's the temple sidekick with the big beard. Gotcha. Okay.
Yeah, the bad part is the contradiction. I think.
Yeah. So not the lifestyle. I understand.
Right. So yeah, are you worried that I shouldn't be giving advice?
No, I was curious.
Do you think I should be giving advice? Do you think people should be taking advice from me? What's your advice about taking advice from me?
I don't know. I've never heard you give advice to anybody, so it's hard to
What's your advice about people about getting advice from
you? Want some advice, you're welcome to call me.
Gotcha. I'll think about it, okay?
Okay. All right. Well, thanks for having me. Is that anything else?
No, I think that's good.
Okay.
Yeah, Yeah. Anything else? You okay?
Yeah, I'm okay. I'm okay if you're okay.
Okay. Yeah, I'm okay.
All right.
What's your next scheduled?
Like video?
No, debate conversation.
Oh, let me check my calendar.
Well,
I'm playing Call of Duty with Lauren Southern on Monday.
Nice. Did she reach out to you? Or did you reach out to her?
I reached out to her. I was like, I don't know if she's gonna respond, but then she was following me on Twitter, and I was like, oh, well, then she'll actually get my message. So I reached out to her. She responded. My next scheduled debate was Rem today, but I canceled.
I saw that. Oh, you got pretty ass mad about him going over your debate.
I got mad about him saying he didn't want to debate and then titling the stream debate with MrGirl. And I got mad about him saying he wanted to have an ethics discussion about pedophilia, and then making it clear in his stream that actually he was going to confront me about a bunch of shit on consent. And then I'm like, that's not at all what you said you want to talk about. And I explicitly asked you, are you mad at me, and what do you want to talk about? And you lied about both. Or that when it changed, you did not inform me. I guess is the more charitable way to say it. But yeah, I'm tired of ambushes because it makes for boring, repetitive content.
Okay.
Wicked Supreme, Tuesday.
He's a really cool dude. You'll have a good time with him.
Okay, yeah, that's my sense. Rhizome, Friday.
Don't know who that guy is. Man, you're really just making the rounds.
Yeah. And then I'm Stardust panel next Saturday. That's all I got so far.
Okay.
Cool.
Gotcha. Damn. Well, sounds like fun.
It's pretty tired, yeah, I guess.
Cool. What's your next playing video going to be over?
It's going to be a review, an introspective review of the game Cookie Clicker.
Really?
Yeah.
I look forward to that. I was addicted to that game for a while.
Me too.
Okay.
I think that this is going to speak to you. Actually, I kind of wanted to use a couple clips of you in it if you...
Playing a game or...?
No, of our discussions.
Oh, you're really making this one a pretty broad topic. Huh?
Oh, no, it's very focused. It just concerns you directly.
Okay, interesting. Yeah, whatever you want. Knock yourself out.
All right, thank you.
Oh,
all right, well,
boy.
I'll see you soon.
Yeah, I'll be careful, okay?
How did you get teleport straight to the
Really? If I
Don't you can turn your webcam on and start talking to me.
I really mean Byron. He had absolutely nothing to gain associated with me ever, but he really appreciated it. He liked it a lot because we have conversations that we couldn't have with other people. So I would assume you're kind of somewhere. Maybe it seems like.
Yeah, I've heard multiple people, including Melina, have told me that I might know him. I think I'm going to attack Dr. K.
Okay, I think that it might be that the conversation is going to break here, or because you're convinced of something that is not true. But I don't know if I can move you off it, and I understand why. So, wait. Are you waiting for me to say something, or am I waiting for you to say something?
Look, I'm waiting.
Wait, what are you waiting for? Oh, what am I supposed to say?
I don't know.
Oh.
Wait until I have whatever percentage of your attention I'm going to get. I'm waiting for that to have that.
I'm here. You have me. I can't play games because on my laptop. I can't watch anything else because I'm monitor. So you have me really 100% plugged in. Okay,
I know.
so
That's kind of what I was hoping for.
Okay, well, I'm here.
Okay, I just watched your interview with Dr. K.
Oh, jeez.
Let me catch myself up to speed. Okay, we have a lot to talk about.
I would hope so. I mean, you want to interview me, so if we have nothing to talk about, it'd be pretty fucking awkward, huh?
Yes. Okay, first I want to talk about our relationship, as usual.
Oh boy. Let's start off with some advice, okay?
Okay.
Stop having so many goddamn meta conversations, alright? Have a conversation. Stop having so many conversations about conversations. I know this guy's really bogged down in the meta conversation.
Kind of ironic that you're saying that, but okay.
Well, because it's a meta conversation about meta conversations about conversations.
It is.
But, you know.
What's your problem with that?
I think that you start off assuming people are being dishonest, and then it kind of just derails them for the rest of the conversation. Because people are really off-put when you tell somebody, hey, I think you're lying, or something.
Yeah, do you think I'm wrong?
It doesn't matter if you're right or wrong. It destroys the rest of the conversation because you already put the person on the defensive or whatever. I think that if you have the impression that somebody is lying, I think it's good to work your way around through to that, so that you kind of both can arrive at that together, and then give them an opportunity to be more forthcoming, rather than accusing them of lying.
Do you see why I think that's a bit manipulative?
Yeah, but conversation is all about manipulation.
Well, yeah, I know you think that, but I don't like to do it that way.
Okay, that's fine.
Although
I just understand you're going to make people very defensive, right?
Yes, I know. Well, that's very clear, but I think, ironically, I'm getting a reputation for being very manipulative.
Yeah.
And you have a reputation for being very not manipulative, and yet you're telling me to be more manipulative.
Yeah.
So what do you think about that?
So let's say I'm having a conversation with somebody and they say, I really fucking hate X, okay? And I know they don't hate X. They're either saying it because they feel like they have to or because they say that, right? So there's two approaches I can take. Instantly I can go, I know that you're lying about hating X. You actually love X. This is going to, now we've established conflict where I'm telling them they're lying about something and we're going to fight about that. Now, people intrinsically don't view themselves as liars, so they're never going to believe you, right? But let's say instead they say, I hate X. I might say something like, okay, that's fair. I really enjoy doing Y in my life. I think I have a lot of fun with it. You know, anybody does it. Okay, yeah, cool. It's kind of like X reminds you of that, you know, I think it's like kind of cool. I think it's pretty chill. And they're like, yeah, you know, I can kind of see that, sure. Yeah, actually, you know, it's okay. And now we've gotten to the place that I wanted to be by being less direct. Because when I'm more direct, it puts them on a, we're going to fight over our character. When I'm less direct, we've externalized it like an idea that now we're kind of riding it together. And it feels like we kind of walked together through a garden and we got to the end of the path, rather than I showed up with my sword and shield ready to fight them over their assessment of themselves.
But you created the path. We agree on that. That's what makes it more manipulative. Is that you?
Sure, it might be manipulative if you want to call it that, but I'm just saying that.
Well, I want to call that to explain why I don't want to do it.
Okay. It all depends on the end of the day what your goal is, but all I'm saying is that all you're going to do is you're going to run into. I think sometimes you get bogged down in fights that you don't want to have because they're not very productive and they don't accomplish.
Well, I don't want to have them, but I don't think the ends justify the means.
Okay. Well, I mean, you can.
And use what they do.
Yeah,
I'm fighting with you right now.
True.
And ironically, you are not doing what you're suggesting that I do in this conversation. You're coming out with your sword and shield head on.
Because I think that we think a little bit more similarly. So I think if we have an issue with each other, I would just tell you, stop doing this dumb shit, right? Now, if you were somebody different, I would approach the conversation in a much different way.
Right. I think I want to, I don't want to change how I only change how I communicate depending on who I'm talking to, but I think I don't want to change this. I would rather just crash.
Sure, I mean, it just depends on where you want the fighting to be.
I don't want to try to control where it is. I think that's what I'm saying, is I want to just say what I think is happening. Here's my problem. If I don't talk about what's happening in a conversation with you, or in our relationship, or in a conversation with Booksmarts, like the prime example, then it becomes, because there is always some meta interaction happening, whether you talk about it or not. And what you're saying is, I should only acknowledge the topical surface part, and then also just win the meta conversation. But win the meta. If they start trying to push me around in subtle ways, don't talk about it. Just win that fight that's unspoken, and then also participate in the main topic. And
Yeah,
as soon as I sense that happening, I just want to call it out.
Yeah, I understand, but there are ways that it's like a psychology thing. There are ways we can talk to people so that they feel like they have more agency over the conversation, even if they don't.
They feel like they have more, but they actually have less.
True. But that's good. You want them to have that feeling because it makes them feel more involved in the conversation and less attacked, right?
I know you told me to treat Lauren Southern like a cat.
The way that I would say it is, and this sounds even more condescending than how you reckon, but I would say sometimes you need to treat.
I meant the first time we talked.
Yeah, sure. You need to treat people like cats a little bit. What you're trying to do is, if I have a cat that I know and I love and I trust, I can run right up to that cat, I can give it a big hug, and I can play like really crazy games with it, and the cat will be excited to play along. But if I see a cat on the street, I have to do a lot to earn that cat's trust before it's going to play with me and not feel like I'm going to try to kill it. And I think what you're doing when you approach some people in conversations, especially people like Lauren, who have been attacked a lot of times, yeah, you're asking for, you want to rub her belly right off the bat. You want to roll her rubber belly, a stray cat, with just immediately, and that is totally impossible for 99% of people to do. It's just not going to happen, right? Yeah.
You said, don't just run up and start rubbing her belly, which is what I did. But my problem with that is that I think it's unethical.
Really?
Yeah, especially if I'm talking to somebody who may like end up saying something about themselves possibly.
Especially, yeah, because this girl's just thinking, I should be able to just be honest. We should just be able to be honest with each other and not have to play these games. Which is a very understandable position. It's extremely understandable. But that's not... Human interaction is so complicated and there's so much... It's so muddy, is what I would call it. Human interaction is so muddy that you can't... It's like a pipe dream, almost.
Being radicalized and killing people or trying to kill migrants, like anything where they might, because because she's not a cat. Like, if the shit I talk about with people can be very heavy and dark, and I think that I need to be as transparent as humanly possible in those conversations to do it ethically. I think it would be wrong to give Lauren Southern a false sense of security that I'm not going to judge you. You know, we're just talking, and can you just kind of see how we get here? And then when she looks back at the path and she realizes, oh, you've led me down this. I mean, that's basically what Booksmart did to me. He got me to show him my belly, but I was wrong to do so. He tricked me. That's why I got so mad at him. Because then afterward, he stuck a knife in me. And if he had come at me with the sword and shield, then I would have been like, okay, great, he's going to come with the sword and shield. I know that he's going to attack me after this conversation, blah, blah. But he came at me with the trying to get me to roll over and then he knifed me.
Okay,
I don't want to do that.
Sometimes Nathan would engage in behavior that I think is bad. So let's say that Nathan takes something from somebody. He's not sharing a toy or he's not sharing a game well.
Okay.
I might, with Nathan,
your son?
Yes, sorry. Okay. Nice. So I might with Nathan kind of talk him through, like, hey, if I were to come in every time you're playing the game and I would take it from you, you probably wouldn't enjoy that very much, right? And I might try to have a conversation with him or try to get him to live the experience of like, well, somebody took all of my stuff. It wouldn't be very fun. And nobody would want to play with you, nobody would want to play with me, I'm constantly taking your stuff, and people would have a good time and you wouldn't have a good time. And I might try to get him to experience that, like, okay, so maybe it's better to share and not be taking things from people because it'll make sure everybody has a better experience. Or I could just say, Nathan, you need to share something in the video. I can be more direct. Now, I don't think it's unethical to go through the experiential route where I'm kind of like demonstrating, you know, hey, like, let's think about these experiences so that we can evoke something in the mind that gets us closer to what I want to achieve because you can share your toys more. I don't think that's an unethical thing, right?
Well, no, but you're his father. I mean, the relationship is he knows that you're his father. He knows that you, first of all, you are.
It's not about me being his father. That doesn't make sense. I could be a teacher, I could be a caretaker.
I'm not. That's what I'm saying is I don't want to tell Lauren Southern that I'm her caretaker or her teacher because I'm not.
But
I'm engaging in an intimate interview, but it's also exploitative. And
it's not. So we got to be clear. It wasn't an interview. It was a confrontation. We were trying to get a concession. So that gives you the power in that conversation.
I don't agree.
Okay. You're absolutely wrong. You disagree with me because you have nothing to lose in that conversation. You have nothing at stake.
In that part of the conversation, we're talking about cuties too.
But you've completely owned up to that. You're fine. This is another thing I think I told you that you feel like you're doing one thing, but you're not. You're saying like, oh, well, we're both like, pedophiles and Nazis, lol. You're totally squared away with that. You're good with that. You processed that. You're open about it, and you moved on from it, and you integrated that experience fully, right, into your existence. Lauren Southern clearly has not. So you don't have anything to lose there. Like, it would be like, imagine if I were talking about like an incredibly sexually closed off like woman who's in her 30s and she's like a virgin, right? And I start saying like, oh, okay, like I really like jerking off to My Little Pony, right? Now I'm really open with my sexual experience. Now you can be open, right? It's not gonna be the same for you. Like, hold on,
okay, I may be in a better place to have a conversation about my controversies than she is, but that does not change the fact that the conversation was not set up as an interview, and it was not set up as a confrontation.
Sure, it might not be.
It became a confrontation. But
yeah, I don't care what it was set up as, but what it became was Lauren Southern was essentially on trial for something that she's done historically, and you were kind of like judge, jury, and executioner running that trial, where you were trying to get a concession from her, like, hey, I need you to admit that in a part of your life you were a fucking atrocious human being. So I
don't think that's what I said. I think I said I want you to answer these questions. And if the answer is you don't think you're an atrocious human being, that's fine. I just want you to have an answer, or say that you don't want to talk about it.
Yeah, but nobody's gonna say they don't want to talk about it because it sounds like you're making the concession all the same.
Don't fucking turn your webcam on and start talking to me.
Sure, but I'm just saying.
Like, this is what I'm talking about. I don't want to be pushed around. I don't want to be pushed around. It is. Because if I say in DMs, if I say, can we talk about our past controversies, including the migrant stuff, she says yes. So then we turn our cameras on and now we're talking. And I say, okay, here are my questions about it, and she answers, and I say, well, I feel like you're being evasive. I don't think you're really answering. If she keeps evading at that point, unless I'm going to just be like let her off the hook and pretend that she has answered when she has not, which I don't want to do. She's trying to push me around.
She's not trying to push you around. She's trying to dodge your aggression, is what it's perceived from her point of view.
No, but the aggression is only in response to her pushing me around.
Yeah, but it's only in response. It's only because you have the power in that situation. You are trying to get a concession from her that she was a horrible person at one point in time. She's never made.
No, I'm not trying to get that concession from her.
This is like this is more of the conversations I like between them, because what it comes down to is MrGirl saying this is all I'm trying to do, and Destiny is like, the rest of the world has operated in such a way that this person and MrGirl's like, no, I don't give a fuck about the rest of the world. I am doing this. This is what I am doing. Stop making what everyone else is doing what I'm doing. That's not fair to me. And he was like, yeah, but that's how people are. It just seems like, yeah.
I need you to understand. Okay, I need you to understand how other people's minds work. Okay.
I know how their minds work, but they're wrong.
Okay, but it doesn't do anything to say that. When you're saying verbatim, right? If I would have done anything like that, I would have thought I was a horrible person. When you say that, I don't know if you realize it, but you're by proxy making the accusation you were a horrible person. And I need you to say that. I need you to say that to me. You were
No. You are adding. I need you to say that to me on there.
I'm adding it because that's the.
I have this conversation with people all the time. People constantly are like, I think your review was immoral, and the things you say about cuties is horrible, and it's a horrible thing to say. She literally told me that my review was immoral.
But
she was not. I don't take that to mean that I have to also think that.
I don't think you're understanding the. I think that when.
I understand perfect.
No, you think way too highly of people. I think that if I were to ask you questions if I were to ask you questions about things you believe or things you've done, I think that I could ask you something about your cuties review, and I could walk that thought back all the way to this is like the fundamental point of how I gather truth or happiness. I think I could follow all that back to that root cause. Do you agree with that? That any like abstract thought you have can probably be traced back to some more fundamental thought, right?
Sure.
That's very inhuman. Very few people can do that. So when you're approaching
you mean very few people would be able to have that conversation and tie their things together to eventually.
Very few. Less than 1% of people can do that.
Okay.
So when you're having a conversation with somebody and you're offering what looks like a weakness to somebody, it's not. You're 100% put together and ready to explore that. So when Lauren was lashing out at you and she was like, okay, well, why did you cover the cuties review? You're sitting there like, and I've been in your position, so I'm empathizing, okay? But when she says that, that's almost like yeah, let's go there. Because I've already explored that fully. Right. I can own every single part of that conversation. I've had them all before, and I can be fully confident every step of the way when we're talking about that. So her attacking you with that is not the same as you attacking her with let's talk about the migraine. Because clearly there's a lot of
she has not thought it.
Exactly, yeah. So there's a huge, even though this is what I was saying back to the original, even though it looked like you were offering her like a lifeline, like, oh look, we're like the same. You're not. You've processed and integrated that so much more than she has with her experience. These are not the same things. And if anything, it almost looks like she's being baited or lured into getting dragged down with you, and she's hasn't even gotten to that point of process.
But I didn't know that.
Sure. Well, that's why I'm telling you. You need to make these assumptions with people, right?
I need to assume that people have not processed anything that they've said or done, even 5 years later.
At least if you're approaching something, because you were trying to get a novel admission from her. She's never publicly said any of that was bad.
I don't think that's not what I was trying to do. You keep saying that's what I was trying to do, but that's not true.
A lot of conversations seem to be revolving around getting her to say, like, well, reflect and say, well, isn't this kind of bad?
No.
Okay, it felt like that. I think she felt like that.
I'm sure she did, but here's what she felt like that because because I think something's bad doesn't mean I want you to think it's bad. What I want.
But most people, what you just said right there was very inhuman. Most people think that everybody has to agree what's bad and good.
I know, but the reason she agreed to talk to me in the first place, I assume, is because she knows that I don't operate that way. So we do have some basis.
Nobody knows that. So again, from personal relationship experience, friendship, you can say that you operate a certain way. Nobody believes you. Nobody will believe you until it comes to a point where it's tested, and then people are going to treat you like a monster or like you're human. Nobody believes you are the way you are until they have first experience, no matter how you say it. That's just absolutely true. So even if you say something like, hey, I'm very honest and I
So why do you think she agreed to talk to me then?
Probably because she genuinely finds your mind interesting, and she didn't know that she was going to have to defend her past that much.
She thought we'd go easy on each other.
Maybe, yeah. Yeah, because she felt like I talked to her later that night about conversation, and her impression was she felt like you were attacking her else. She thought
giving to people.
Past, you would kind of go easy on it because she has bad stuff in her past.
Nothing
but the reality
wrong
is you haven't gone easy on your own past. You fully understood and integrated all those experiences. She hasn't. That's the difference.
Okay. So, I don't think that's my responsibility. Do you?
So I'm not here to care about the moral bullshit or whatever.
But I am. That's what we keep coming back to. You're very cynical.
Okay. No. I'm not. What I'm saying is that like, if you want to have a conversation with somebody with a certain end in mind,
I don't.
Okay. So if your response to me is Destiny, I actually don't give a fuck where my conversations end up.
That's not true. That's not true.
They are. These are diametrically opposed. You gotta choose one.
No. That's
absolutely.
Not true. Not giving a fuck is different from not trying to control something. I can care where the conversation goes without doing everything in my power to make it go there.
But if you care where conversation goes, you're gonna exert some level of influence moving it there.
Absolutely. Subconsciously, for sure. Subconsciously, I am
consciously making choices. So when you
I care more about the choices than I care about the end goal. I care more about how I conduct myself. I care more about the morality of how I'm conducting myself in a conversation than I care about whether it goes where I want to go. Like you see that there's a balancing act.
It's not a balancing act. That's the problem.
Do you think you should pick one?
Well, at some point you might run into an area where these things become binary. You can either do one or either do the other. You're not always going to be able to.
I choose the moral derailment of the conversation into endless meta fighting over getting to the belly so I can gut it.
You can do that. That's your prerogative. Just be aware of that. Okay. I would disagree, but okay.
Why do you disagree that it's wrong?
Because I think it can be okay to have a purpose in mind for a conversation. That doesn't mean you have to be like the most virtuous. Like when I argue with certain very radical people, my goal is not to bring them 100% to my side. Usually my goal is to get like some level of agreement in some kind of central area and then just give them like a little bit to think about. Even though I could push harder. So, like Lauren Southern is a good example. A lot of my community hates the way that I interact with Lauren Southern because I'm not constantly having to like hold her to account. You need to talk about what you did. We need to talk about the votes. I don't care as much about that. I disagree about a lot of what she did related to it, and I could have a big argument about it. But I don't really think I've accomplished much. Like she's really dug into everything about that. I'm not going to force some level of introspection from her, or maybe I could over time. But rather, what I hope to do is if I can win you over on enough of these other level positions, at some point we're going to have enough rapport that if that conversation comes up, I'm going to have a lot of ability to push in a little bit harder than other people because I've proven myself to be a good actor. I'm not just trying to destroy you or fuck you over, and maybe I can even offer a little bit of insight into your own thoughts.
But that will destroy her.
I don't think so.
Okay, do we both agree that if I had been nicer, I probably could have gotten her to say a lot about the votes?
For sure.
I probably could have gotten her to like cry.
Depending, maybe. I don't know.
There's probably some combination of things to get her to not out of remorse, but out of something.
Why? I could have gotten her to cry. Why are we going there, buddy? Hold on. It's hot as fuck in here. Jesus Christ. I'm fucking hot as balls, man. Fuck. Damn. Balls.
That's right.
Okay.
it's weird that you're giving me this advice going into
Well, the way we talk is different than how you talk to any other person. So it doesn't
Okay, so you want me to be forthright with you?
I don't want you to do anything. I just want you to be aware.
Do you want me to try to manipulate you into telling me things that you don't want to tell me?
You can do whatever you want to do. But I'm just saying you.
No, you're saying I can try and I'll fail.
I'm saying that if you have
conversations.
No. I'm saying if you have conversations in certain ways, it's going to cause certain things to happen. You just have to be aware of that. If you don't give a fuck, then that's fine. And I'm not trying to pretend like my style of conversation is right or wrong, even if it feels that way. Kind of like how Lauren felt like you were calling her evil, even if you were actually calling her evil, right? Because I haven't said anything about your style of conversation. I'm just saying like if you have a style of conversation that is more confrontational, and you haven't earned a lot of rapport with the person, then they're going to get really defensive and locked down. You're not going to get much farther in the conversation. I don't think.
Okay.
But if you want to do that, fuck it.
I do.
Okay.
And I'm gonna do it right now.
Okay. I'm an open person. You can be whatever you want me on.
You're guarded.
No. Really?
You don't think so?
No. But kind of. It's a little weird.
Okay, I feel like there's a few topics I want to talk to though.
Okay.
Either
I'm gonna go help that person in a moment. I just wanna
like you're just like
just give me one more of the
also, do you look at your
underpants.
subreddit?
Yeah, all the time.
Okay.
Yeah.
So their opinion of me is like all over the place. It was good, and then it was very suspicious.
There's like a jerk wave. Then if there's too much of something, there's going to be a counter jerk wave. And then there'll be like a counter jerk wave. That's just like the nature of the internet. Yeah.
Okay, so they have talked about, they've mentioned me betraying you, or me being a sociopath, or me being super needy and wanting to talk to you all the time, or wanting your attention, or wanting your airtime on your streams. And then they've talked about us having some horrible falling out, or they talk about me becoming a gigantic streamer and then betraying you somehow. And then Melina, I think, touched on all of those in one way or another.
Come on.
What do you? I guess. Okay, so I always talk
one
about between us.
red underpants and we'll be done with
I'm
these
less nobody now.
dudes.
So where?
I can focus on Frasier
I feel
only.
like, as I become less nobody, I benefit less financially from each conversation we have, which gives you less control over me in a career way. I'm becoming more your equal.
Self-sufficient.
Yeah, like not your equal in terms of. Yeah. I don't mean your equal in terms of size. I just mean in terms of how much I could be using you. That has to be, that's decreased significantly.
Okay.
Right? Do you agree on that?
Yeah, of course.
You don't like being used.
I don't care about used. I think it depends on who's using it.
Well, okay, I don't like being used. I feel like I'm learning more about what it must be like to be you, as more and more people try to use me. I've never had this experience before, but over the last 2 weeks, people are sending me like, oh, have you talked to this person? Blah blah blah. You might be in blah blah. Everybody's doing. I've never had the experience of somebody doing someone else a favor by telling me their name.
Yes.
Somebody else doing you a favor.
Someone doing someone else a favor. Something like these imagine conversation. Like you know the conversation. Like yeah, I know this. I'll send DM and like I'll mention you. And like I'm not sure if he's gonna really want to talk to you, but we'll see. We'll see what he says. I don't like it.
Okay.
I feel I feel used increasingly by more and more people.
Why don't you like it?
Because they don't like me. They like money. They don't care about me.
Do you feel like you have some way? Yeah, do you feel like you have some way of weeding out those types of people, I guess, that contact you? Or?
No, because a lot of them also genuinely like me. Even some of my friends, they're like really excited. They're excited about the channel in a way that they've never been before. And it's like, well, you're not really excited about the channel. You're excited about like fame and power. But that's not me. That's not good with me.
Okay, let's get this money. I'm trying to stream all the way to 11, maybe. I don't know, I feel like stopping.
Like, yeah, it sucks.
Have you thought at all about how to, I guess, divine from people their intentions and associations?
Is that possible? I mean, yeah, sure. I could become more. You're saying just go start-based and be more paranoid?
Maybe, I don't know. That sounds like a
Fuck it. Might as well.
Okay, so in terms of you and me, do we agree that this dynamic is decreasing as I grow, or?
Insofar as the dynamic exists and could be observed by some people, yeah, it's probably decreasing.
I'm asking you what you think. This is.
I don't care about this. This is something I don't care about at all. If there are girls out there that want to fuck me for fame, or there are people that think they can leech off my thing to be more popular, as long as I'm having a good time, I truly don't give a fuck. I don't care. Well, I can be cognizant of any dynamic that exists, but like it's just not something that I'm really concerned about.
It doesn't bother you?
No.
Okay, I guess my view is that it doesn't bother you because you're so paranoid that trusting people at all just seems like unthinkable, so you're like, fuck it, they're all, I mean, like you said to Dr. K, that you think all relationships are transactional, or you view them all that way. So therefore, if they're all transactional, you might as well just say none of them are transactional, because it's no more transactional than any other relationship, if you think they all are.
There are two ways you can go with this, and if you want to do the first way, we can do the first way, but I can tell you. So when somebody's in my position, there's two possibilities. Either one, they are incredibly guarded and they shut down some part of them so that they don't associate with people too deeply because they're so afraid of getting hurt that they don't expose part of themselves, which sounds like what you're saying with me. The second part, and this is the only answer I can give you, and you can say how long you want, but I truly just don't really care that much. I have an internal view of myself, I have an internal view of what I want, what makes me happy. There are certain people in my life that I can utilize to achieve those ends that are fun to hang out with. If there's some mutually beneficial thing that they gain off of me, whether it's clout or something like that, I really don't really care that much. It's just not something I think about now.
So your sense of being used does not subtract from your sense of being loved?
I'm not looking for love from other people, I'm usually just looking for positive experiences.
You don't want love?
I'm not that kind of person, no.
Melina?
Melina, I probably do, yeah.
You hear this? This is all gonna be evidence for MrGirl. He doesn't want anyone to get close. You don't want love? That's obviously because you don't want someone to get close to you. That's I can see it happening. I see like that's where the conversation is going to go.
My wife, but if I felt like she was trying to just use me for things, that would probably bother me.
Okay. Love from Melina and I assume a couple other family members.
And my son, yeah.
Yeah. I want love. I want people to love me.
Okay. Finding that as a content creator is going to be very difficult because people are highly incentivized to present one thing and conceal their true intentions, right? Say
Yeah, yeah. I want people to love me. I want people who already love me to not stop loving me and use me instead.
Okay.
What do you think about that?
It's going to depend from relationship to relationship.
Do you feel do you feel that you have lost any of that?
I never really have very many friends, like close friends that I care about much. So growing up, I only really had like 2 close friends, and then these days I probably have like less than 5, maybe.
Did the video stop?
Are you?
No, I think they just. No, just the Mr. Girl pause. The Mr. Girl pause.
Do you think you could enjoy our relationship more if you trusted me more?
Not really, because it's not like there's some part of me that you don't have access to. Like, just
there is.
Like what?
Your heart.
There's not
That part.
Your hearts.
You have to admit, you seem like a pretty trustworthy person.
Probably, maybe not.
Like if you were gonna trust like a streamer who just random. I guess I wasn't a streamer. You made me into a streamer. If you're gonna trust like a guy, a content creator that just like showed up. I feel like I'm a pretty good candidate for someone to trust, even though the situation certainly does not lend itself to trust. That's what I'm. You know what I think? I met you and I was like, this is great. Like it's platforming me, but also I like you and like we can talk to each other and you're helping me and helping me navigate this confusing mess. And like I just have to like show him that I'm like a trustworthy person. Like of course. But now, just 2 weeks into my own little career, I see you can't trust anyone.
Yeah,
everyone is lying. So I feel embarrassed. I feel embarrassed that I thought I could seem trustworthy enough to you.
You probably you would be somebody that I would have the least trust in for a long period of time.
Why is that?
Yeah, so I approach all of these topics in a very, I'll say, autistic way, or inhuman way maybe, so it's not a little weird, but I think when a lot of people look at somebody they trust, they think of like, okay, I feel like a warm connection to this person, and they seem like they genuinely care about me, so they wouldn't do anything to hurt me. Does that sound right?
I don't think you're not human.
Yeah, I'm just asking a basic question, don't jump ahead of me.
Well, you already said that.
Sure. Well, then I'll skip that. The way that I view trust is somebody has more to gain or more to lose by, I guess, like backstabbing you or betraying you. Is usually how I feel. As long as somebody has more to lose than they would to gain by backstabbing, like, this is not a trustworthy person.
That's not trust. That's literally not the definition of
trust.
Trust would be if I have more to gain by backstabbing you, and you still believe and put faith in and behave as though and still show me the cat belly anyway because you trust.
Yeah, I don't believe that. I don't trust anybody like that. I don't think that's true.
Well, that's you don't trust anybody.
No, okay. That's what I'm using. I don't trust anybody. So
I think I already have more to gain by betraying you than I do by being friends with you.
I don't think you have anything to gain by betraying me right now, no?
I think so. People like fights. People like drama. I don't know. Why did Vosh and Hassan do it?
Hassan did it because he was threatened by me a little bit, and I think he has self-esteem issues.
You think it hurt his career?
No, he had a lot to gain from it career-wise because there was a rift growing between our two communities, where there was a genuine thirst in my community for something more far left. So he had a lot to gain by severing that connection, continue to build his own stuff, and then capitalizing on the excess fans from me.
Okay. So betraying you now would be premature. I have to wait until I can define myself against you, develop, cultivate a thirst for it, and then force a break.
Oh, just need 5 darts and 8 lipstick.
Well, yeah, and you have like very little to lose by fucking around too. Like there's a lot of people here even attack in a lot of ways. So I feel like you could backstab and do that. So that's why when I say if I'm dealing with private citizens, so he's not a public internet figure, I would have a high degree of trust that person because they fucked me over. They publicly their lives can be destroyed. So I feel like this person will never do anything.
I'm uncancelable, and you don't have a lot of leverage over me.
Yeah, basically, consent leverage, and I don't think I could ever get that with somebody like this. Not that it matters, by the way. I understand why it bothers you because you feel like there's a deeper level of relationship you can access once that trust part is established. That's not really how it works.
Yes.
You don't have that deeper level.
Now that I trust you, like, oh my god, you can share these experiences. Like, I'm about as willing to engage in any experience you want to. So I'm not gonna get fucking destroyed or something. Like, I'm not gonna buy a house with you or something. But you know, basically everything else on the table.
I think that's a great idea. Then we would have to trust each other. Good vacation. Let me say for.
Yeah, you don't trust me? Let's buy a house, baby. Come on. Show me that love.
So yeah, that makes me sad.
Give me that liquid love.
I actually trust you.
You should. I'm a pretty trustworthy person. I have a long history of I don't fucking women unless they attack me publicly. I'm like pretty public.
Well, yeah, but it's one way though, right?
I mean,
like I trust you in the definition of even if you had a lot to gain by fucking me over, I don't think you would.
yeah, I think I'm a pretty trustworthy person.
You know what the problem with your calculation is?
What's the problem?
You only you're assuming everyone is a sociopath. Because
no, I wish they were.
Let me explain. Because when you weigh what I have to gain versus what I have to lose, you place nothing on the emotional pain that would cause me to hurt you. You place nothing on me caring about your well-being. You place nothing on morality. That is not factored into your calculation. It is subscribers, money, social standing, things like that. That is the only thing that factors in. So you in your evaluation of who to trust, you assume everyone is a psychopath.
I think that morality is nothing. Nobody thinks about morality. They might have like an intuitive feeling of what might make them good or bad. But nobody's thinking like morality when they think about fucking somebody over.
I think I do.
At one point in time I considered this. You might, but you'd be the exception. At one point in time I considered how I associate with people because when I associate with people, something that I've learned in my 20s is I have to kind of make a lot of guesses about people.
I'm gonna go to that other person to help him out now.
But a lot of people seem to. So for a while I think it led me to be a little bit people acted in ways that they didn't expect. It's like, well, hold on, how can this person fuck me over? Like I haven't done anything like that fucked up here. How can a person do this? This is like really weird. I feel like I've done so much. But I think what I've kind of learned recently is when somebody's fucking somebody over, the reason there aren't any bad feelings they have to deal with is in everybody else's mind they've always convinced themselves that they're in the right for doing so. So they don't actually have to deal with those types of bad feelings because they're always the hero of their own story and they always have good justification for the reason they're acting. I think it's a little bit of a waste of time for me to try to guess like, okay, well objectively, I've done like a decent amount of shit for you. How the fuck can you do this to me? Because in their mind they've already convinced themselves, well, Destiny's a horrible person, he's done this horrible shit, like I can do this, and it's like, okay.
Can you give me a real life example?
4 darts and 7 lipstick.
So Vosh is somebody who only exists on the internet because of me. Because I'm willing to talk to smaller creators. Because I was willing to plug him as much as I could early on because I gave him a big presence on my chat. He was involved in a sexual harassment scandal that I covered up for him kind of. I deleted the video off my YouTube channel. I would always tell him like, hey, like I did a lot of stuff to help him early on. That would be somebody that in my mind, if I was in his position, I feel like I would always have a debt there. There's no possible way that I could like turn my back on this other person like you're a horrible piece of shit or whatever. But he did, because there was more to gain publicly. But I think in his mind, I don't think he's thinking like, oh god, like, you know, me and Destiny, we become friends with this and it's gonna hurt a lot. I think in his mind he's already felt like, okay, Destiny is actually an evil, horrible person. I don't even think he likes me at all. I think he's actually like an evil fuck and I need to do this because it's the right thing to do. So I might be trying to project onto him some emotional state that he doesn't have because from his point of view he's already convinced himself he's correct and everything. So that'd be like one out of, I can give you like half a dozen.
Yes, another lipstick. Come on.
Do you think most people are
We're doing it.
Yeah, for sure. I think it's pretty normal. We think of ourselves as like a good person. Also, to be clear, when we have conversations, I'm talking about how other people. I'm not a perfect person. Like I've made mistakes and I've done bad things too. So I'm like, it's not like I'm not saying like I'm a perfect person.
Sure.
Whatever.
Whatever.
I think it's a caveat for the audience.
I understand. Vosh, I feel like there's some selection bias where you're taking Vosh's public statements. The stuff he says to his friends might be, or like as a therapist, is probably different. I think I agree that Vosh's presentation is as someone who has no self-doubt or qualms about anything he does, but do we know that's actually how he is?
I think he has a considerable amount of self-doubt.
But he conceals that.
Yeah, but this might sound like some top site bullshit, but usually when I see somebody that is acting in a very alpha or an incredibly like, I need you to know how confident I am, to me that usually comes across as being a little bit concealing of some kind of insecurity. That's why
and insecurity that he's aware of.
Well, he's either completely aware of it or he's trying to cover it up and trying to suppress it, but yeah.
Okay, also, another selection bias problem. Vosh, and like most streamers, or all streamers, became popular because he seems to be very confident in himself and his positions. People are very drawn to that.
I'm confident. Watch me. I'm confident. Watch me. Watch me. Please watch me. I'm so confident.
I think most people are more like Lauren Summers, where like part of her is very confident in her decisions, and part of her is not. And like,
sure, but you only show the confidence part. You never want to know the parts.
Absolutely, but the other part is there. I feel like only in like really crazy. That's why I think you're assuming everybody might be a sociopath because.
I don't think people are sociopaths. I think people think to be selfish. Just be clear.
You're describing an extreme.
Predictably selfish.
I think it's totally normal, but I might just be very cynical. I think
that's what I'm saying. I think you're very cynical. I mean, even at the beginning of the conversation, you're like, Max, you're talking to people like they're not stupid.
Yeah, but you can call me cynical, but I don't assume everybody's a sociopath. I think people are like predictably selfish.
Yes,
hold on. I gotta take my hand off the mouse and the wrist.
You do not factor the morality or anybody else caring about you into any of these calculations.
Well, I think people care about you to the extent you provide something to them. And once you don't provide that thing, or if they get something better somewhere else, they'll switch. That's how I do it. So it sounds sociopathic when I say it that way, but I think the feelings of other people...
No, it just sounds like you've been backstabbed too many times.
Okay.
I want to put some shea butter on your back wounds.
Okay.
I think that, I'm challenging the way you're thinking about it, because, like, you think if you became homeless, and, like, say you were involved in some, I don't know, say you've been, like, not paying your taxes, and you lost all your money and got banned, and you said the N-word on Twitch much, so you got banned. And then everybody thought you were neo-Nazi, so your payment processors pulled out, and it was impossible for you to stream and make money, and you became homeless. So at this point, I have nothing to you think that I would just, me and everyone else would just disappear?
I think we would probably still talk. You seem like that kind of person, but I could be wrong.
What kind of person is that?
Somebody that is interested in talking to me because you think I'm interesting.
Because I can gain something. I'm like, my morbid curiosity. Show me around your box. Show me around the cardboard box. I'm just curious to see what.
I think that it's hard to find people with minds that are put together in such a way that you can have an engaging conversation that goes from like a fifth level abstraction down to like a first level abstraction. So when you run into those people, I think the conversation is generally like pretty good. So the other person that Melina brought up before, I really like Byron. He had absolutely nothing to associate with me ever, but he really appreciated it. He liked it a lot because we could have conversations that he couldn't have with other people. So I would assume you're kind of similar. It seems like it.
Yeah, I've heard multiple people, including Melina, have told me that I remind you of him.
Yeah.
And I've seen people on your subreddit commenting about being worried about how sensitive I am emotionally.
Okay.
Is that where you?
22.
No.
2 darts, 6.
It doesn't worry about us talking.
2 darts and 6 lipstick.
Yeah. Okay. Wait. What kind of person was Byron? Or what is the comparison you're making?
He's just like, he very much had like a full way of kind of like looking at the world, and if I gave him, there's like a broad way that I can explain people. I don't know if this dichotomy fits for every single thing. There's a broad thing that people can do. I can give somebody an idea, and there's 2 ways that they can process it. The 99% of people is they give you an idea, and the first thing you do is you run down every group that you belong to figure out how you're supposed to respond to it, and you give me that expected response. It's the vast majority of conversations. What do you think about like this movie? Okay, well, what did XYZ people in the movie think about it? What did the popular media at the time? This is why blah blah blah. And that's how like most people do it. Occasionally, very rarely, you run into a person like, what do you think about this movie? And you can tell that they have some internal schema.
That sounds like Sneeko's point of view that so many people are bots. That is the definition I'm going to run with the program that everyone around me wants me to run. What are my own thoughts? No, I'm not going to give you that. What does everyone around me want? It's just like, that is literally the Matrix, in my opinion, like by definition.
They're actually like holding this to generate some novel thought that's coming directly from them. And Reckle was able to do that a lot of stuff. You've seen him do that a lot of stuff. Hopefully I'm able to do that a lot of stuff. But yeah, those are the more interesting people to talk to for me.
Because then you're talking to the person and not the...
Yeah, I don't need to know what society's popular view of something. I can just go look at fucking Reddit or Wikipedia or some shit. I don't need you to regurgitate to me whatever the most popular reviewer or idea is. But,
I wasn't sure if I wanted to bring up Reckle. Okay, it's all tied together. I talked to Melina. Melina talked about you. Talked about Reckle. Talked about Dr. K. I watched you watch a video about Reckle and Dr. K. My fans want me to talk to Dr. K. I don't think Dr. K wants to talk to me. It all feels interconnected. Oh, also, you told Melina not to let me mindfuck her.
oh, that was like a passing joke or something. I feel like you read way more into that.
Yeah, I did. And then I told
Melina.
Melina.
Situation, and I thought it was correct. You were arguing that it wasn't correct, but I thought she was right. But I was worried she was saying that or something, so you could convince people otherwise.
Yeah, so it was not really a joke. It's
well, yeah,
you
because
meant
I
it.
mean by mindfuck, but yes.
Well, you meant it, but it also was funny.
Okay. Best kind of humor. Because no one
Yes. Well, or it is just completely true. Do you want to jump in? So I just laid out a merry-go-round of interconnected topics. Do you want to steer clear of all of them, or do you want to talk about any of them?
Whatever you want. Whatever your heart desires. Okay.
This girl is such an interesting person. It's like talking to somebody that's always analyzing every single thing that you're doing at all times. It's like talking to a mushroom tree.
Yeah.
Shit.
She's pretty pushy.
It can be, yeah. But I think if you're dating me, that the girl's going to become like that. Because if you're not that, you're
Yeah, she has to,
rolling.
absolutely.
Yeah.
I think I'm gonna attack Dr. K.
Okay.
Attack Dr. K.
I don't like what he's doing.
Yep, I remember that part of the conversation.
And after watching you react to the guy's video about Reckle and Dr. K, I like what he's doing less. But I already wanted to attack him. Not attack, but assail. Yeah, challenge.
Assail.
What did you think of Dr. K's video with Melina?
Fuck, it's been a while since I've watched it.
He tried to convince her that she wants to have, well, this is short version. Tried to convince her that being non-monogamous with you is her sacrificing herself to make you happy, and then like got her to cry a few times about it, and then basically told her like, are you going to keep living for other people, or are you going to like be your own person and stand up for yourself, basically?
I think that when you hit on something that's exceptional in a person's life, being in an open relationship is a exceptional thing, being an exception to the norm. I think it's okay to question. No, it's 99 or 98. I think it's okay to push into that area to see how they feel about it. And it would surprise me that somebody would ask questions like, do you really want to do this? How do you feel about this? Is this causing problems? Like, are these problems that you want? Are you doing this for yourself? I think it's a fair line question.
I think it's wildly inappropriate. Wait. How did you feel? How did you feel watching it? Whether it's fair or not, like this guy is trying to shut down your shit. You have no problem with that?
If Melina decided that she wanted a different type of relationship, that's her decision to make. And if somebody else can talk her out of the limit we're in right now, that means she feels way less strongly about it than I do. So the only thing he could possibly be doing is exposing some fracture that's just going to grow over time anyway. So he'd be a short-cutting process.
Okay, so you believe he's stress testing Melina, but so you're okay with it?
In a way, that's literally kind of my approach to open relationships. That's why I don't care if my partner fucks somebody else, is if they do, and then they leave.
You're stress testing the whole relationship.
Yeah, I'm like, okay, well, fuck it, I guess we're gonna work anyway. I'm not gonna sit here and pretend to be monogamous and then like you cheat and go have other people. You like somebody else more, then go have a relationship with them next to them.
Yeah. If you betray me, you betray me.
I mean, I wouldn't consider it betrayal. I mean, what are the chances of 7 billion people that I'm the best match for you? Like, you can find somebody else, but don't let me bullshit.
But that's what love is, when you still care about somebody and still want to be with them, even if they're not the best match, or even if they can't provide you with anything. I
don't really want to be that person in somebody else's life, so I wouldn't want that person to destroy me. I think there's like a certain.
But then you won't be in anybody's life. You're saying it's like you're saying you only deserve to have love or friendship if you are the best person.
Or at least it feels like
it's a meritocracy.
Now, things that can build into the best can be things that are hard for other people to match. So, for instance, part of the reason why me and Melina are right now the best because we have like 3 years of experience with each other. I wouldn't expect her to meet somebody, even if they're slightly better than the other aspects, to all of a sudden meet and be like that shared history that we have. Like you do build on things.
Yes. Do you not understand why I think that is cynical and sad? Of course. If you're not engaging with that.
I don't have that part of me that cares about that. So I can restate it back to you. Tell me if I understand what you're saying.
Oh, I know you understand it. You're just not.
Okay. Then there's like you're trying to, when you talk around it, it feels like you're trying to evoke some sense of longing or melancholy or sadness. I just really don't care. It's not something
No. I'm not trying to evoke anything. I just want you to say. I want you to say you don't care. I just want you to answer.
I don't care if Melina ends up finding somebody better than me. I mean, like, I
no, do you care? Do you get why the idea that you have to be the best possible person and the best possible friend at all times? And if not, and if someone wants to just trade you for somebody else, then you're fine with that. You're just, it's like at any moment you're just waiting to be betrayed. So much so that you don't even call it a betrayal.
I don't think I get betrayed. I'm a pretty cool person. I have a hard time believing that like somebody I'm close to spend a great deal of time being close to is just going to trade me out very easily. I hope that's the case.
But you're also an asshole. By your own admission.
Really.
The first time we talked, you're like, in my personal life, I'm an asshole.
So, I am an aggressive person, conversationally, and comedically, I guess, but I'm not genuinely mean to people. And I think that's a thing a lot of people have a hard time understanding.
I think you're mean sometimes.
I'm very, very rarely my man. It's
I think you make cutting remarks sometimes.
Almost, and only to people that I'm like genuinely fighting with, never to like a friend. Like there are things that I could joke about with Mr. Mooten or Dan or Melina if I just wanted to be mean, but I stay away from those topics pretty far. And if you ever have the chance to interview people I've been with on stream, like, hey, you can ask Lauren. Like there are times where I'll tell people like in DMs like, hey, if there's like a topic that you don't want me to touch or you don't want me to joke about or something you want to say, like I'm totally cool staying off of that. Like when I'm being mean, it's like mean in a funny way that I hope they can push back on and deal with, but it's not like trying to find where the things that hurt you the most that I'm gonna joke about. That's not usually my approach. It's never my approach. Someone trying to be friendly.
I need some more healing items because yeah. I need some more healing items.
Do you think you have a reputation for being mean?
Yeah, but I think because most people don't understand what that means.
We're having a semantic problem?
No, it's a issue. Like, understand how people feel. People, here's like the issue, okay? Somebody will see me with a girl, okay? And a girl says something like, I really like Blink-182. And I say, Blink-182? That's a dog shit band. Why do you listen to such garbage music? And then like we'll laugh and joke about it. And some people see that even like, okay, I'm gonna be like Destiny. So then they find a girl in their life like, hey, what's up? And the girl's like, hey, how's it going? And the guy's like, you're really fucking fat. Like, I'm doing like the Destiny thing where I'm being mean to them, and now it's and they're like, wait, this doesn't work at all. And I've seen fans like firsthand that are like friends of friends interact with them like, oh, this guy's a really fan because he's an asshole to everybody.
The idea isn't to like be mean toward them. It's to be confident and like, hey, yeah, I can disagree with you. Yeah, I can say no, I don't like that. You like that? No, I don't like. It's just like instead of simping, yes, everything you like is right. Everything you like is good. Yes, 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 queen. Yes. Like instead of like. No woman wants to simp.
And then I say, like, wait, hold on. This guy's not being, like, mean funny. This guy's just being really mean. Like, these aren't, like, jokes. There's not, like, everybody can share in and laugh and go back and forth. He's just, like, really fucking mean. So I think people have a hard time. I'll call it, like, chemistry or something, where it's, like, the way that you associate with people. But I can find people and joke with them in aggressive ways that's pushing or testing boundaries, but it's actually, like, done in a really respectful manner. And I'm not actually trying to upset somebody or actually trying to dig in and make somebody feel bad about themselves.
Okay,
I think sometimes people see me do that and they think, oh, that's just being mean. But there's like a dance for a process here where I'm actually being pretty careful about what I'm joking about.
Okay, so you think that people are misunderstanding these interactions. They're misreading both you and the person you're supposedly being mean to.
Mm-hmm.
You're being aggressive and playful, but you generally are not mean.
For sure.
Okay. How do you feel about me criticizing Dr. K?
I understand your criticism. It's gonna come down to like you seem a little bit more like action-oriented, like is a particular action good or bad? Whereas I'm like a little bit more, well, let's see how it affects everybody oriented. So like Dr. K, you can argue is like, okay, well, this trying this quasi like therapy is a little bit responsible. But I think say, well, how many people are now engaging in conversations? How even if it's like a little bit exploitative, I think at the end of the day it's worth it.
I have an advice show.
Mm-hmm.
Have you seen it at all?
I've seen a couple things of it, but I've been traveling this whole past week, so I haven't seen much of anything yet.
Oh, yeah, I'm not taking it personally. I'm just curious.
Oh, well, I just answered the question. It was meant to be personal, not personal.
Well, it felt personal.
Okay, I don't watch it because it sucks. Why the fuck would I take advice from
just
you?
like
You're a
Blink-182.
loser.
So I wrestle with like
this penguin
responsibility of that.
real quick.
Some of my mods in the Discord mods were like, we should have like a resource center, because every call, almost every call ends with me telling the person to go to therapy.
Sure. Which is not helpful, but yeah.
Why not?
I hate it when people say that because it's like every advice I go to therapy. It's like, okay, well, I'm talking to you because I'm not in therapy. Don't tell me to go to therapy.
Well, you should.
Yeah,
One more hit, and this penguin is dead.
Do you think Bosch should go to therapy?
Already.
I don't personally enough to say.
We'll get a guess.
If I had to guess, I'd say probably not. I think most of his problems lie with like trying to be a public figure and making money and growing his platform, not with having like actual self issues that he needs a therapist to diagnose.
He should retire.
I don't. Why should he retire?
Well, he's having problems. We agree with that, right?
What do you mean? How?
I don't know. He just seems like a troubled person.
Yeah, well, she should retire.
He's got 2 channels that are both doing pretty well. He's got a pretty loyal audience. He's making a ton of money. He grew incredibly quickly in like a year. He basically hit monetized on YouTube.
Well, those are just numbers.
Sure, and as far as personal life goes, I don't watch streams to know, but maybe it's. Do you think his personal life is like really bad or something? Or?
I think maybe we have different definitions of when someone seems troubled. To me,
I mean, I'm just looking from a business.
He seems like he's on the verge of like snapping at all times. He seems like kind of.
You gotta really go all the way around.
I think
with
he's
this
approached some
one.
people, especially with a very big amount of vitriol. But he doesn't look as close to snapping.
Okay, I guess maybe I think a lot more people should go to therapy than.
Okay, you gotta go all the way around with this one, y'all. Jesus. This map.
Probably not. I don't think so. But maybe if you want to.
Okay, and you don't think you should go to therapy?
Absolutely not.
Why not?
Because I ain't got the time for that. I'm trying to find the masters.
This map is heart-shaped.
I think the therapist is there to provide you tools to deal with issues in your life you feel like you don't have the ability to deal with, and I don't feel like there are any parts of my life that I'm incapable of dealing with, so I need some external like motivator or somebody to supply me the tools to analyze and deal with things.
I have a different view of therapy.
Okay.
I think the therapist is there to provide you with unconditional support and love in a safely transactional relationship, or not love, but intimacy, unconditional intimacy, and caretaking in a transactional relationship, which provides safety in the transactionality. So you know if you pay your whatever $123, then they're going to show up for you, and you don't have to worry about that calculation that you do when you decide if you can trust somebody is completely removed.
Okay.
You can't trust them.
Okay.
What do you disagree about?
I don't think a therapist should be there to provide unconditional anything. I think a therapist should serve to challenge you in some ways. Now, he's challenging you in a way that isn't attacking you, but it's to provide you with some level of insight or tools that
Absolutely. I'm not saying they shouldn't challenge you. I'm saying unconditional in the sense that they're not going to leave or disappear if you do or say something they don't like. Obviously, there's a limit. Like if you like try to grope them or something, like you're going to be gone. But I'm saying that beyond a normal friendship or even normal like marriage, the therapist, if you pay your X dollars, they're there for you in a way that maybe only a parent otherwise be expected.
Yeah, I would agree with that.
Okay,
Okay, so you can. Okay, so you think, anyway, well, my point is that at the end of every call, I tell the person to go to therapy because I can't fucking help you and you need help. Dr. K doesn't do that. Also not a therapist.
Okay.
So I want to acknowledge that I do have an advice show and I do exploit people for money. They're not on camera. And conversations are very focused on one issue. So the person says, how come I blah blah blah, 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 blah. I don't know an example, I'm not word out a real one. But and then I say what I think, and then I say go to therapy, and then that's it. So I just want to disclose that. That said,
that's a blue ice dungeon.
Okay, you're saying that you're okay with Dr. K sort of digging around in people's minds, semi to help them, semi for content, and all the wonderful gray area in between.
Yeah.
Because you think the net effect, even though you think it's at times irresponsible and
we're going to stop the stream at
the net effect
11, so this is about it.
Actually harmful to an individual. I'd have to think about that.
I wanted to help that person out, but they seem busy with their own shit. So.
Okay, and so when I asked how you feel about me criticizing him, you said you get what I'm saying, but you think that overall he has a net positive effects on the world. Because people go to therapy, which you think is also a stupid waste of time. But you're
no, well, hold on, wait, I never said that. I said it's a waste of mentality to go to therapy, but I think there's
isn't that what he's doing? You're saying that he's not telling people to go to therapy, he's showing them what they could get by going, or you think he's giving people the tools directly that then they get from therapy and they can just have it from him instead? Or some combination. Okay.
So maybe some people take some value from that therapy, or maybe other people think like, wow, a conversation like this would be really good for me, so they go get therapy.
Okay. Is there...
Yeah, a lot of people are really scared about it. When you think about therapy, it's kind of, in some ways, can be pretty scary. You're going to talk to a person that you kind of never met before, and then just share a whole bunch of personal feelings that you have. And it's like, on some extent, it's like it's their job to do it. So it's like could feel less personable because of that. Yeah.
Are you going to tell me how you feel about me and criticizing him, or no? You're not exactly answering.
Yeah, you're free to criticize however you want.
I know, this is America.
Yeah, but I think we fundamentally disagree on what's good and bad, so I mean, like, we're going to disagree on what things are good or bad, right?
Do you think it would be bad for me to criticize him?
Criticize what you want. I think it would be bad for point of view, because I think I think he contributes way more good than potential harm.
What if he needs to be challenged, so then he can do it more good?
Yes.
How could he be challenged? You get, like, enter into an actual patient-therapist relationship and then get consent to stream the therapy sessions, or?
No, I think
5 lipstick and we're good to go.
I think he should continue to talk about the ideas he talks about.
Just 5 lipstick and we are good to go.
Person to talk to that, no?
I don't think what he's doing is therapy.
I think it's therapy.
It's a weird sandwich of lies. He's saying it's not therapy.
For liability
purposes.
But it absolutely is therapy.
But then it is therapy. But then I think because of the way he's doing it, it's not therapy. It can't.
Well, there are parts of therapy that should be there that aren't there. So there's no liability. There's no checking up afterwards.
There's no fucking audience when you're in therapy.
Sure, yeah, that's a big difference too. Yeah, for sure.
Every time he does a session, he's also thinking like, well, there's 5,000 people watching, so are you gonna fucking cry or what?
No, I don't think it's that. Now you're being the cynical one.
What?
I don't think he's that.
When he had like a technical problem when he was talking to Melina, and he said, he was like, "Fuck, right when we're at the climax."
I mean, an emotional climax can be a big moment in therapy. Doesn't mean
I've never seen a therapist say that in person. He's
probably because I'm having technical issues in person, right?
No, and in person, I've never heard a therapist refer to the climax of a session. That's film terminology. It's like he's making a movie. Alright, well, I'm gonna go at it pretty hard, I think. So I just want to know.
Keeping a conversation with him.
I can't. I'll try it.
Dr. K.
Right,
no, nigga, I ain't talking to you.
Good luck, buddy. Have fun.
Good luck.
Be safe.
Be safe.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. Next topic. Fans. How do you feel about having fans? How do you feel about fans?
Cool. That is my idea. That's important. Makes me a lot of money.
That's lipstick. Yes.
There's good parts of it. There's some bad parts of it too, though.
Sure. Like what? Like expectations public has on you, potentially, or anti-fans, or what?
I'm finding a few main things. One, they don't actually care about you. They care about what you can do for them, which is you pathologically equate the two, but I don't think they're the same.
Some percentage of them probably genuinely care about you, and then probably a larger percentage care about what they can get from each other.
Yes. Okay. So you do on some level you do know there's a difference between those two. You may operate as
yeah.
Well, yeah, but you operate as though they're the same, and you talk as though they're the same, but that's you being self-protective. You're not actually the same. You know that some people, you know that there is a way people can care about you beyond what they can get from you. You know that.
It just depends on how we define that. What can people get from you? Because those feel like emotional things they can get from you. The experiences they get from you. So that's just.
You know, there's a difference.
Yeah, but just like in that sense, like I don't know, just like.
We might go with this.
There was a post on Reddit today that said you should stop doing that.
Isn't that like, I don't know, is the right word, equivocating?
That your fans want you to say.
If that's the case, everyone gets, a child gets
Okay, the reason why I disagree is because
resources
people
and
are getting
safety
something
from
out
their
of it, and I say I can do it in a
parents.
very material
It's
sense.
like,
Oh,
are
if
they
they give them
really
money,
getting
oh,
it
like,
out of
sense to
them?
But I think it's something you
Like,
can get from other people, then make it
is that
worthwhile.
the
So, for
word
instance,
that
you
we
can get some warm,
use?
enjoyment being next to somebody you love. You can get like a pleasurable conversation or an experience that are fun, like playing games. There are other things you can get that are a little bit more immaterial than like the very shallow material. No, hold on, you told me to explain it. I'm gonna explain it. Okay, there are things
Two
you can get from
succinct
people.
sentences, but go ahead.
This is all one big run-on sentence so far. I haven't gotten to sentence 2 yet. Okay? This is all just a hyphenated part in the middle. Okay, so I'm just gonna there are things we can get from people that are relatively immaterial. When all of the material and immaterial things disappear, I think it's very hard for people to want to stick around. Now, when I say that, again, people are like, oh, well, you take them. Like, well, no, like, let's say you have a friend and they're no longer nice to you. They don't treat you well. You don't have conversations. You don't play games. Eventually, you're gonna ghost them. There's no point in getting so that's what I mean when I say that like relationships are transactional. You're getting something, but I don't mean it in like a very materialistic or shallow or vain sense. I mean there are other things you get from people as well.
Okay.
Well, you disagree. You're just say okay.
Okay. No, that was different. Okay, that was okay. I'm getting ready. You. Okay. Okay. I know. I am going to explain. Okay. Part of what I get from you is knowing that you're.
I said I would stop the stream at 11, which was like 3 minutes ago, but it's like.
Doing okay.
I just need four lipstick.
When you say so, I would call that caring about you. And then you being nice to me, you agreeing to let me interview you on stream, you know, whatever else you do or have done for me. Those are things, you being interesting to talk to, those are all things I would say I get from you. But there's like a core of caring about your well-being, of caring about you existing. That is, I would say, you could draw a line there and call that caring about you.
Okay, I'm gonna ask for a level of intellectual honesty, knowing that you're incentivized to say something contrary. But let's say that you started messaging me, and I was like, I just said like, okay, fuck off, or like, I don't care anymore. Okay, like I'm doing my shit, like do your thing, go make more potential videos, like go stream, I don't care, have fun. If I started to say that to you every time you message me, would you have some internal care for me indefinitely, or would that not fade over time as you realize, okay, well this is really shitty, like all these things are sucking, I'm not getting anything out of this?
The caring about the parts that I get from you.
No, me. You said there is some intrinsic, universal, immaterial care you had deep, just be existing. Are you gonna be like watching through the window to make sure I'm still existing in a happy manner, even if I don't even want you in my front yard anymore? Even if I'm like, if I'm never interacting, I don't have any positive things, no conversations, like, is that still some part of you that's gonna like forever be with me, monitoring my existence?
There are people I have said I would care about forever, who I don't anymore. So I know that's possible.
Okay, probably because you don't get anything from those people at all anymore. There are no more positive experiences shared, anything like.
I think I was a bit delusional about the nature of my relationships with them, and they betrayed me.
Okay.
However, those were also relationships I was very dependent on for like emotional stability. And while I think you lean on any friendship for emotional stability, if you started doing that now, I wouldn't feel like you had yanked out like a support pillar from my like emotional support system.
I would need back to 6 lipstick.
You know what? I don't actually thinking about the people I'm talking about. I'm really angry at them, but I don't know that it's true that I don't care about them.
Okay, that person had 3 lipsticks so far. I would have been at like fucking 7 at this point. That's all good.
Person or set experiences that you enjoy, you care about that. But either the person change or your perception of them change, such that whatever exists now will not something that you want to get with anymore or have positive experience. That's how I do it.
My perception of you includes the idea that you would suddenly become very cold and disinterested in talking to me.
I don't think so.
That's what they say.
I don't think that's how.
I'm just a giving person when it comes to this game.
No, I would be shocked and hurt. I'm just saying I don't think it's impossible. I would be very hurt.
Sure, but your perception of me, the way that you would feel about me, would change following functional.
And yet I think I would still care about you.
Anyway, oh boy, I'm hot. I'm hot as fuck. Okay, we're done. We're done streaming. I said I would stop at 11.
But like, say tomorrow, I could do worse. Say tomorrow I should.
We're done here.
I cough your arm.
We're gonna pause that video. No, we're done. So thank you all for watching. We're done. I streamed. How long did I stream today? Fuck. How long did I stream today? Almost a stream for 6 hours today. Jesus. Thank you all for watching. I'm tired and I'm hot as fuck.